没事吧？你没事吧？你没事吧？没事吧？你没事吧？没事吧
？OK， 各位召唤师，全体目光向我看齐，看我，我宣布个事儿。
可能因为4强的比赛太精彩，我不得不身披复活甲，重新归来。我保证，这真的是本赛季最后一期观赛指南。不得不说 ，JDG 和69哥这个赛季的表现真可谓是极力拉扯。关键局的圣枪洗礼滑步定生死，决胜局把 The Shy 的剑魔打到天神下凡。在4强复活甲之争中，虽然汉服 RNG， 但还有背水一战的机会。不管你当时是想帮我说话，还是想踩我2脚，我九某人落子无悔，黑白说话。OK， 反正不关我事儿。我怕吃到 AOE 要避开强势期，何况那晚我早睡了。话分两头 ，RNG 在4强第2轮和理想型打野肯纳维的鏖战中，以王者之姿拿下比赛，又一次精彩的让2追3。其实目前局势已经很明朗了，剩下的比赛无非就是 TES 围剿 RNG， 手霸组，外面都是滔博哥。让我们把目光聚焦 V5 和 TES， 仔细想想，369、卡萨、左手和阿水全部挺进4强，他们组个战队应该很不错吧？感觉世界赛至少4强。如果拥有他们的战队仅能在下系赛1轮游，那么主教练的含金量是……玩笑归玩笑，在4强的第1轮交手中，复仇者联盟 V5 气势如虹，拿下2把，复活甲近在咫尺，最后一把的胜利可谓探囊。发生什么事了？我复活甲呢？我不知道啊！我复活甲呢？这哪着呀 ？TS 凭借 Weaver 的聪明的墨菲特，成功帮助乔丹戒网瘾，天不仅亮了，而且午时已到。总之，这个春天的一切悬念都将悉数揭晓。作为本赛季最后一期观赛指南，请允许我为各位召唤师献上真诚的祝愿。你们要开心，你们要幸福，好不好？开心啊，幸福！这个赛季没有我了没关系，你们要幸福。召唤师没有你们我怎么活呀？召唤师。
Welcome, one and all, to my front room. I am Ushin, Dagda, Ox. We got this setup going.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with it, not gonna lie.
It works. It's functional.
We pulled out some of the stops.
Yeah. The way we actually did it was just like, we all have equipment. What if we just we just bring them together? But guys, welcome to the now analyst desk of the LPL playoffs. I'm very excited to have you here.
Yeah, it's hype. We have a desk finally, right?
We do.
And I feel like we have it at the perfect time because we have some bangers coming up.
Yeah, we had some bangers coming up, but we had some bangers before that. Let's have a quick look at our playoff bracket because we had 3, if you count the previous row. Dagda, I don't think anyone expected us to get there. We expected some of the results, but not the journey.
Not even the fashion that those 5 games happened in, right? Reverse sweeps 2 times in a row. It was incredibly exciting games, and unfortunately it does mean that for V5 and JDG, they find themselves down now in the lower bracket, whereas when you look across, top esports continue their dominance on that top half of the bracket, running right the way through from that game number 3.
All I can think is how much pain I went through because I had predicted both V5 and JDG. For them to go 2 up, and the thing is, as you do, they go 2 up, you start bragging, you start flexing, like, wow, imagine not voting for JDG.
Yeah. You did it twice.
Yes.
You did it for V5
and my hubris cost me dearly, so a lesson learned. Probably not, but
yeah, I mean, we'll see what if your lesson was learned later today. But yeah, again, massive, implications coming in today. Of course, we're going to be bringing our lower bracket semi-finals, so you've lost your extra life. This is where the mistakes, both these teams I feel like went 2-0 up. Is that a comfort zone now for the other team? What way does this work?
I mean, look, if you look at the 2 winners that we had in 2021, both of them came through that lower bracket. So we'll have to see if it's going to remain true, especially for V5. I mean, a team that was pretty dominant in the regular split, and now they find themselves here.
That's the thing. Regular split was best of 3s, right? If they go 2 up in the best of 3s, it's sorted.
It's a 2-0.
There you go,
They
right?
just forgot the next step.
I feel like they were both series are pretty close. We saw a lot of adaptation of the best of 5, which is what I've loved so much about the playoffs. Lots of tweaking, a lot of adjusting strategies, and ultimately I feel like there wasn't much in it, right? And I think as a result, going down the losers bracket, you've had your eyes open a bit. Okay, these are some of our weaknesses. It gives you a chance, to work your way back up. And I think all 4 teams, despite the outcome we had in the previous round, very high chance that any of them could take the title.
Yeah, well, we got kind of a quick recap. If you're wondering how we got here and some of the things, we got to talk about the reverse rodeo, the first best of 5 that we had. And Dr. you had the privilege, if you will, to kind of cast this particular one here. And honestly, it did look like V5 were kind of in control, and then they just lost it out of nowhere.
Yeah, at least in the start of the first few games in that series, V5 had a very definitive, strong mid jungle, and it felt like they were kind of able to play through this, right? Even if it's not traditionally the ones that you kind of think of like level 3 spikes that you can kind of like look for with Trundle and Volibear and these kind of things. Instead, you're kind of looking and going, oh, well, we've got this level 6 spike with like Hecarim Orianna that we can play through in game number 1, and it's all working really well. They're finding these early skirmishes, but then we started to see as the game went on and more of those bans started to get targeted towards Rookie. That's where it fell apart. And as you can see in your screens here, right, like this is what I was talking about. Like we saw a very slow paced early game, but once we start to see these ultimates coming in game number 1, we see that V5 really started to pop off. Game number 2, once more, we see the Volibear and the Syndra again, a really strong combo from the mid lane that V5 were able to play through. But as we start to crest into game 3, game 4, we start to see the Victor coming out. And the next thing you know, we've got Knights of Kali tearing up the Rift. He's starting to bring out things like the Rise as well, where he's able to roam around and get a ton of pressure in this early game. It felt like once this strength was taken away from the mid jungle of V5, there wasn't much left in the tank for them.
Yeah, I really feel like Knight as well, instrumental in the success here. And as you said, that Rise game, just absolute stellar performance, and it really allowed Tian to flourish. And you see this game, 0-4-2, a bit of a rough one. But the game 4 Lee Sin performance was absolutely outstanding. And then it came to this final game. Again, Knight on this Rise, particularly with the Volibear as well. Such a strong duo who can just impact the maps as soon as you hit level 6.
Yeah, and as well, you got Wayward there as well. I mean, Ox is, I think, favorite player in the entire league. 100%. I believe the word he used was like Giga Chad several times.
Dude, oh my. I literally 0-5 on Graves, spams emotes. Halfway through solo killing Rich on Malphite, pops the emote. Yeah. I just feel like this guy's got so much swagger, and it's fantastic.
I did love how you turned to me and said, who's the most BM player in the league? There is a correct answer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, okay. Yeah. But again, like, you know, obviously bit disheartening for V5 fans. I think V5 understandably number 1 in the regular season, coming in as favourites. They're now in the lower bracket. It's not over yet. They of course still have today, but we got to talk about our other best of 5 that went the full distance. And again, you get left with egg on your face as JDG went 2-0 up, and then the jungle just became so pivotal for these guys in the, you know, electric boogaloo. Here come JDG 2.
Yeah, I mean, this was such a fantastic series. I really felt like JDG were coming in favoured because I felt like top was a lane they could attack. 369 would often see him find advantages with pressure from Kanavi. I felt like Wei hadn't been as active as Kanavi in those early levels, and I thought that was an angle where they could really attack. And you know, I don't think it completely came to fruition, but we definitely saw Kanavi being such a pivotal factor on things, well, the Lee Sin, which you got in the first 2 games. But even then, like, RNG started the game fine. That game 1 in particular, we saw them attack Hope, put him really far behind, but then when it came to the skirmishes, they just couldn't really match what JDG were able to offer.
Yeah, and I think that was the big thing for me, is like, I really like the idea of coming in for RNG and like attacking the bot side of JDG, right? Because it's so much of where JDG are focused with like the pressure, either with missing playing towards Kanavi, but also with Kanavi settling up towards these jungles. And as you can see in your screen, like a ton of this early game from RNG was moving around that bot side and making sure that you could set up to put Hope in the dirt. But it felt like when we got to the later portion of the game, then RNG weren't really sure how they wanted to try and play through Gala, like instead of trying to play through side lanes like we've seen from them a lot.
And I just found this game in particular ridiculous, where, you know, that previous clip, half the CS that Gala has, and yet ended up completely outperforming when it came to those team fights. And I think, you know, those first 2 games, the Lee Sin for Kanavi, I think this one in particular, you often just saw him showing up in those skirmishes, able to just clean up kills, find the advantage. And Wei's Volibear was ultimately a little bit underwhelming. And so that's why when we went into the next 2 games, he defaulted back to sort of his old special, which was that Viego, which gave them a lot of the strength they needed in those skirmishes and became such a massive factor. It's kind of like first 2 games Kanavi Lee Sin, next 2 games ended up being Wei Viego.
Yeah, and you can also see just the protection that RNG were able to offer, particularly Xiaohu as well, just trying to like keep him safe in that matchup, making sure that he's able to work alongside Wei in those early stages and make sure that he could get to the late game point where he could take over this Viego. And also the big one for me was Bin swapping over towards these tanks, right? Like, not something that we traditionally think of for Bin. We think of like the Jaxes, the Camille's, the big split pushers that he can play in the side lanes, but that wasn't to be in these games. Instead, they swap him over over towards the Gragas in game 3, game 4. He sets themselves up for really nice team fights where they had to take over against JDG. And then when we got into game 5, at least for me, this was more of a draft that I expected to see from RNG. Maybe not the Galio in the mid lane, but certainly like having these big roaming opportunities from the mid lane, playing towards Bin in the top side, and making sure that Bin on his counter pick could pop off.
And I just found it interesting that we had, like I said, the 2 1-tricks for the junglers that came out were both banned away in this game 5. And both teams, right, you have strong early skirmishing junglers, you have mids who are able to roam and open up the map, and then you have a super volatile top lane matchup. So when we first saw this skirmish where despite not having Prio in the lane, Xiao who predated up and was able to assist and find them favor, and then from there they just started to find that momentum. This was kind of like a default back to the RNG of last year, right? You have heavy roam mid, which was Cryan's role in the roster, you know, and then you played towards, before it was Xiao in the top lane, this time it's Bin, and it kind of felt like, right, game 5, things have been a bit hit or miss, we've lost the Viego, they just defaulted back to what they knew, and the question is that going to work going forwards? But for me, I think JDG was so close to winning that series, and even I was speaking to Lyric about that draft in game 5, he felt like they should have had the edge.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing, is that it was a very clear win condition for both sides. We talked about it during the day, and it just felt like JDG lost a bit of steam. They couldn't really figure it out, and one domino led to another, and it just all fell apart from in that game 5. Both incredibly close series, but now you got to try and throw them out the window. You got to forget about those series now. You got to come into today, and we got to talk about, you know, the king of jungle in our playoffs right now, because it is about that Lee Sin, and we'll go to you about this one here, because we have seen a significant shift kind of going back to comfort almost.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for me is kind of looking at these junglers that can have that early impact, and specifically around the mid lane. I think that's going to be super important for this series. Lee Sin, as you can see there, super high KDA, 100% win rate when you look at based on like our round 3 onwards, when we really start to get our super good teams into the mix. And the Volibear, the Lee Sin are the 2 picks that really stand out to me, where you're able to have that presence in the mid lane, work with something like a Rise and Ari, something that can provide that early setup, and suddenly you're able to take over for the mid, you're starting to get roams off, and you're taking over the map from that mid jungle. It's so crucial to this meta.
Yeah, and I think Hecarim has been kind of the big stinker so far, because obviously saw him have a big introduction to the meta when we came back from Chinese New Year. Teams were picking him up, and now it's like teams know how to combat him, right? They can invade him, they can pressure him early. He's not able to contest in the skirmishes. The lack of flash is such a big thing as well before you have your ultimate available, and he's just been targeted so heavily. Like, the win rate speaks for itself, but time and time again we've seen him just flounder and not get to the point where he is strong.
And that's why when you look globally, like, we've actually seen teams put a huge amount of presence into like early level 1s, early level 3s on both sides of the equation, right? Where you're either looking for these level 1 invades where you can try and set the Hecarim behind early, or we've even seen teams like, in particular, like Rogue over the LEC, who are like bringing Trimby up in the early stages to make sure that he's able to let Mauron get rolling on this Hecarim pick. You've kind of got to build your entire game plan around this Hecarim, and unfortunately the LPL, the pace of the game is just at a different level, and you're not kind of getting that time to scale into the late game.
Yeah, Ox, did you get the time for how long it took him to mention LEC? Or yeah,
We were doing okay there.
we were doing all right. We were doing all right, but then he mentioned it right
I'll tell you, we got 1, right? You know, that's what
we'll give him half marks. It'll be fine. It's
Shot of water for everyone in the crowd.
yeah, exactly. Drink every time we mention LPL and LEC, and you mention LEC and LPL. But we can come back in and kind of like dissect JDG a little bit more now, coming off of their last series, and what we want to see change from them. And obviously, Oxy, myself and you were kind of hyper focused on that, and you looked a bit more on their game 5 draft, because this was a draft that kind of had to throw the book out a little bit, because they didn't get the Lee Sin, they didn't get the Volibear, and they were kind of left in a situation where they were kind of getting some things that worked, some things that didn't.
Yeah, and I think honestly the loss of the Lee Sin for Kanavi, and the fact that I feel like he's going to be consistently banned away from him for the rest of his playoffs journey, is a bit of a hit, because he looked so stellar on that. But even without that, I still feel like this is composition that in my mind can function well for them, right? If you go on the Rise, which is a great pick for him, and they can roam up for him, you have a lane you can play for on the top side with 369 on this Jace, and as much as this ended up going in favor of RNG, it really came down to the execution. I definitely think there was potential for JDG to find success, and I think this is kind of indicative of the meta we've seen developed, not specifically in the LPL, but also generally globally, where, you know, mid can be a facilitator role, right? Has to have that early presence for the most part. Jungler's about being proactive early, and then the side lanes are what you are playing for. Top lane can be, you know, in this matchup particularly was, but also bot lane can be such a massive factor as well.
And one of the big things that I took away from this draft as well was, like, when you look at JDG, pretty much priority across the board, right? But we still saw RNG being able to come in and like moving Gala and Ming to the mid lane, ensuring Xiao who was able to get control role in a bad matchup. Suddenly you look at the 15-minute mark and they're 5,000 gold up, and that was kind of the story of a lot of what I saw from JDG, where in the RNG series, game 1, game 2, even some of the later games, and they were losing out super early. And that's my biggest worry for them coming into game against V5 here today, is like V5 are a team that very quickly, at least not in the first 3 minutes, but like from 4 to 5 minutes onwards, will like to go and invade, like to get in your face, look for these early kills. And if you're falling behind as heavily as you were against RNG, it feels like against V5 they're going to be able to snowball away from that.
Yeah, I do think one thing Stu said is that RNG, I think throughout the split, they had a very consistent early game in the sense that the way they sort of played around Herald, the way they structured things, it was like, you know, there's some teams that are a bit more volatile with how they get gold leads. And I think that's why part of the factor why JDG ended up falling behind early, particularly like the bot lane dives and a hope were such a massive thing. The thing is, against V5, I feel like it might be more volatile, but also if you get a lead against V5, there's no guarantee that's going to secure a game, right? V5 have such a fantastic win rate during the regular season.
57%.
Yes, from behind. And you may think, well, 57% isn't amazing, but considering they're down in gold, right? They should be losing. Most teams,
more often than not, they win.
Yeah,
Just to
insane.
add on to that, I think the next closest is like 43%. Like it's a
Which is still good.
lead.
Like it's a still pretty good stat to have. And look, we can obviously kind of see how this one obviously develops. You're very curious about the early game. We can kind of revisit that as we go on through the series. But we obviously focus in on the JDG draft. We got to talk about the V5 one as well, and certain champions that they pick up, because they have a couple of draft issues considering what the meta is and what they tend to favor.
Yeah, definitely. The biggest problem that I look at is like things like Photic not being able to pick up the Xayah, right? We haven't seen it from him at all this playoffs or even this split. And I think as well, when you're looking at this, is the premier AD carry on this patch. Great in team fights, great self-peel, great in lane. You need to be able to pick this up. Now, he has been playing a lot in solo queue, but we're yet to see it hit the rift.
And I think a big thing, it's a best of 5, right? Yeah. I feel like, honestly, we could see a situation where JDG let them set up the Xayah to be a pick for V5, and they test, will they take it? Because if they don't, you know the rest of the series, you have that in control. I think another factor is this Rise, right? Because I think this is Yugao, one of his biggest picks. And Rookie, we know he can play. We know it's a capability, but they haven't really been leaning on it. And I feel like it's going to come down to, if you're not contesting, JDG will just pick it up, and then it's like, do you ban it, or are you actually just going to pick it yourselves? Because I think you have to.
Especially when you look at that top esports series, right? Left open in game 2, not interested in picking that up at all. Knight stepped up massively on it in game 4 and game 5, and was the key carry when you look at how that game was forming against top esports. So I really do agree. I think like this Rise pick is going to be so crucial today.
Yeah, I think draft's going to be absolutely massive, and I think it's going to be a very curious little mini meta, as we always love to say in a best of 5, of where things go, what priorities go. You know, the Lee Sin was massive in the RNG series. Of course, we'll see where this one goes now. I want to talk about predictions, because we all predicted this. This is a very similar prediction now, Ox. I'm looking at you. You and Lyric went for JDG last time. You put fate in JDG and you guys got burned. So how confident you feeling today?
I'm pretty confident, right? Me and Lyric had a long talk about this one, and ultimately I think the draft issues for V5 kind of hamstring them a fair bit. I also feel like the way we've seen things shake out over those 2 playoff series was the junglers who can be proactive, who can get that early initiation. And, you know, we saw the Hecarim be burned. That was something V5 went on heavily. It was a big pick for Karsa. Just hasn't been working. Whereas, you know, like Lee Sin for Knavi, if he gets his hand on that, it's a win. If you have to ban it every single game, then it's a bit of a pain point, right? Sure, Karsa can absolutely pick it, but I feel like the way Yugao plays for Knavi has been such a strength for them. So, you know, undoubtedly, this is going to be a close series in everyone's estimations, but I think JDG have the edge.
Yeah, I think the only difference for me with where Ox is thinking is just, I think Rookie, if he doesn't go for picks like the Victor, should be able to take over in the mid lane against Yagao and just kind of prevent him from working with them. I think if that's not the case, and we see a very similar story to what happened with top esports, well, then I 100% agree. I think JDG can run away with this. I just think that at least if I'm V5, I've taken away some key learnings from my series with top esports. No Victor, not this kind of stuff. We need that proactive mid laner that you can work through.
Yeah, bit of agency. Well, that is going to be the end of our time on the desk, but we're going to send it over to your casters, Hysterics and Lyric, to bring us into picks and bans of Game 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been so long since we've been here at the casting desk. I mean, it's been a while since EDG FPX in the first round. Of course, LPL delays, and then, you know, waiting for our turn once again. It was unfortunate, but Lyric, we're finally here. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to our amazing analyst desk downstairs. We welcome you to the start of the series, which will be beginning momentarily. V5 versus JDG. Elimination match, and you know, it's great that we come in for this one because we hadn't seen V5 yet. You and I Don't believe we didn't do JDG either. So we finally get a more in-depth casting look, I'll say, at the teams in front of us.
Yeah, and again, it's like super weird. We just saw the predictions. Me and Knox kind of going against the grain for JDG. Again, our analysts just hitting on some of the draft issues for the side of V5. We're going to be right into draft. Already seeing a lot of things they were talking about, right? Xayah taken off the table by Victory 5. The Rise, though, left open. I think that one can be massive for JDG, especially because I feel like one of the reasons V5 don't lean on it is because they play the Orianna, but JDG have taken that one away from Rookie.
Yeah, it just feels like we're going to have a big discussion, especially in this first game, about the drafts we're talking about. Again, we're resurfacing on the issue. Things like the Rise. The Xayah already banned away is noted too. Lyric, you and Orcs and even Dagda were having a massive discussion about it. Run me through what comes next for JDG.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Viego is the go-to lock-in here for Kanavi. It's his most played jungler this split. Now I'm curious to see if JDG will just opt into going for the Rise now, get that prio in mid lane, start setting up for sides, or even just pick something like a support here early on. Right now, hovering the Karma, maybe figuring that's what V5 are looking for in the support role, because you took the Ezreal, extraordinarily weak laner, right? So typically is paired with something like the Karma to facilitate that laning phase, would set them up for nice kiting, nice front to back, and just a lot of peel.
I mean, especially in the laning phase itself, when there was a lot of talk about Hope and missing and how it could be influenced by Kanavi through here as well. A discussion we can continue on because the Leona is a response to Nautilus. Standard stuff. Now, as we go through again, there's that Rise you were talking about, and I want to talk a little bit more about Rookie's champion pool coming through, considering that we do have quite a lot of mid laners already off the board.
I was going to say, funny enough, it's weird that we talk about V5 champion pool issues, because V5 have played the most champions out of any team.
So
like,
many.
I feel like now that a lot of the primary champions are banned away, V5 are feeling pretty good. But JDG, banning away this Aurelia, I think is very crucial, because typically we're only seeing Aurelia picked and taken as a counter into the Jace matchup.
Okay.
So JDG may be setting that one up for themselves, or even maybe being like, hey, we don't care if V5 get this, they already have the Ezreal, they can play long-range poke. Maybe they have their own answer. The Scions, the Orns, these all-in engaged tanks that 369 has loved.
That's a key word, though, coming back to it, long-range poke, because you're right. So far, we've got the Ezreal. We know what Ezreal does alongside things like the Jace as well. Rich has been a very explosive laner, so right down his alley. V5, though, they're focusing on the bans for now, and there's a Twisted Fate ban up against Yagao. That has been a comfort for the years we've been casting LPL, so taking away yet another champion in that pool, because Yagao's played a lot less than Rookie in this split.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see where JDG will go with mid. V5, though, going straight towards the LeBlanc. This actually does open up something like the Vex to come out for Yagao. He has played at this split, has been an answer, right? LeBlanc having those dashes sets up for you to much easier go for those passive procs.
Yep.
You can follow her on the roams, play for side lanes yourself. And I really feel like we've seen both teams kind of struggle when they don't have that proactivity, especially V5. So I'd much rather see JDG look to match some of these proactive plays rather than look to play maybe more of a scaling game with the Victor they're highlighting right now.
I mean, it's because of the explosive nature, right? You know, we look at JDG and V5 as some of the fastest teams in the league. Champion kills per minute, right up there for Victory 5 and JDG not too far behind. We get the Jace steal away, though. We were talking about that for Rich, alongside Yagao's most picked of the regular season to the Victor. So, I'd say a bit of comfort here.
Yeah, and I mean, right now they're hovering the Malphite. I think this is a great pick because you look at JDG's side. I mean, 3 immobile carries. No one can get away from that Malphite without flash, so Summoner Spell is going to be super critical in this one for the side of JDG. If V5 can force fights early, maybe even just have Rookie kind of like poke off over terrain, try and burn some splash, it sets up for a massive dragon fight where V5 can take control.
Okay, so walk me through a little bit more about JDG and how they get past this Malphite, this threat, right? Because when we see things like Victor, we see things like Jace, right, that still have great scaling. Jinx is there as well. It feels like for JDG, a steady train is what they're looking for to open up this series against V5.
100%, right? I mean, JDG very clearly do have like a lot of scaling tools on their side. They will just have flat out more damage come the late game. They'll have more range to be able to play with. But you know, they do have some priority in their early lanes. All 3 of their lanes should be able to get prio early on. Could set up Kanavi to have a very smooth early game and set up for your laners to get through. For V5, I think we need to see more proactivity come out from them, right? The LeBlanc. You have LeBlanc Volibear. This sets up so well for early skirmishes, early 2v2s in mid, then making your way towards sides. Because at level 6, I mean, that Jace is going to be a free target.
True, but I'm not worried about proactivity for V5. Again, they can be quite a fast team, right? And, you know, we raced through this pick and ban so quickly. We darted in and out. There was no time to wait. And I know you guys might feel a little bit rushed at home, but take a step back and look at what we're playing for here today. V5 versus JDG is all about that elimination, right?
Yep.
We want to get into the lower bracket final and match the strength of teams like RNG, of Top Esports, who managed to win out in reverse sweeps. Both of them with reverse sweeps as well. JDG and V5, they were 2-0 up to start their journey to what they thought would be an easy run into that upper bracket final, but no, they were denied. JDG and V5, after the reverse sweep, they now land themselves down here where the loser of this series is gone. And V5, they're the first seed of the regular season. A very big deal considering that V5 had only ever made playoffs once before in their competitive career. Remember, folks, that last split, V5 was 0-16. And that was the second time they've done that. No team in the LPL has ever done that. And for JDG, 2021 was a horrible year.
Horrible, atrocious.
And remember, 2020 summer, they made it. They made it through. They got to Worlds,
Yeah.
and we expected big things.
They were
and
spring
flopped.
champions that year?
And they were runners-up in the finals for summer. JDG have a very big name in recent years, and they're finally back near the top. V5 have never been near the top, but they don't want to stop now. There is so much pride on the line between these two teams. There is so much they're fighting for. And it might be only towards the lower bracket that you see them playing here today, but everything counts to make sure they get up towards that top 3 and get a chance at finals. Yet again for JDG, but for the first time for V5. Lyric, there's been a lot of draft talk. We're here on our screen. We've been looking at drafts for an exceptionally long period of time.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about what we see here, since we are frozen on the screen as we finally get through as I say it. Let's come back to it. We're already into game. That was quick.
Already a minute 40
That
seconds
was
of the
very
game.
quick.
Okay, looks like no shenanigans level 1, right? Everyone
That's
still
good.
has their summoner spells up. You wouldn't really expect too much, I think, to come out from either side. And again, I feel like one critical thing we hit on for JDG is that they do have strong, like, early isolated lanes.
Yep.
Like Victor, incredibly strong in the 1v1 because of that Q, the shield you get, and just the damage there. 369, of course, can be able to bully out in the range versus melee matchup. Malphite not really having any threat till he hits that level 6 mark. Then it is a lot more about coming with jungle, and we see how bot lane's going right now. So I expect much more attention towards the top side of the map, especially for JDG.
Yep.
Not only because of the matchup, but also just been their bread and butter. I think Kanavi, as the split has gone on, has kind of leaned into more of playing with 369 and making sure he has a good situation. For V5, though, it's been a lot more about mid. And this draft sets up for it beautifully. Karsa can come mid, look for those early ganks, and just try to burn summoners.
I mean, again, you know, Rookie and Karsa have really been the, I feel like, linchpins to this team, right? You know, Victory 5 have relied on Rookie. Something we didn't really get a chance to talk about in draft and at the start of the game. But Rookie has been so good this split, and it's great to see.
Karsa.
But walk me through what Karsa's doing now, Lyric.
Yeah, looks like he's going for a level 3 gank. I hope in missing. Should at least have to burn
The Flash
summoners.
Center Blade, good little interrupt there from Missing, but Karsa's right on top of him. Sky Splitter, a bear slap down, Missing, running for his life, but with the heal, the forward ignite, it's Victory 5, who changed the script a little bit.
Yeah, V5 finding this opportunity. They knew their bottom lane would get pushed in early on. The Jinx versus the Ezreal matchup. We see 3 camps into the bot gank, and JDG just not reading it, not having any early vision there to spot it out either. And just really nice play coming out from V5. Again, V5 just have been so aggressive all split. They love to look for these early plays, just snowball a lead home.
It's so funny, we were just talking about how strong the mid 2v2 is, right? That's where they play towards. Karsa puts his eggs in the Rookie basket. A nice little change of pace here as we look through the replay.
Yeah, we're going to see it, right? Again, just no vision. We didn't get to see where their level 1 wards ended up going. It looks like a very free gank from Karsa. PP got going in, sets up to where Karsa has the time Missing, now having to burn Flash, and able to get the kill off. Ignite going down in the end, heal used as well. JDG do still have like their offensive summoners if they can look to set something up themselves. We've already highlighted Kanavi going to be looking to play a lot more around the top side, which is what he's doing right now.
Already invading through on the Krugs here. Getting himself a bit of a CS lead in the jungle. Worth noting that this will push him up past 30. Karsa got the bottom side gank, gets an assist, now has to go towards his bottom side jungle camp. So you're right. Top side is the play here, while for now we just watch mid laners trading back and forth. Lyric, let's bring it back a step once again here. Coming into the game, you talked about V5's proactivity. I don't even get to ask you a question, dude, because they're on top of your gal. Look at this roam. PP God's level 3 and Karsa at 4. Sky Splitter again, and it secures the kill. Rookie flashes over the wall while Kanavi wants to chase up. But Karsa is his big bro. Not in time enough to take him towards dinner. Big brothers set the table, but they do not cook the meal. Victory 5 running away, and Kanavi, after transforming, will make sure it is a trade-off for JDG.
Really nice proactivity coming out from V5. A lot of this coming from that earlier play around bot. You know, gives a window where V5 get their wave in. PP God now can roam up to mid. And, I mean, V5 just have so much setup, right? You have a Volley Bear, such a great early ganker. You have CC in mid. You have CC coming out from your support as well. JDG with a decent answer, gave Missing time to come back. And especially the fact that Rookie's the one that dies. Now Kanavi has mobility, so it's not very easy for JDG to turn. as we're going to get to see the setup here. Again, having that window come from bot, the chain landing so crucial. But Rookie also getting locked up feels like why the return kill is able to come out from Kanavi. So really nice W usage coming out from Yagao to set this one up. And again, here, since LeBlanc's dead, you know you can't chase him down after this. He has mobility. They know Missing's here, and both teams get away with just one kill.
And Kanavi's core of it. Let's come back because, folks, in Best of 5 series, what casters do is we like to give you a little bit of story point towards the start because it is going to be a long ride. Or at least we're hoping it's going to be the longest. Kanavi is what I would say is the linchpin for JDG. We're just talking about V5 and what makes them tick. For Kanavi to get an early lead like this, and especially when he's on the Viego here, Lyric, it feels like JDG is set up for success here and a nice early game to bridge back what was beautiful setup from Carson minutes ago.
Especially because you do have a ton of damage, you know, again, coming out in the later stages of the game to set up for those resets to be able to come through.
Yep.
I think the annoying thing is they're very mobile, and V5's composition isn't very squishy, so it actually might be decently hard to be able to find some of those resets.
Good point.
But, I mean, you have the damager set it up, and if he starts accelerating, you start getting a lead on that volley bear, can turn around very quickly. Another thing about JDG we haven't really hit on is both teams playing around bot now is really Dragons, right? JDG have loved those. Getting Cloud to set up for them looks like maybe going to start getting some vision now to set up for the Dragon play.
Yeah, it looks like what happened with mid as well also influences that. Yagao getting the push out and moving down himself. And as it starts out here, Castle was just spotted out, so no response at the top side, Lyric. No vision set up for now. It is actually good warding here from JDG from 369, controlling the top side. So it's nice as we get a bit of a contest, but I'm not sure how far this is going to go. PPGod moving in, though, and they say, screw it, let's go in. Photic gets the kill, and V5 are continuing the play with Kanavi taking the damage, but Caster gives over a reset. It's a double kill, and Lyric, the Dragon was gone, but V5 said we love blood.
And I'm really surprised V5 actually ended up going for it. Like, I understand the thought process, right? They think, hey, again, we have the Volley Bear, we have the LeBlanc, we have these early setup champions, but JDG had position on Drake. JDG also have great, like, zoning tools and great champions if you're running into them. Victor and Jinx absolutely love that. And now JDG able just to default back to lanes and keep getting more gold under their belts.
You talked to me a lot about this draft where V5 want to be proactive early. Proactive in a wrong way, I think is fair saying, in front of the Dragon.
Yeah, and, you know, I feel like some of the critical things here, Rookie not here at the start, not able to get a lot of this damage off, tries to get in range just to take down Missing, doesn't feel like it means too much. Because, again, the critical members, Victor and Jinx, still alive. The Viego, who's already starting to snowball, was there. And you see the use come out from the W, from the Chompers. It's not easy for V5 to just run in.
It's an incredible start here. Yagao 2-1 as well, by the way. So there's Victor with a Dark Seal that's stacking up. Yagao doing really well in the laning phase. And, you know, it keeps going back to the point where Rookie Caster playing through the mid lane, playing through the strength of V5, which is their mid laner. In this first game, this is not the ramping start you want to see, especially with the drop.
No, I mean, especially with the fact that you haven't even burned Yagao's flash yet. But I do think V5 can now start looking towards...
That's nice. That's real nice. There's a flash available, but Rich turns it around. Rock solid until 369 gets the range. Caster's moving into position. He's playing the do-si-do, though. Look at this. Caster's going right. 369 left. We swap around. 369 still hanging around. Two-shot barrage, though. Oh, my God. Photic says, stop walking. It's my kill to take.
And like you said, 369 doing a nice job. I don't even think they envisioned or that was like a read of Volley Bear being there. It's just trying to focus him out. I was just about to hit on that V5 should start looking top because Malphite, past level 6 point, you can set up for those ganks. I feel like the amount Rich took, the amount of damage he took before that Volley Bear was able to make it was a bit unfortunate, but now Herald setup coming through. No ultimate on either support feels crucial.
Yeah, but V5 moving in blindly, and they're separated. Caster caught out the pixel rush. Kanavi ults in, though. PPGod buying the space as he gets rooted up. He might have sacrificed his life as that slows him down, but Hope is not sending out a rocket because it's just not available. JDG have the health bar advantage, Lyric, and they're going to go back to the Herald.
I'm really surprised we didn't see like a team maybe like V5 since JDG had already moved up first. Again, try to, you know, have PPGod collect some experience in mid, make his way towards that ultimate. You know, that has been something we've been seeing quite consistently for when these early Herald plays come through. They don't opt into it. JDG having the setup to force them out feels like the defining factor. And V5 not having the Malphite ultimate, I think, is another thing kind of dissuading them from going on. So JDG so far, I think doing a nice job of just using like their isolated lane power to be able to come out ahead. They're using that to get on objectives first and force V5 in, and now looking for Rich once again.
Again, you already mentioned no Malphite ultimate, another 20 seconds before it's up as JDG want to exploit this, but move here from PPGod to help out, but there's 4 members of JDG. This looks hard. Rich getting slowed down, but not forgotten in the gravity field, while turret plating now fully available. They had the Herald too if they want to drop, but JDG committing, and Lyric this early game looking exceptional.
And I feel like the most crucial thing here for V5 is they're not answering anywhere. You look at the minimap right now, it looks like maybe Carson just handed off blue buff to Rookie, both of them hovering around in the jungle. No one's pushing out bot, no one's pushing out mid. So ultimately, this was just not only a herald to JDG, but then just free plates. They still have the herald if they want to re-look top, which I think they would with how closely they've whittled down this turret. And for V5, I mean, 500 gold down, not too big, but when we said they've drafted these early proactive tools, I think it is pretty disheartening.
I mean, the only one really with a lead here in this game is Photic, but look towards mid. Rookie hasn't been able to get the game started. We look at jungle. Casa has been down, and honestly, you know, caught out a couple of times here against Kanavi. And of course, on the top side, 369 with a massive lead. So, feeling pretty good here if you're a JDG fan opening up the series. Remember, this is an elimination series. But more importantly, it's a series for pride because for JDG, this was such a good split of retribution. Finally getting back into the upper echelon. V5 getting away from the 0-16 of 2021 summer. Not only did they do that in 2020 spring, I believe it was, but doing it a second time is absolutely incredible. So there's a lot on the line here, and as we kind of look towards mid, we're seeing if Rookie and Carson get something started. There's Stormbringer, Sky Splitter, an absolute bear slapper. Carson gets a shutdown, caught out as Yagao. Gold back over to V5's jungler.
And I feel like that's huge, right? We've been talking about this for the first 10 minutes of the game, about playing around mid, playing around this immobile mage. When you have the setup coming from the block, when you have a very easy gank opportunity for the Volibear to look for. PP God!
Depth charge coming in from below. Hope now joins in, and not sure where PP God wants to go, but his stretch line doesn't connect the second time. It might not matter because Kanavi's here to add some damage. 2-0 and 2, and just like that, JDG find a pick off the back.
And pretty interesting that JDG opt to give up waves top to look for this play. Sets up for the Herald to be dropped in mid. Shouldn't be able to raise the turret off this. You already see members of V5 starting to hover over, even Riches in the river, just in case any shenanigans did break out.
Damage, Sky Splitter as well, cleanse away. Casa comes in, dredge line for the re-engage, and Kanavi is right back in it. They thought he was gone, but Kanavi's always there when you need him.
Yeah, honestly, I think just, you know, a bit too far on the side of Victory 5. I think Rookie burning the cleanse is enough. Your Leona's in base, sure, Riches in river, but not close enough for you to be the ones over-aggressing like that. And Hysterics, it doesn't stop. We're going straight to another fight.
No wonder they have the most champion kills per minute in the league. I mean, this team always wants to fight. There's no smite available in front of the second dragon, but Rookie's in a brush with the full mana bar. Rich with the ulti as well. They're converging in at 1.4k. It's about the dragon. It's about Kanavi. He gets a smite down, but no reset available. Victory 5. The blood will continue as missing. Now running a low mana bar, but the ultimate close here from Photic. Won't be able to clean up any JDG members to turn around. Rich is left isolated. It looked good at the start, but then V5 are like, nah, we're done with the play.
And once again, I just feel like they're committing too much to these plays. They find the initial kills. Members low, just back off. Now for JDG, sure, you lose your jungler, but picking up your second dragon. One more, you're on soul point.
Yeah.
Gao pushing up in the top lane, so you're going to lose more golden experience on the side of Victory 5. And again, everything just feels a little bit messy.
It's our first seeded team. It's our team that we expected to 3-0 top esports or 3-1 top esports with the way they opened the series in the top side bracket. This series is not starting out great as Rookie takes a massive chunk from 369 with the Eclipse. And it is worth mentioning that the gold's 1,000. Again, the conditions you talk about with the scaling from JDG is so important. 2 dragons as well puts a bit of a clock here onto V5, more crucially so. As turret plating's about to fall down, I think we're going to give a bit of praise to JDG because of how Kanavi's played the early game, the crucial member of this team.
Of course, right? Again, they've just been so great about getting the setup for these objectives. We're going to see here, actually going all the way back to the mid lane gank. Yagao, Immobile Mage cannot walk forward. They have no vision if you look at the top side of the mini-map. And Rookie, I think just overall connecting the chain was the critical thing here to set up for Carson to be able to commit so heavily to find this kill. And in the Dragon, we were just praising JDG setup. I feel like this is one of the times to look at the mini-map. Jinx not being here, so important because Rich does have his ulti available. It makes it very easy for them to find the all-in onto the Viego. And then here, though, with 369 so strong, able to put down all of this damage, you have an Ezreal on the opposite side of the map that isn't able to follow up either. They just get too low, and Rich overcommits.
And the rest of V5 already backing away, so you're right. You know, Messi definitely feels like it. As Dredgeline pulls that point, Everfrost on the top side, and look, the brothers are back together. Casa and Rookie, they love each other, Lyric. I mean, seeing them together once again, always a good sign as Rookie picks up the kill.
It's just really nice to see summoners punished. I feel like that's something we don't see enough in the LPL, where you'll see these ganks go off. You won't see them follow up on.
Rich ulti. I've seen a lot of Malphite play in the past couple of days, and Rich not going to be following this one through, but you're right. You know, good timing there used again. Yagao bullied once more. Only about 30 seconds before his flash comes up.
Yeah, so we'll start being in a better position for these fights once again. And just kind of looking is, we haven't had a lot of time for Breathing Group to really talk about anything. But JDG also, almost all mythics completed. Still waiting for Rich to get his, of course, going for that early Bramble Vest to return some of the damage 369 putting on, give him some early armor. Essence Reaver there for Photic, also very strong mid-game spike. So V5 right now should be feeling incredibly strong. I feel like a lot of it does rely on Rich, though. So V5, unless you have like Rookie set up somewhere first, you have some vision down, can look for a pick. I think you are kind of reliant on that Malphite ultimate to really make anything happen. And JDG are still just fine. You can just answer waves, push back in, get some of your vision line back down, probably neutral vision in river, and just wait for that next objective because you're setting yourself up for a decently early soul.
That's true. I mean, again, even losing a couple of dragons, it's a cloud soul, by the way, folks. So maybe less priority coming through, at least from JDG's angle. I was going to come back and talk to you a little bit more about that because it feels like V5 this game have always had to be the ones to pull the trigger, and now especially so. They've just picked up the Rift Herald. Rich still without his mythic, but he'll be getting close there. And I want to talk to you a little bit around how V5 can force JDG to come towards them when they are the team sitting pretty on a couple of dragons already.
I mean, I feel like the thing is V5 don't need to force them to come to them, right? Because since you have that Malphite ultimate, you're always able to try and find the engages you need. Would have been a lot nicer if V5, were able to be in an advantageous position because LeBlanc, I think, does so well if you're on objectives first, being able to punish the lack of vision the enemy has, pop out over terrain, find a chain, and just burst someone out, but they will still have tools. It's one of the nice things about champions like Malphite and Leona, right? Is you at least always have ways to try and force onto the enemy team, even if JDG do have this comp that just plays off so much range with the Victor, Jace, and the Jinx.
Okay, well, I'll be keeping an eye out then how they pull that trigger. For Rich especially, just tracking that mythic when he has been behind in the lane, when 369 has been bullying him, as Malphites often feel the sting of big pointy hammers, despite being rocks. 40 CS down here will be holding on the item torque. For now, folks, just notice that 25 seconds is when the next dragon spawns. JDG down the bottom side here, Lyric, getting vision advantage once again. V5 pulled very far back on the map. Rich now goes back, picks up what's close to looking like a locket here. But we're getting towards our first item at the very least, and we're going to start talking about the dragon.
Yeah, JDG once again having first move onto the objective. They rotate Yagao early on. They even have push in bot side, so V5 not having an obvious entry point. They are just going to brute force their way in with PP God and with Rich, who still isn't here. So JDG, very crucial. They do have all of their flashes up.
Okay, well, those summoners are going to come in handy, especially with the angle coming through here from Rookie. On the backside of 369, Rookie now in the pit. True Shot Barrage does damage to Kanavi, but the Shock Blast, what I'm looking out for is Rookie jumps on in, pulls them forward, but by himself is missing. Who's buying his own time? But Rich is ulting in the backside with the Solar Flare layered on top. May have just done it for V5. They've got their range in play, but Kanavi has a reset. He's in the middle of everyone. He's heartbreaking until he has a heart attack. JDG with the 2 versus 2, and all blood being spilled as Rookie jumps in again. Ignite on top of Hope 369. Over the wall! This guy taking on the team, but Photic won't let him. The Ezra with a Mystic shot. It's Photic time, baby!
And Photic absolutely popping off. Rookie right alongside him, protecting him from the Jace. They're going to easily be able to transition this into the Dragon, and this was exactly the kind of fight that V5 needed.
This is exactly the kind of fight I expected when JDG and V5 are bloodthirsty demons, man. There's a fountain, and they're just sipping from it while the rest of the crowd take pictures.
And we see here, again, the crucial thing, JDG not really able to find any of the early poke to start this one off. V5 do have some long-range tools to put some threat on them, force them to go in, which is what it feels like Missing does. Missing feels threat, so he goes in, but that was the crucial Malphite ultimate they needed to be able to set off for Photic and Rookie to be able to pop off. We know it's going to get very messy skirmish. We see Kanavi trying to find the resets. Ultimately comes into this 2v2, and it just ends up being a poke battle, right? And I feel like when it gets into these situations, as Jace, you're pretty gated by your cooldowns, to where Ezreal, right, you're just able to spam those Mystic shots non-stop, and it means in this war of attrition, V5 are doing pretty well, which is why 369 feeling like he needs to pull that trigger to find his way into those key carries for Victory 5.
I mean, look, Lyric, I just went to Scotland. I had a lot of haggis, right? And that was beautiful.
He's 5-0!
But that fight, even more enjoyable than haggis. So you heard it here first. 5-0 and 3. Further to your point, 2.5 items here on Votic. Look at Rookie as well. Voidstar picked up after the fight. Carson now with the bounty as well. That was beautiful for V5 considering that this early game hasn't been their story at all.
And this is where V5 are strongest, in my opinion, in the game, right? Because JDG Hope still not on that third item where he'd want to be, right? Something like an Infinity Edge, having the damage there, or even, you know, an LDR, considering you do have a big Malphite on the opposite side, wanting to burn down those tanks. V5's front line actually just rock solid overall.
Hey.
So for JDG, we're going to wait for that next item to come out before I think they really are in a place where you're feeling much better about this mid-game. So I expect V5 to be looking to force a lot of plays, especially playing around Rookie's LeBlanc, right? He's the one that has the setup with those chains to be able to find the ganks on two people like Yagao, which we've seen time and time again.
It's already some of this deep vision that they're putting down around Rookie up in this top side. So I love it. You mentioned that playing around Rookie is the key here. The man who is the strength of Victory 5. He's still pushing up towards the top side. Vision is being contested for now, but V5 just pacing themselves.
Well, that's the great thing about this, is that since Vodic's on the Ezreal, I mean, he doesn't really need any babysitting to keep him safe, right? You always have the Arcane Shift there. Sure, you don't have a flash, so if JDG do, like, overcommit, maybe they can find him.
Yeah.
But I think V5 would need to pretty much be playing very egregiously, not have any vision down for him to go down. So it's like, cool, you give PBGod a lot of breathing room to hover in the enemy jungle with Karsa. It'd be nice to see them try and make their way back in, get some of that deep vision down, and look for these picks. But JDG being a little bit sneaky.
We'll talk about it on the other side now. 369 has bid his time, but Rich with a flash ulti available. He knows getting ganked. He gets a knock-up, runs out for his life. Kanavi wants movement speed. The route to come down, that's what needs to connect, and it does. Half HP, and with no help, and Votic can't save him. It's Kanavi who helps pick up the kill, and JDG, a bit of a pick here to get tempo back on their side.
And this feels really good because you also have mid lane pushed out, right? So it's very easy to connect either from mid to bot or bot to mid to make sure you can make these plays very fluid. JDG not going to over-aggress. Looks like they are just going to back off, you know, get some camps onto their AD carry and make their way towards those power spikes where they feel much more guaranteed about being able to win these fights. But just nice to see them play the cross map. They know they can't match V5 on that top side where they have the LeBlanc, where they have the volley bear, so they look for the opposite side. It pays off, mid lane turret and 1 kill. So JG still holding the gold lead, but game still very even. Feels like once again going to come down to that next dragon.
Well, or something cheeky up in this top side. Karsa running after Yagao, but remember now he has a Banshee's Veil as well. Gone very defensive here with a Victor build. I think worth mentioning when there's been so many tools to lock him down. I need to pause though because Rookie's at an angle. JDG are walking in this choke lyric, and as he goes to Hope in the backside, Rookie with the Everfrost, he gets him! Rookie, the best mid laner in the LPL, does it again.
And now it looks like V5, I wonder if they're going to start a Baron play. You see Votic throwing down damage on it right now. They do have good turn potential. Leona, Malphite ultimate back up, and the volley bear, but JDG not exactly falling for it just yet, but V5 are going to keep going.
Committing the teleport from Rookie, he returns. He's got a Dark Seal with 10 stacks and 2 items, and I'll be watching him as JDG try to get towards the Baron. It's going down so damn quick, but they turn for the fight. Big goal with the Zenith Blade. Rookie in the backside once again on top of Kanavi, burning him down as the bear jumps in as well. Golden for Carson with a knock-up from Rich in the backside. It's gorgeous, but wait, Kanavi got Rookie. Kanavi got Rookie in the backside. Maybe not mattering anymore as Votic the one to live. Mystic shot after Mystic shot. He's in a gravity field though. Aggressive but not dead. Yagao and missing at a low health bar as PBGod re-engages the range coming through. Dredgeline, Rocket! This game, it's only game 1, Lyric.
It was so close too. I feel like Votic playing that so well. Not getting stunned up by the gravity field, but Yagao able to make it out, buys enough time for Hope's rocket. And this game still so back and forth. Dragon also up now. JDG can start making their way there. They have TP on the Victor, and they should be able to look for this objective.
In the words of someone who ain't here with us, yeehaw, Lyric, because this, man, this game delivering on the blood level we expected. Dragon going to be started out as TP's on the left-hand side. V5 are not nearby, so this will lead to Soul. And I don't know where you want to start on this one. You're going to have a replay soon.
I'm going to have a replay. It's going to be a complete mess. I don't know how I'm going to follow it or break it down.
Luck.
But, I mean, at least looking what's on the map now. Never mind, replay is just coming out right away. V5 feeling very good about this, right? No 80 carry on the opposite side. You have gap closing tools. So, again, keep your eyes on Rich here. He's looking for Yagao. He's looking for the Jace. Finds a nice 2-man knock-up. Yagao not putting himself in harm's way. But Kanavi doing a ton on the opposite side of the fight to take away the LeBlanc. I feel like this is where it gets super messy and super interesting because Yagao feeling himself flashes in. Votic, though, with the perfect arcane shift. This is what makes V5 think that they could turn this and take the fight. Sadly, though, the Jinx Rocket coming out of nowhere to lock him to just take him down, and it ends up with JDG being able to win.
A bit of a surprise. Kill goes over again to Hope, but Yagao is the one who survives and picks up yet another kill in that fight. We have some pretty big members on each side. Let's quickly just highlight 5-4 here on the Victor, 2.5 items strong. Kanavi still a threat as he found Rookie on the back of that fight. But I want to mention on the other side, we've talked about Rookie. Photic this game is very strong. 3.5 items here. He's just picked up the Serelda's Grudge. Another piece of lethality on top of that as well. People like Yagao, Hope, 369, even Kanavi going to be feeling the sting.
Yeah, it's going to be quite rough, especially, again, if we're in the extended posturing. Like, sure, JDG technically have more poke because they have 3 long-range champions as compared to just the Ezreal and LeBlanc on the opposite side.
Sure.
But you have a much better front line as Victory 5. So if it comes down to just a battle of hitting front line and war of attrition, that's why we saw the fight around Dragon. V5 were able to do so well. Again, Rich PP got just able to absorb so much. And Photic right now still hitting like an absolute truck.
They found Rich, though. Yeah, he's got no summoners. Ulti's available, but it's a big tool. Dodges away from the rocket, but the depth charge still connects. 2 ultis for JDG, but a big one when we talked about V5's Rich being a core character.
Yeah, and you're seeing JDG still playing away from where they know V5 are allocating resources. Karsa and Rookie at the time were hovering up towards top to punish Yagao, but still they have Prio. They're able to move first. If they're able to force something now, could have a bit of a 4v5 because Rich would have TP,
True.
but it looks like they don't want to overcommit because JDG, of course, controlling vision around this mid lane, and neither team having vision towards that bottom quadrant of the jungle.
Yeah, we're A-ramming for a little bit here, poking our heads in. Kanavi first. Photic is front lining, and that's why 369 able to hit an accelerated shock blast. Still a bit of damage here from the Jace, 2.5 items. Worth mentioning, though, that Rich's cooldown on his ulti isn't as long as I suspected, almost half the way down as V5 continues poking. I think both teams want to fight again. It's in their nature.
And we see right now, again, just how much damage is coming out from both sides. I don't really expect anything to be able to come through without Rich's ulti available, so
Sure.
I don't really understand the extended standoff. You could have members, answering waves. Yagao's TP is going to be up soon, so maybe that's why they don't want to exactly right now.
Oh my god, Photic too far forward. Just caught out by an amazing dredge line from Missing. And without Rich's ulti, you're saying, that's done.
That's why the posturing's happening. Both teams expecting the other one to mess up.
Yep.
Photic looking for the aggressive E, gets caught out. Opens up JG for mid lane turn. They might even be able to get another one. Reset's still not coming out yet. Rookie just finishing his.
I mean, PP God's really slow here. Karsa as well. Vax only finally hitting the near Nexus as JDG have opened it up. Now looking for Rookie, pushing in the mid wave. No way to JDG continue this.
No way.
Rich also has ulti as well. If Frost doesn't connect from Rookie, they want Yagao. They stop the Banshee's Veil from him.
I was terrified. I was terrified that they were going to
see it though.
They were going to kind of run it down.
Yeah.
Set up for an opportunity for Rich, for Rookie to be able to go in. Luckily, they do back off. 1 minute until Dragon. You'd expect resets to be wanting to come out from JDG. They should have quite a bit of gold in their pockets.
Rookie aggressive on top of Kanavi. He's got a way out though as Missing can't interact with him mid-distortion. And so, Dragon, you're right. You were just mentioning it's a minute until we get towards the potential solve for JDG.
And, I mean, now for V5, you're the ones who get to control vision because, right, it's your window on the map. JG have to back off after making that play around mid. They don't care about setting up vision towards the Dragon. They're just going to go straight towards the Baron.
And look at where JDG are. I mean, they'll spot it out. Kanavi is the most forward member, but JDG sitting on a ward. There's a TP in the back. That's a massive flank. But the Death Rocket has helped leech.
Oh, Hope's flash gone.
369 coming through. You're right. Hope burning his summoner. Baron's down. Rookie might be dead, but we need to see how far V5 can get out before it ends. Is now going for the fight. True Shot Barrage on top of Kanavi, but he's bought so much time as Hope is free-firing. Rich has already burnt the ulti, and this Jinx is untouched. V5 running to the wrong side of the map. Yagao flashes over the wall. JDG say this game, it's a turning point that needs to happen now.
Yeah, JDG still chasing these members down, but Dragon about to come up. I think JDG should just very easily pivot, pick this one up. They'll be on Soul. And, I mean, for JDG, everything going maybe not exactly as planned, but exactly how you wanted it.
That's right. Close enough. Only 2 Barons left standing. Soul will be picked up. And that run from V5 to get out of the Baron pit, that was a scared one. And I'm just surprised that this game continues to go on, but so back and forth. Gold lead still close enough worth mentioning. As we see the Baron come through in this play, I mean, it's just so close.
Yeah, and you see here Rookie finding the early flash, but 369, amazing TP comes in, able to take out Rookie right away. So instant numbers advantage. And I feel like the key thing in this fight is look at where 369 and Nagao are. They're making their way around. They're finding the flank onto key members. These members of JDG, burly enough, tanky enough, having the ability to survive the initial damage coming out without the LeBlanc's burst there to be able to take them down. The other members of JDG finally get the wraparound, able to get in, and enough damage coming out from Hope, coming out from Yagao to start setting up for these resets from the Jinx.
Fotic trying to run for his life as well. I mean, this is just a nice little cutoff. And to finish that one off, JDG, you know, now put themselves in a further gold lead despite going up against the Baron. Baron only gets 500 gold in the top right of your screen, as you can see. A minute 15 with not much to use it for. JDG are taking back the enemy jungle. They're taking back their advantage. Because remember, Lyric, this game has been about JDG. V5 have found comebacks here and there, but JDG have mostly been in control.
Yeah, still though, V5 do at least have, you know, still some Baron left, right, Rich?
Yep.
Showing that he has that one right now. I feel like the key thing though, JDG Hope, 3 items, even having the stopwatch in his pocket if Rich looks for the ulti or if Rookie finds his way on the back line. So having some of those self-peel tools, because a lot of V5 do, again, come off that initial combo. Everything after that is purely on Fotic.
Okay.
And we've seen JDG been pretty good about finding some of these flanks to shut him down, or Fotic has been pretty good at shutting himself down.
Yeah.
But that was just once.
I mean, it's
I
the
think
old,
everyone gets one.
It's the old top esports 80 carry, right? You know, the man who got
True.
replaced by Jackulov. Remember that Fotic, you know, trained under the man, right? And when you train under Jackulov, flashing forward, stepping forward is the only thing you know. It's funny because, like, Hope is similar, right? I know Munchables has had a lot of talking about Hope versus Fotic, or at least these 80 carries have been sitting in the B
It's
League.
hilarious because it's the exact same story as their series where it was Hope versus Hwanfong. One trained under iBoy, one trained under Jackulov. Fotic's trained under Jackulov too, just like Hwanfong did. So, yeah, similar story, both coming in 2020. But these guys both being benched, you know, for Hope, like, after that year, after that split for Fotic, not even getting all the way through 2020 spring before he was taken out. Jackulov did come back into the roster. And I think both having a redemption on their current rosters right now. Hope being the big difference maker for JDG when he came in.
Yep.
And Fotic has been a standout on this Victory 5
Oh, he really
roster.
has. With PP God, I think they've been one of the best 2v2 lanes in the LPL. I've loved watching these two throughout the split. And especially since PP God has come back to the team he started the LPL on as well. There's a lot of rich history here, and we'll be walking you through. If you are a first-time LPL viewer, we'll be making sure you're up with our 17 teams, 2 of which are right now fighting for their life here in a best-of-5 series. Now, Lyric, let's take it back to the game, because Soul is acquired. We have Elder in 3 minutes as well. For V5, that is unmissable as an event. JDG are in control. They have the map state kind of under their wing at this point with a 4K gold lead and getting towards 4 items on some of these core carries as well. It feels like for JDG, they're hitting that point you talked about earlier in the game where they are the team that have better scaling through here. The way their map interacts, I guess.
Yeah, still the last whisper coming out for Hope. Yeah, and again, you do have a pretty big front line for the side of Victory 5.
Yeah.
Shouldn't really be easily able to hit any backline members. Fotic, though, on the opposite side, I think itemizing quite well for just tons of damage coming out from your Q when JDG's comp is so squishy. So, again, both 80 carries right now being some of the biggest damage dealers. Zigao as well, though, I think has had some huge moments in these team fights.
True, he really has. And
So, it's kind of weird, right? Because we've kind of like a 2-3 threat team on this side, and for V5, it's pretty much like just Fotic. Like, sure,
Yeah.
Rookie's there to set it up, maybe find a pick, but at the end of the day, you are relying on the Ezreal.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's been all these fights that have been about Fotic. It's Rich ultis. Wait, your gal's being caught out, but Hope's here as well. Rich is going to die for it as 1v1 comes through. Rookie now running for his life, but Hope flashes over. Crits him to death, man. We're just talking about the new Hope of JDG again.
Beautiful from him to be able to follow up. We see Yagao able to buy time with the Zanyas as well, which just allows Hope to free hit the tank. Doesn't even matter if he doesn't have the LDR at that point in time. And he's just so huge at this point, right? Easily able to take down Rookie. They pivot this into a bot lane push. I don't know how much more they should be able to get from this with Fotic being here. But hey, JDG do have engage tools if they want to pull the trigger.
Yeah, missing over the wall as well. Remember that man has flash too. As the minion wave pours on in, Hope steps up to the plate and V5 can't contest. Fotic takes a massive piece of damage. They want to end it here. Depth charge goes in the back line. Fotic hit up, but look at the searing pain that JDG are inflicting. This team, this ain't the first seed. JDG sitting as the 3rd in this elimination match as Rich ultis in for the great stopwatch timing here. Saved out is Hope. Lyric, I'm so glad you mentioned that because the timing from Hope's gorgeous. The gameplay from JDG phenomenal. It has been bloodthirsty to say the least, but Jing Dong have come into this lower bracket, and they say that we should be back on the main stretch of road.
Great to see coming out from JDG. We saw what they wanted to do with their draft. They had these strong early lanes that also do have scaling potential. As long as early skirmishes don't really break out, or if JDG, like they did in that early Dragon fight, you have the positional setup. You're forcing V5 to run into you, like scattered, not really coordinated timings. They are able to win out. Then we got to a point where, I mean, the damage is huge. You had so many different threats on the side of JD Gaming as compared to V5, who, it's again, sure, we saw how much Rookie was able to do if he's able to find a flank or if you're able to abuse vision, but without that, it's just a Photic show.
I mean, it really was. And again, like, I mean, it really should have been, I should say, because there was a part of the game where it really was. But for Victory Fire, there were slim margins in that game. There were slim moments where V5 looked quite competitive. But for the early game, Kanavi on JDG was insane. I think, again, we talked about this guy taking over in games, and the first 15 minutes definitely were about Kanavi, while Casa got an early gank in.
I mean, yeah, he tried. We saw many times him trying to find these ganks, right?
Yeah.
Bot, and they instantly pivot bot into mid. Like, I think the idea was there from Victory 5, but just JDG with some beautiful answers in terms of like when they roam missing up and answering a lot of these plays. Even the cross mapping, once we got to mid game, they always avoided the LeBlanc volley bear, right? They always went to the opposite side, always found plays of their own, and V5 not able to find anything with Yagao playing so safe under those side lane turrets.
That's true. You know, a couple of ganks here and there, a couple of kills here and there, but Yagao was always scaling. Yagao got into that point in the game where he became very calm and controlled. I think props come through as well to 369, who was a bit more silent in this game, but still quite solid.
Hitting the accelerated shock blasts, we saw time and time again.
A lot of damage coming out. And I think, importantly enough, 369 has always been that anchor, that real solid part of JDG in many different ways. He's quite versatile himself, we know, with Champion Pool and, you know, player alike. And it was good to see that 369 was playing as 369 here in this game. An important part for JDG.
I do feel like, again, we've highlighted Hope and 369 mostly, but I feel like Yagao and Kanavi really were the big ones in my book who did this. I feel like Yagao played so many of those fights just so well. Again, the placement of his W to either force out flashes, force out arcane ships, set up for a lot of these plays to come through, the stopwatch or Zanya's timings coming out, set up for teammates to be able to follow up. Just huge amounts of damage throughout all these team fights. You already hit on Kanavi's early impact. So when we think of V5 as the team that has been the mid-jungle team this year, it's really nice to see JDG not even draft for mid-jungle, right? Victor Viego, not some insane combo. They didn't play it like that, but those were the two who did step up in this game.
Yeah, I mean, again, we didn't see much in the ways of mid-2v2. Yagao left by himself. But the game's still looking great, and you can see, again, what we're talking about. The control of JDG in the majority of this game was on their side. Like, Gold Lead tells, I think, a pretty good story for once in the LPL.
Yeah, of course. And again, we're seeing here in the damage, the 3-threat comp coming from JDG versus just the 1 threat of Photic on the opposite side. And, you know, he did his best. Like we saw some good damage coming out. We saw one team fight that was beautiful, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough to take down the side of JDG. Let's remember, though, both of these teams did start 2-0 up in their previous series, and they weren't able to close them out. So we're not going to count out V5 after one loss, but it is nice to see JDG coming out once again with, I'd say, a really nice draft and just overall, like, really nice execution of how to play out this game.
So maybe V5 actually did win this game with, you know, the 2-0 start in the other series. This is V5's plan. They go, we're gonna try and start 1-0, 2-0 down, and then make the reverse sweep. That's what they need to do. You know, Photic again, a highlighted player here on V5, but unable to get access. I think importantly enough as well, we kind of saw, you know, Rich's ultis, some of them great, some of them individuals. It didn't all come together for V5. We had a lot of questions, and hopefully that can be answered. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw to a break. When we return, back over to the AD to talk about Game 1.
You got to be even more careful because Flandre has taken a big chunk of health and he hasn't really got any minions to try and get off of, and the Shy's on a flank.
Yeah, this is so scary right now. Scout has 15 seconds till he's up, so they're trying to force the fact in now.
Oh, there it is! You couldn't even see him! They didn't even know what was happening!
Gang, kinda full of hoodies out, circle full of actors. Y'all should put a movie out. Night Rider, King Kong, shoulders, I'm a monster.
Going down here, the Skate still has the flash, still has the ult. Target from the world goes to himself. Jankos looking for it! Jankos gets it!
Jankos will always find a way, and he steals the Baron.
Here. They do not know that self-mate's their control wall now going down as the dragon is started up. They're going to start it on it. Jankos looking for the steal. No! Way does Cap steal that from over the wall? He gets the Hextech Soul for G2.
First it's Jankos, and then it's the mid lane man Caps.
To the top of that mountain, I was everything that they wanted. Been loyal, a rider, Viking, a fighter, but I've been further with my home.
trying to get one down, but no, not quite able to find one bomb. The flash is good. Angel is here as he tries to get a flash away. Doesn't land the charm. Scout versus the world is Viper. It's a 1v2 on both sides. Viper gets one. They're doing it! The other, and Scout will stay alive. Keeping EDG's lives alive in this series. He's got ults going for him. I don't know if they'll think about it. They won't, and that's another one. Scout is popping off in this fight, and EDG won't go down.
Os Reinos chegando, não veio com ninguém, ficou pra trás agora o Jojo, a pela lateral, o Gui vai saindo também, o Barão foi abandonado por enquanto. Matos gastou, que belo ultimate! Do combo! Inflamatilha foi a caça!
And Blabber just gets cold from the Freljord, and he's still frozen solid. We're going to find a bit more now as Fudge walks away. Just barely staying alive and in the win some. It's going to be closer. Diving in for more. Kill number 2. Kill number 3. 100 Thieves is walking over Cloud9.
Chovy takes 2 of them out. There's a 3v2 fight on the top side that T1 are getting close on, but it's not quite enough. Gumayusi, though, he's looking to angle over. He might be able to get some damage in. Ruler is in a bit of trouble, has to flash away. The snap gets him on the backside. Gumayusi gets excited, and he's going to be the one that carries the fight in the end. That should be enough for T1, that they will clean up the fight just like that.
You better stop playing with me, yeah. You better stop playing with me, yeah. You better stop playing with me, yeah.
Welcome back, one and all, to the LPL playoffs. We have just finished off game 1. We are going to be bringing you to the coffee table. Why do they call it coffee? I like coffee desk.
The coffee desk?
Yeah, the coffee desk. You know, we don't have coffee,
have
we got
coffee.
water. You had coffee earlier.
That is fair.
Fun fact, I don't drink coffee. We also got this to work as well, which is nice. So we got a little bit of extra thing.
Fact?
It is a fun fact.
It's
you know?
a fact. I don't have fun.
Let's explain to Oshin what he considers fun. You know?
I like how individually I was like, oh, they won't do this. They won't gang up on me.
Oh, we will.
But coming obviously off the back of that, JDG do come out with a 1-0 victory, and you want to try and break down the draft and how it kind of functions for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of like the draft that we saw coming out from V5, right? I think the Ezreal was a little bit funky, but I think other than that, like, it had clear conditions of, hey, look, we're going to try and play through this LeBlanc in the mid lane with the volley bear, make sure that we're setting up for a strong mid game. You've got the Malphite there to set up for really strong engages. You've got good skirmishing. It felt like it was all coming into play for V5, but when we actually got to see them in action, like, JDG's early game was just super far and away better. Like, you're looking at, like, their skirmishes go much better, like the map movement was much cleaner, and it just really felt like we never actually got to see V5 kind of doing their thing at all in this game.
And I think the big thing for me is you have Rookie on LeBlanc, right? You have LeBlanc and you have Volley Bear. You into a Victor Viego, and particularly as the Victor, right? There was that first skirmish where it ended up being a 1-for-1, and it felt like from there on they were trading even. And I'm like, if you have such a strong mid jungle 2v2 into a Victor, you should be crushing him. Yeah. And I feel like they should have been coming into the mid game with a lead. They have so much engaged tools with the own Malphite, the Ezreal spike in them. They should have continued the momentum. And I feel like because they were behind, despite some good fights, you know, JDG with their good execution just were able to outstep.
Yeah, and it just felt like that was kind of it the whole way through, right? Was just how good they were on the execution standpoint. Like, again, as you're talking about the early skirmishes, but even the way they moved around the map, right? We saw them consistently getting to objectives first. It always felt like V5 were late. And then when you're in that position, it's much easier for you to spread out, make sure you got the Jace there, make sure that it's all good, and like you're not actually clumping up for this Malphite.
Yeah, you're not. And of course, it was an MVP performance from Yagao. Yagao, the man in the mid lane, was doing exceptional work. It just felt like it was working out for JDG, and honestly, this man was just kind of everywhere he needed to be.
Yeah, and I feel like it's so instrumental because you're playing in a mobile carry, into a Malphite, you're the team's primary source of AP, right? If you fall behind, the game could just completely fall apart, but he was so relevant in team fights, consistently finding angles to put out damage, and checking Photic. Photic had a fantastic Ezreal game, but Yagao was just hunting him down.
Yeah, I mean, this was the Yagao versus Photic game, as you said. Like, everything about this was like, all right, who's going to step up to be the carry? And so many times Yagao, like, because they were kiting back into these small choke points, especially when we looked at the Baron and that, they're able to get down the gravity field, made it very difficult for Photic to actually be enabled in these fights. Whereas when you look at Yagao, he was popping off consistently, being one of these big damage dealers, especially in a matchup against LeBlanc, right? Like, where you're looking at these early against rookies LeBlanc. Yeah. Like, that's no easy task, and this was one of the matchups where I thought Yagao would fall down, but he's really stepped up.
Well, we're going to have to see what V5 change. We're going to send it back over to Hysterics and Lyric for the pick and ban. Guys, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Hysterics. I'm joined by Lyric, and we are going full throttle once again. We've been told, Lyric, we're already in ban pick, and this series has been very fast, not in game time, but in the feeling all around.
Yeah, I know. It feels like we've been like thrown onto a deserted island. You've been watching a ton of Lost, so you know that feeling quite well. And yeah, we're already halfway through draft so far. V5 first picking the Lee Sin, I feel like is a huge point, because one thing about JDG's last series was about those early proactive junglers, and it's nice to see V5 pivoting, getting away from the Hecarim that kind of like it bogged them down in their last series, getting some early aggression once again in this series. But this time we need to see them be able to answer, because in game 1 they had an aggressive mid-jungle 2v2 and they weren't able to punish Yagao's Victor.
Orcs was talking about it. He said that the Victor should have been crumbled. It should have fallen to the ground, essentially, to paraphrase. JDG right now have gone with the Victor again. Knavi on the volley bear this time around, and Saya for Hope. So we get some strong picks here, Lyric. I am more curious down that rabbit hole we always talk about, which is Rookie's champion pool and how far it'll go since the game 1 LeBlanc's been banned.
Yeah, I'm really curious what they would want to go for here, considering the fact that you want to go for aggressive mid. I was going to just speculate the Syndra may be something he could look to answer, have the long range, Scout of the Week 2 set up for Karsa to be able to come in. But now with that off the board, feels like V5 are going to have to go towards other options. Like, they can go for like weaker laners, you know, things like maybe the Gallios or Vexes and look for sides, but I feel like even that is quite rough. Now we're going to see what Rookie goes towards. Been playing a ton of Azir in solo queue lately as well, looking to pick that one up after Scout's standout performances. But now JDG, I would expect to be looking for a bit of a support answer here. Things like the Nautilus still being left open feels like the obvious go-to for JDG.
And I think missing out a great game one on it. It's easy to say, right? Dredge line's beautiful. Depth charge is even more exceptional. This has been a really good end of split for missing. If you are just tuning in, it is not the 2021 missing that everyone was bagging out. Instead, we get his Nautilus again, and we get to praise him hopefully here once more. But with the Malphite band lyric, Jace comes through from Ridge. And now Rookie on the Twisted Fate is more of a Yagao angle.
Yeah, and it was something we didn't just hit on, but we said something that looks to move towards sides. I hit on the Vex and the Galio, but TF still being there is a great answer. And now 369 with the Jace on the opposite side, you know he's going to go towards a frontline tank. I feel like he's been playing this role so well, which I feel like is a big contrast to last year, where if like on top esports, 269 really struggled on anything that wasn't super aggressive, win lane, win game style champion, but on JDG, he's really pivoted quite well. So JDG, once again, I think very solid front to back 5v5 team fight. You have the tank line there, you have the damage in the Xayah and the Victor. On the opposite side, we know it's setting up for sides. We know it's setting up for picks. It's a very obvious, Jace TF combo that not only we've seen time and time again, you guys out there, everyone, we've all seen it time and time again.
We know, and especially with V5, right, a team that wants to get going. We talked about the adaptability of V5 many different broadcasts, many different times, I should say. This time around as well, adapting to, okay, play towards the top side here, play towards the Jaces you already talked about as well. You have options, you have angles. I think the most important part is that V5 in game number 1, as Orc said on the desk, is you just reminded us of that 2v2 didn't crush. So now going outward a little bit to see how they can adapt, because game 1 was a little bit sad considering that V5 were coming back in, but it all crumbled apart.
Yeah, I mean, even this game, right? Because I think you could logically maybe think like, okay, well, TF is gold card. You can bring Lee Sin mid. It's like maybe early on you could look for that.
Stretch.
But not having a lot of damage, on the Twisted Fate, I feel like it'd be quite hard, especially if Kanavi's anywhere where he can look to counter gank, and then you do have more damage in your 2v2.
Yep.
So definitely looking for V5 to look towards sides rather than just set up for around Rookie, which even though we say V5 plays all around Rookie, it's not just about ganking mid. It's about how they use that mid to pressure not only sides, but I think especially into the enemy jungle. V5 are so good at finding picks in the enemy jungle, getting deep vision down, and just setting the enemy team behind.
Which I think is really important when you're going up against JDG out of all teams left in playoffs, or even all 10 teams we've had, because JDG rely on Kanavi. You and I discussed time and time again, and have in previous years, how important Kanavi is to the team. And even though some elements of JDG have changed, it remains the same that Kanavi is at the center of Jingdong Gaming.
It feels like some of their, like a lot of their tendencies stay the same, right? Playing around Kanavi, I think being so skirmish heavy and dragon heavy. I remember even back in 2019 listening to you guys cast about JDG. I believe it was the mosh pit back then and playing around those objectives. I feel like the one big difference is the fact that they finally have a lane that pressures. Not that Zoom couldn't find pressure back in the day, and their bot lane definitely being a lot more kind of get pushed in, facilitators, role players. But Zoom also wasn't a laner who really liked to get pressure, like right, playing the Ornn, playing the Set, playing these types of champions. But now with 369, they have someone who pulls jungle, someone who could set up for dives, and someone they could reliably play around, which I feel like has been huge for JDG.
So while we're waiting for Drive to come forward, let's go back to some of the win cons again. You talked about front to back for JDG, quite simple. V5 bringing tempo into the game once more. I mean, that's what we said in game 1, right? We said that V5 need to get the ball rolling a little bit to put themselves in a decent position, if not even running into the mid game.
Yeah, and I feel like it really is just that simple. Once again, I feel like early lanes could be a little bit rough. The better thing for them is they now do have Prio in topside, right? You do have the Jace up against the Scions, who have some push and some like avenues to play around with Karsa where you can look to invade the enemy jungle once Rookie hits 6, because you know your Jace will be pushing, go into the enemy jungle, like bada bam, bada boom, it's all done type thing.
All right.
I don't know why I did that.
Simple. You're feeling peppy after the first game, dude. We're waiting for us to run into... That
first game was weird.
Dude, the first game was crazy. If you're just tuning in now to the series, JDG with a game 1 win, by the way, Yagao MVP. But it's worth mentioning that we had a killer minute. I think even towards the end of the game, right? Like 30 kills just about. It was explosive.
20 seconds to begin the game, we already had a gank come out through the bottom lane. So, again, both teams, these were our two most aggressive teams in the regular season. JDG, of course, loving those early games with Kanavi. Early on, it was early jungle invades through bot side. Later on, it was ganks 4-3-6-9. And V5, I mean, once they find an advantage, we saw even that game, gank bot, instantly transition into a gank mid, and just kind of look to snowball the game from there. If that gets shut down, still V5 have a chance, right? Dag to hit on earlier, the 57% win rate went behind for Victory 5 is quite good, but I don't feel like we've been seeing that same like threshold able to come through 4v5 in playoffs just yet.
Yeah.
But it's only been one series.
It's only been one series and one game, right? And game one, we talked about the mess that we saw right around the early objectives, early neutrals, where V5 didn't look as coordinated. V5 looked a little bit off the page a bit, but it came together towards the mid game. Came together when, you know, we started talking about things like the Baron, you know, trying to force JDG into their angle. Again, ladies and gentlemen, there must be some sort of delay. We'll update you as soon as we hear something. It seems like getting into game 2 is a little bit more tough for wear. Waff for wear. I don't know. We're an island, by the way.
We are.
And while you're waiting here, just let me tell you, I went to Scotland yesterday. I came back from Scotland yesterday with my partner, and we had a ball. I had haggis, which if people can Google, probably don't need to say it on the broadcast. I went into the Highlands, into the snow. I didn't get to see the snow because I've never actually touched snow, but I saw snow on mountains.
Oh yeah, you're from the outback.
Dude, Australia doesn't get snow.
Yeah.
The Blue Mountains, I think, in certain areas.
Snow sucks. You don't want snow.
No, I love snow.
Snow's overrated.
I like cold. I like the cold. Outside today, it's sunny, and I'm pretty depressed.
Yeah, it's actually really hot right now.
Yeah, it is. It's not good. I like the cold here. That's why the wind and the rain coming through, it feels good.
Feels like it fits the temperature of the series, though.
True.
So far, game 1. We used to have the temperature checks from you.
We did, but that was Weibo Gaming.
It was the way, but yeah, the temperature checks, and right now, scorching hot. Feels like the read of the series.
And then JDG
this room
clobbered
outside.
them.
Yeah, they did.
It was JDG, wasn't it?
It was 3-2, though.
Yeah,
you
true.
know, we said V5 only played one series so far. Did go all the way to 5 games.
Yeah.
JDG 2 series so far, all the way to 5 games.
Been through the mill.
I feel like maybe shows good signs for this series to go the distance, but
you'd hope so, right?
Yeah.
Again, when we talked about how bloodthirsty they can be, I know an overused word at this point, but still, like some of the most champion kills per minute in the league. It is worth mentioning. Again, folks, give you an update with what we're waiting for as soon as possible. But I think the biggest thing is that we're getting into a series where it has been a lot of draft talk that we've been, you know, going through, and so far it's kind of lived up to, all right, well, these teams are adaptable, these teams are versatile, and we've seen different directions come through in 2 different games. JDG, more or less, I guess, similar angles with change in jungle picks and change in topside as well, but it is nice to see that, you know, these teams aren't kind of hinging into the problems that we saw in their respective series, RNG or top esports alike.
No, I was really scared, especially coming out for mid this series where, again, rookies champion pool is huge, but just not leaning on that victor feels like a massive problem in this current meta where we saw top esports punish so well. So you take a sip of your tea and I'm going to push my hair out of my face again.
Good tea.
But, you know, overall, JDG opting for like the more scaling mid lane picks. Again, still very strong isolated 1v1, so if JDG can play around those quite well, it makes sense, but I think it's kind of interesting how JDG have still punished V5, but in a completely opposite way than we saw Top Esports punish them. Because Top Esports was about the rise, it was about things like the Lee Sin volley, going to sides early on, and not allowing for Rookie to find an impact.
True. I mean, this time around, I think JDG as well. We talking about JDG's prep throughout the
Hey!
Oh my God! Never mind. Don't worry. I was just gonna drop down to JDG's prep. You know, throughout the end of the regular season at the very least. Felt nice, and I feel like watching JDG in a high point again in the LPL, it gives me that flashback. Remember that they were the Spring Kings, almost became double back-to-back championships in 2020 if Top Esports didn't take them to the 5th game and knock them down. JDG, they're a couple of steps away from yet another final, but this is where it begins. In our elimination match here, in our best of 5 in the lower bracket, it's all hands on deck. V5 versus JDG. Game 2 after JDG came through and styled in the first. Welcome to Summoners Rift once again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being so patient. Lyric, it's been a little while since we talked about the specificity of the draft. Let's just return again, talking about V5, since they are the team that we're expecting that proactivity from, at least at level 6.
Yeah, 100%. I think V5 early on, like you have some options, right? You have CC in both mid and bot if Karsa can find someone overextended like he did in game 1, set up for that gank, but it really does feel like the plan just completely revolves around looking for these invades through topside. You can look to punish 369 early. Post 6, I think he does get quite hard to dive on the side. You have the knock up with the Q, you have the ultimate. I'm going to pause though, is JDG just looking to see if anyone was waiting that brush, ultimately do just get some deep vision to spot out where Karsa is going, because we've already hit on it. You have the victor, you have the bigger front line.
Yep.
Once again, JDG kind of, they don't feel pressured if not a lot happens early on in this game.
And you threw me through a flashback where you talked about Zoom in 2019. Like, this is the kind of comp we'd see, right? Things like Ornn you already talked about. 369, a big Scion player, and, you know, in the past, Zoom has done the same. So, We'll see if JDG can get to that front-to-back point, a very calm point at the very least. Hope on the Xayah, something we've been seeing quite a lot recently as well. So that returns onto Summoner's Rift. And you did talk about JDG not really having the hardest time in the very early laning phase as well.
Oh, of course, because, again, Victor, once again, strong isolated laner. 369 will do fine in that one. Rich will win out, obviously, again, having the range advantage, having the first strike to be able to just get a lot of damage, come out.
Yep.
Even in bot lane, like, Aphelios does outrange Xayah early with the Calibrum. It is later on where I feel like Xayah does a lot more. You get some lethality under your belt in the Q range, 1100. Aphelios cannot match that range.
That's true.
So Hope going to be having a good time. So early on, JDG feels stable. Feels like later on is really when they come to a head.
But I mean, look at this. I mean, Kanavi's already getting busy with action. On a ward, though, so Rich is trying to waste his time as much as possible, while Karsa is a leg away, but still up towards the top quadrant.
And I mean, now going to be heading his jungle, right?
Oh, no.
Kanavi looking for that 3 camp into top gank. But looks like not going to be able to find anything. So again, Karsa getting ahead in terms of his clear. Karsa not really having too many opportunities early on, like we had already highlighted, really does come online at that 6 point. And going to be a lot, I think, about shutting Kanavi down. I don't think it's much about taking down 369, though maybe that would be cool, as we do have the make or break from Top V Sports last year, where Karsa completely just scolds and destroys 369's confidence on his Gragas.
True. I mean, and for 369, he's such a happy face, right? Kind of sad to see Karsa laying into him. I think the more important part is...
I remember, just real quick, I remember Knight in that clip is like, I didn't know what to say. I was speechless. I'd never seen that before.
Good root on the PP God. Look, bot. Ignite's actually down. PP God has to flash away. That was a good trade in the 2v2 from Hope and missing. PP God now without his summoner to escape.
That's one of the nice things about Xayah as well, right? With all these tank and... Ooh, gonna pause as Karsa looks like he found his window.
Yeah, there's a bit of damage onto Rich, but 369 now very deep. Now, you talked about it. Karsa versus 369. Dude, it's happening before our eyes. Another scolding with a flash forward. Tempest won't connect, though, as 369 has movement speed under his wing, but Sonic Wave connects, and Karsa with Tempest almost up and available again to slow him down, but Rookie's here. Gold card locks him down. Yagao can't help. Picking any card won't secure it, but Karsa will. There you go, Lyric. Another scolding to open up the first blood.
And for top 4v5, they did set this one up, right? Rich getting the early lane push, pushes it in. The wave, of course, bouncing back. Sets up for 369 to be overextended for Karsa to be able to find the gang. So nice setup coming out from Rich, and nice by Karsa to answer. Kanavi, though, is going to answer on the opposite of the map. You get a bit of information on where Karsa will be once he comes back onto the Rift. Take away a bit of his own jungle camps as well. And overall, not the end of the world for the side of JDG, but nice that they start getting kills early on. Could have been nicer if it could have been on the Jace, right? But, I mean, the second 369 flashed away. No options.
That's true. It was a long chase. Rich able to push up the wave in the top side for the very meantime. As you're talking about the trade-off here for Kanavi, it kind of happened in game one, right? We got first blood for Karsa bottom side. Kanavi goes top side, steals away a camp, picks up a bit of a CS lead. He's done so again, but I guess the difference this time is that Karsa picking up the first blood himself is going to be a big deal here on the Lee Sin. We talked about the direction change for V5 in this draft with the Lee Sin coming through with Karsa, not pivoting himself into, I guess, one direction like the Hecarim we saw in the previous series. It is nice to see because Lee Sin's Karsa is one of his best champions of all time.
I mean, he's still 100% win rate on it this split. You can see him right now linking up with PP God. Both junglers, both supports kind of hovering around that mid lane, making sure nothing happens. JDG might be able to find an answer, but it does look like they have a control ward right here that Missing's walking over right now, so Rookie will be just fine. And JDG, I think, do have a lot more early skirmishing power coming out from jungle and support than V5 side.
Rookie. Oh, Trenchline connects right against the wall, the gravity field as well. He has to flash away in the nick of time as the storm is also laid down. Rookie now without any summoners here is, I guess they committed to the play and the timing worked out perfectly.
Destiny, though, is now available for Rookie, so I feel like that's why he's hovering down towards the bottom half of the map, because you expect JDG, they gank mid, they start moving down towards spot, you expect them maybe to look for a play on the bottom side. They don't go for it, so Rookie can just go back to farming out his wave, and now JDG not going to answer Dragon, going to lose the first Dragon.
True.
I feel like they're
really
depressed.
In their nature, yeah.
JDG love these early Dragons, just start getting to the soul points quite quickly. Not going to be able to do it, though. Both bot and top lanes being pushed in. Sure, Victor can move first, but I feel like that is just outmatched by the V5's bottom lane being able to move.
Yeah, PP God and Photic going to give that assistance down towards the Dragon as well. Missing as he moves in. Remember, opposite positions. Kanavi goes over the wall. This is what V5 did in game 1, but JDG now in reverse. Sonic Wave connects stretch line. Ignite down into jungle for jungle trade. The Zenith Blade into the back line, and now a gold card onto Missing, who flashes away. Lyric, what is it with these teams, man? And just looking for blood as the train! Oh my god! Photic didn't buy a ticket.
JDG, I'm actually really surprised they went for that one. You look at the wave states in both top and bot. They don't care. JDG actually do care about Dragon more than they care about the setup on the map. Now, Rich going to be able to answer, maybe with some plates at top, going to deny some minions, some gold to the side of 369. Looks like Hope not losing anything to the wave, which is pretty nice. Ultimately, a 1-for-1. V5 still get the Dragon, but JDG actually really wanted something.
Yeah, they did. Replay time. Walked through again, because again, it was reversed. V5 did this in game 1.
Yeah, JDG coming through. Again, still in contest, thinking they'll have positional advantage because V5 were taking damage from the Dragon. Feels like the crucial thing here is just the fact that Karsa is low. But then here's the fact you have a Scion, he's level 6. Doesn't matter if you don't have TP available. You can find the engage, you can force the numbers advantage, and it makes it so Photic has to flash away.
And now that their summon is down as well, despite picking up a kill, Photic very vulnerable here, Lyric. You know, the heal down as well. PP God close to picking up his flash too, but no ignite there. Missing now returns the lane. They're going to have a bit of supportive combat in the off-screen while Photic pushes out the wave. Hope now moves aggressively as well. And Lyric, after the couple of kills coming forward, let's run through again what we were talking about. Destiny is still up and available. Rookie has that ulti. I'm waiting for him to use it because the first couple of Destinies always crucial to a game like this.
Yeah, the thing that's rough is I feel like JDG have really good sides to answer TF Destinies. I mean, you have Xayah, who does have her ultimate to be able to get away from any place coming through, and then 369 being on the Scion, just so tanky, so hard to take down.
Yeah.
So for V5, that's why I speculated it would be a lot more about going into the enemy jungle, trying to set Kanavi behind and hoping that no one is able to follow up, since you do have immobile Victor in that mid lane. V5, though, is going to be able to use their push and top to guarantee the Herald, not even having to commit their bot lane through with the fact that they do see Missing and Hope right in front of them. So can have a bit of an objective that they are able to use, and I would still expect V5 to mostly look towards that top side, maybe try and get Rich a bit more of a lead.
True. Against 369 Scion as well. Remember, Herald just picked up on front of our screen. JDG didn't really have a response here. V5 moved their bottom lane back into the wave. And there's 1k gold lead for V5 at the start of this game, worth mentioning here. But look at the bear return as Photic sends out an ulti. Was very ambitious, hoping for Hope. I did not do that on purpose. I do apologize, though. And Lyric, Herald lane, you know, you talked about opening up things for Rich, you maybe giving a bit more attention. There is an opportunity.
Yeah, and Missing now, going into the hook.
Yeah, maybe Herald's in the bottom side, or opportunity in the bottom side. PP God making me trip here as flash away immediately. Luckily, the summoner was back up and available. The Chaos Storm laid down as well. JDG committing 4 members, and that opens up the turret push.
And once again, just a cross-out coming out from JDG because they knew V5 making that play towards the top side for the Herald. So Karsa going to be nowhere near to look for this. At the very least, able to try and zone Photic off of some CS, off of some gold to expand on the lead that Hope has already found. I mean, look right now, about 23 CS. Sure. Photic should be able to close the gap a little bit, but Karsa and Rookie are top.
Yeah, they are, and look, that could open up everything here. 369 under turret. Is it going to be a dive or just a push? Rookie is sitting nearby with a gold card trying to poke him down, and 369 still trying to defend, but Herald gets the charge, close to knocking it, and V5 sharing a ton of gold between the three.
Right, I mean, it's exactly what we expected. Like, not looking for the dive because of how hard the Scion is to dive at this point in time. Yep. They also have no idea where Missing is on the map or Kanavi at this point. Sure, they were to spot, but you can expect those resets did come out. So instead, just opting to get the gold, expecting to put the Herald down, and V5 still trying to stack up these advantages, because later on in the game, I mean, Photic's going to be huge, but both Yigao and Xayah, the Hope, don't really need to play into the Aphelios. They have the range to be able to deal with him, and you have the card to set up the fight whenever you want for the side of JDG. So I feel like a lot of it is going to be on, like, Rich pushing out sides, moving first, getting the poke down so JDG can't walk in. I think Jay's pretty good against both Xayah and Victor because of the accelerated shock blast they're able to hit them with, and them not really having too much sustain to be able to get back in, especially the Victor.
And that's why I like talking about the similarities from Game 1, right? Because the initiative was on V5 in Game number 1, and they weren't able to do anything with it until we got towards the Barons, until we got to the, I guess you could say, the less riskier flips, where V5 are like, okay, we're going to pull the trigger now. We've got to do something. Destiny still hasn't been used, but Rookie has made a move. Now my question is, Lyric, what Caster can do? Because V5 are setting up towards the bottom side. It's 15 seconds towards the next dragon, and they already got the first.
Yeah, and I think the huge thing now is the fact that Photic just got his reset off. The Gale Force is up, so you can look for those aggressive plays, right? Gale Force in, Moonlight Vigil comes out, you just completely explode the enemy. Hope you have to go for his reset now to have the Eclipse.
Yep.
So V5 going to have an advantage if they are just able to start up this dragon. Looks like they are going to opt for the setup first, right? Having your Aphelios push out in that bot lane. They tried to get some vision down, but not really able to answer. So ultimately not going to be able to start that one off. But still, you know Hope going to be under turret right now answering this wave.
And I also want to mention that Teleport is available for Rich and now for 369, who changed his Ignite. So with the Unsealed Spellbook, he is ready to join in too.
Yeah, he's going to need to look for a bit of a reset, though.
Whoa, but Missing says, hang on a minute, pause, guys. Depth charge follows through to the jungler. PP God is the target. Timing from JDG. They pull fast.
Yeah, I mean, just going right then and there. I'm kind of surprised. V5, not really in a position to answer, but your Jace could have TP'd first. He was already in Fountain. The rest of your members are there.
Response play comes through. 369 without any mana. He flashes away. That train is not up and available. It's parked at the station while Rich needs to get the job done quickly. Under turret, he's taking 2 shots. He finally finds 369. It was a close one, but Victory 5 get the job done in the top side while losing out bot.
So, I mean, Victory 5 finds something, but I still feel like overall advantage was for the side of JDG. Yep. Rich will be able to get a bit more, maybe plate gold under his belt, get a bit more gold, but 369 has TP, so he should be able to answer quite quickly. And now for JDG, you can look to maybe make a play towards bot once again. Sadly, no wave actually means they aren't able to do so, but you can see them hovering down towards that bottom side, hoping an opportunity presents itself. Not going to go for it. Go straight into the replay. And again, here's where I thought V5 were in a better position. They have their members here, but JDG are just so decisive with pulling the trigger. Rookie not having time to answer with his Destiny, and just not wanting to commit the TP down from Rich. And again, you could have had 5 members there first.
They could have. Missing's on point, though. I think it's worth mentioning again that the support of JDG has been really clean so far in this series. The Nautilus, a big pick for JDG, and you can start seeing why. So with the pick onto PP God, the Dragon as well evening up. I need to tell you all that it is a Mountain Soul here, and there is a Scion on the Rift. It is always a good talking point considering how deadly it can be, how frustrating it can be to play against, and how much those stats can line up. So good here for JDG to get one on the board. And as we get towards the mid-game now, Lyric, outside of turret plating too, where do you want to take us here? Because we've seen a pretty back-and-forth early game, but V5 have a 3k gold lead that has propelled them forward.
Yeah, I'm happy to see Kanavi hovering around topside right now because it's something we hit on last game with Malphite. Same story for the Scion, right? Once you have that ultimate available, Jay's such a squishy champion, you have the damage there between them to look for these plays. It's nice to see if you can find an opportunity, but if not, I feel like for JDG, you actually just keep playing around bot. Bot is where you've amassed such a huge advantage, especially in terms of CS. Keep zoning Photic and PP got off is, look at the minimap, Rookie's actually here.
His Destiny is not available, he wants to run it in. There's a ward there that'll spot him if he goes any further as PP God clears it out. Hope and Missing still trying to pressure through, and Rookie just backs away.
I feel like we're seeing what we want out of both teams right now because you look at the minimap, Rich hovering down towards the mid, right? Push out, hover towards the mid, try and get that poke down, set up for an opportunity of your own with the fact that you have numbers advantage first. For JDG, I feel like Kanavi has more options. If you're up towards the top side, Hope.
Stuff on the PP God. He's got his flash available. Burns at depth charge down to Photic as well. Gale forces away. Stormbringer's outside turret range, but PP God buying space and time. And a 3-man ulti from Photic, dodging away from the trash on PP God. Surviving the Feather Storm. Out on the edge. V5 make it work.
Yeah, so close, but not able to find it. And once again, opening up for V5 to answer on the opposite side of the map. You will be able to take this turret. Still, Photic will be able to answer the wave, so he's not being set too far behind. But Rich able to do this. Karsa taking the Rift Herald on the top half of the map. Feels like V5 once again can have a massive opportunity to open up the map even more.
At least 369 stopping the turret push further, but yeah, Rich adding the pressure in. Feels great as Rookie's found a pick. Yagao spotted over the wall. That ward was beautiful. Now for Yagao, the flash needs to be burned. Rookie gonna Destiny though, and he's waiting, but in arm's reach. Destiny still used Kanavi there, but Rookie going into it. Everfrost burned because the rest of V5 are nearby, and you're right, the kick goes through, seeps into Yagao, and Kanavi caught out. Look at Caster right where he needs to be.
Beautiful ward, like you said, coming out from the side of V5. JDG not expecting that one, despite the fact that, I mean, you pushed V5's spot lane off. I think a ward there is quite understandable if you're JDG to expect something like that to come through. V5 able to find the pincer. Nothing on the map for you to be able to take off this. You kind of get some pressure inside. You're able to push out mid, but still just 2 kills, some nice gold in the pocket.
That's right, elevating that gold lead as well, right? We get kills further onto Rookie, Caster as well, having a very good early game, 2-1 and 2 on the Lee Sin. Let's watch it again because, Lyric, I'm glad you double mentioned it. Yeah, it was the ward and the lens that spotted him.
Yeah, so they know he's there. They look for the play with Rookie wrapping around, forces flash out. But guess what? It doesn't matter because you have Destiny, and if you look at the minimap right now, Karsa was pinstering this whole time. The bot lane's making their move up, and right now they're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. I feel like they know they need to try and just find a kill on Rookie and answer in some way. Kick comes through, and I mean, 4v2, what could he do for the side of JD Gaming?
Clean stuff there. Yagao even burning a stopwatch, so making it more worth here for V5. Now, we do have Dragon in 35 seconds, and Lyric, we saw what was burned in the trade. Yagao burning the flash, stopwatch as well going through. The ultimates that we saw from Casa, from Rookie, from Photic, most of them up, bar that Destiny's Gate.
Yeah, gonna not have the ultimate to at least look for picks. Yep. But V5 have done pushing out that top lane first, having Rich here to cement some of this poke to try and be able to contest the Dragon. Yagao does have TP available though.
Zenflade goes on in. V5 want to start it up. 369 ulties into the Leona. Did he get Solar Flare as well? Yagao finally TP's in. Photic taking damage. Gale forcing away. V5, their angle not quite here as Caster wants to kick into the back line. Sonic Wave connects again. He wants to clean it up. Missing the dredge line. Look at Caster go. Flashes away. The silent assassin. As Yagao also meets his end. Rookie into a blade callers. V5 have picked apart the pieces of the fight in Game 2.
It's just great to see V5 use their setup. Again, push out those sides first. Make sure you have numbers on the objective to be able to hit some of those massive spells. And now V5 going to be able to make sure they secure that Mountain Drake when you highlighted how scary it would be for JDG to pick this one up.
Good play caller again. The thumbs go in the air. Cheeky Photic as he'll survive for now, but Hope's still doing the damage. But the main point is that Dragon is denied from JDG, picked up here by V5.
5K gold lead.
That's a big deal, right? At 18 minutes into the game, Rich is also going to pick up this turret. And that means for V5, we're going to get closer towards 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to become so huge, right? The amount of damage that V5 are able to put out. You're going to be able to take this one 369, doing negligible damage at this point in time. You spot the other members.
They can knock him back. They can knock him back. And with the Sonic Wave, the damage here. Destiny as well. He flashes over the wall, but Cast is following through. 369 just wanted to defend, and he's getting hit as Rookie's interrupting the mid lane. But look, they have numbers advantage. Gale Force with Gravitum. And unfortunately, Missing's been drawn into a black hole. Photic making his name here, and V5, thank you, have finally given us a series.
And I mean, JDG just showed everything. They showed their hand because you had Yagao showing in top. Oh my god.
Kanabi walked into this, but maybe it's okay. PP got healed up here as Photic tries to bring it back. Yagao moving in, teleport being burned as well, just in case. The blood continues to rain.
But look at Rich! Rich pushing down in bot as well, denying more waves. I mean, right now, V5 playing the whole map, and I can't wait to see the replay because JDG, I feel like just over-exerting themselves, trying to pretty much answer every wave on the map, playing aggressively in mid when they shouldn't be, and it allows V5 to find all these kills. We're going to go here because, look, Yagao showing on top wave, the Scion showing in bot. You know you have numbers advantage here. I guess you don't theoretically know where Kanavi's, but look at their vision in the enemy jungle. They have quite a bit down to know that he isn't able to follow up, and sets up for the Gale Force to come out from Photic, find the CC down, Rookie holding the gold card the whole time, and bam, Photic able to answer that kill. So overall, again, I feel like JDG just too aggressively pushing mid, Scion too far forward in bot when Kanavi's not around. Just all showing on every wave. V5 know what they can do.
It's always fun watching these two, as I'm going to talk about similarities in a second. Blade Caller going to be used. Nope! Hope was destroyed! Rich didn't let him move, and Pete beat God again in a great place as V5 Lyric. I was going to say, this is what I want to see in the series. Them not lying down, a much better game number 2. JDG are routed, they're sweating.
And this is where V5 thrive, in my opinion. Being in the enemy jungle, getting the vision down, aggressively looking for these picks. V5 are not a team who waits for neutrals to move the cogs of the game forward. They actively look for it.
Like this, PP Gold with another Zenith Blade, sacrificing his own life as Rich's damage is massive. Depth charge in backline, Caster amongst it again. Missing a stone's throw away as Everfrost almost hits Yagao, who takes down Caster. Try and track this one, ladies and gentlemen, as it's blood for blood for blood for blood. V5 still, they've got the members, Lyric, and it's going to be an even trade, but The turret means more gold. 8,000 now the lead.
Yeah, it just keeps growing for the side of Victory 5. I mean, you're going to get to a point where you can start trying to bait JDG like out into an objective. I think V5 have typically been more, I'd say, tempered in terms of push in enemy jungle, try and find pick rather than pull enemy out with Barons, but the play is still available, and we see here PB got going in. You have the damage available. You were able to rotate first, and just with how much Rich is doing right now, the fact that Rookie's helping zone out on the opposite side with Karsa, you just don't have a way for JDG to get in a formation. Because one huge thing about JDG's comp, right, it wants formation. It wants front to back. 3-6-9, Kanavi missing in front. Hope in the middle, Yagao in the back, putting off this damage. And when it's such a spread-out brawl like that, that's where V5 thrive with champions like the Lee Sin.
And again, you know, this whole game has been them picking their own conditions. 8,000 gold, the reminder of the lead once more. Baron sitting there available, but V5 are holding the game in the palm of their hands. Destiny again, look at the shock blast. Victory 5 want to make it an equal series, and it feels like they can do that with this play to hit on top of Hope and lock him down. The feathers fly, but in front of 5 members of Victory 5, you ain't going nowhere. 369 teleported in to run away. Victory 5, they run towards the enemy in this one. It's a double kill over to Photic, and Victory 5 have one thing on their mind.
Yeah, they can just start making their way towards the Baron. Kanavi does have smite up, but no flash.
A kick back. Look at this massive refrigeration unit. Unfortunately, the mechanic needs to come out to repair it because it ain't working properly. Victory 5 members, Lyric. It finally begins.
Victor Ultimate still available, so if V5 funnel into this small corridor and Baron, sets up Yagao to maybe find a huge ulti to come through.
And another center play. Good hit from PB God. Sacrificing life once again. The cow stop on top of him. Kanavi just trying to kill him, but it is Yagao who gets the royalties from that one. Unfortunately, 369 died once again, which, okay, for JDG, means the Baron is stopped for now.
So they buy a bit of time. Dragon also going to come up, and I mean, members of JDG coming on the map first, right? You see Missing coming back out. Hope as well can start making your way down, and V5 might not have a way to answer, especially with Destiny not available, Photic coming out from base. Now it's going to be all about the accelerated shock blast coming out from Rich if he can dissuade them by himself.
I mean, he already hurt Missing so much. Kanavi's going to start this one off, and I'm looking at Rich right now on the edge of the screen. That shock blast was a little bit pitiful, but unfortunately it had no gate over the wall. Okay,
Hope!
It is Hope who gets it, but now that Cast is here, I'm scared. The kick forward hits through the hoops, but Kanavi and Hope still aren't out of dodge here as Rocky flashes forward with the gold card. Dredge line is a small one. Everfrost may miss as well, but JDG are trying everything to get out of this. Through the choke, the decimating smash, it helps, but it ain't the fixer. Photic picks up the kill, and JDG can't put a foot anywhere near V5 in game 2.
And you love to see it. Photic, once again, Gale forcing forward aggressively.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing in their previous series where he was the standout member for V5 when Rookie was the one being shut down in pick and ban. And great to see him still following through with those aggressive tendencies. And V5 now gonna look for the Baron once again.
All right, the rodeo continues to be a bit of a doozy here as Kanavi has to walk on in and mount the horse. Has he got his saddle, Lyric? I don't know. Is he going bareback? I don't know. But we're going to see what Kanavi can do here as level 12 on both the junglers. Note at 5k, it's going down fast. JDG on the back of Bitter's Destiny holds on. They stop the Baron. They turn for the fight. They're not making this a 50-50 as the ulti hits on the backside from Photic again. V5 looking super healthy. Decimating Smash does nothing, but the Solar Flare does everything. JDG in a choke, and V5 are hunting for them. They're running so far, but they can't escape. V5 have the movement speed and missing over the wall.
Ooh, great flash.
It needs to be a turn here. Rich survives, and the back's in the base, in the brush, just hoping for this game to go a bit longer. But this one is a stomp. Hope going forward. Golden to buy time. Feathers flying for Rookie. He's healed. Karsa kicks him in the face. Victory 5, our first seed, are finally wide awake.
V5 just aggressively running JDG down, and they're going to do it again. They're going to look for the Baron. Only Yagao and Kanavi up. Kanavi is, chunked out a little bit. I wonder if they're going to look for it, because it feels like a flip. Really the only thing you could go for at this point, but with no flash, no ult, and actually even no blast plant to get over, JDG can't look for anything. Victory 5, I mean, 10k gold lead, massive kill lead as well. Feels like JDG have kind of been shut out of this game already.
I don't know if it was the recipe here. Rookie on the Twisted Fate. Like, where does it extend here? Karsa on the Lee Sin as well. Feels like a very big talking point. I know AD will break this down, Lyric, but V5 with a different direction in this game, and it's worked out really nicely.
Yeah, V5 giving more attention to Rich, kind of enabling him, giving him a gold lead. I feel like he has been the massive damage dealer. Photic and PP once again, very self-sufficient, as we're going to see here. I feel like Photic and Rich being the big players in the first half of this play. PP is the one to go in, but I believe an Accelerated Shot Blast and Moonlight Vigil to go out right onto the back line. Yeah, both do connect. And right there, their fate is sealed, right? Half HP on all members. You see a great ultimate come out from PP off the back of the play. And at this point, everyone's just so low. I mean, it's just money difference, right? JDG is an ATM for V5, a free ATM. You don't even need your own card. You just walk up and they just get free money. As it's just stat advantage at this point. We see JDG try to turn it around since they're being choked out. But
so this game, V5, they're Denmark. Now, I met some Danish people on the trip in Scotland, and I'll tell you what, they get paid to go to university, which I think's nuts. So V5 are getting paid in this game to make sure they pull out.
JDG are paying V5 to smash JDG.
There we go. Thank you so much for making it more obvious. And obviously, we're not going to go down that path any further. But at least for V5, we are seeing them wake up, as I said before. But JDG aren't out of it yet. Okay, maybe they are. Kanavi's dead once again. He tried, but victory 5. They can't put a foot wrong in this game. Naturally, with the massive lead they have, they're looking to push down with the Baron buff lyric and continue the sport.
I mean, the great way to show is, look, 3.5 items on Rich compared to only 2 items for 369. Even in the bot lane, 3 items for Photic compared to 2 items for Hope. At this point in time, V5 just so huge. Even the damage, that Accelerated Shock Blast hitting onto Missing, more than half of his HP going down. They have great siege to be able to come through with their range, and they can just keep looking to force this one forward.
Okay, inhibitor about to be broken here. The turret in front of both of them down. Rich and Rookie making short work of it. This is what you wanted to see. You came into elimination here in our playoffs. Missing is just rooted up. I think he accepted his fate as well. They're jumping for the all-in. Photic's in the middle. They found him, though, which is great. JDG, with their base defense, have something to work with in 369. Running forward. Hang on a minute. Low health bars here. Gold card locks him down, but Rich is the problem. They need to kill this Jace top laner. Decimating smash close. Gold card says no. JDG managed to defend. That's something amidst the thick of it all.
Yeah, especially with Photic going down, right? Like, sure, I feel like Rich is the one dealing the most damage in this game, but Photic is their consistent DPS. So you're still going to be gated by cooldowns. If Rich is the only one putting out damage, you can't just keep going forward looking for that fight. So ultimately, V5 do back off, but they will be able to secure themselves another Drake with how chunky JDG got, with the fact that they have to answer super minions in their base, and just V5 continuing to bring this game home.
I mean, it still feels like a foregone conclusion, of course, with the gold lead, with how this game's been going. It is still nice to see, though, JDG holding on for dear life when this game has been rough for them. Game number 1 felt like it was, you know, JDG's at most points, right? There's a lot of control there. This time around, we've flipped the script completely, which makes it an exciting best of 5, but enough of that, Lyric. We are going to see how JDG managed to make this game go a little longer.
Yeah, we see V5 kind of blow everything onto the Nautilus. Tons of ultimates going down, which opens up for the play to come out from Kanavi and 369. Let's remember, for JDG, you still do have good damage, especially Yagao being on 3 items himself. The burst to be able to come through with that Chaos Storm. If JDG were somehow able to salt the game, you know later on it will be JDG favored. Just at this point in time with the 12k gold lead, I mean, you would have to, V5 would have to just run it down so much, if I'm being honest. Like, so much, well, giving countless opportunities over.
It is the LPL. So, you know, to give credit to our region, but also take it away in the same sentence. Crazy things have happened. So, again, I like that he pulled it up, but however, Hope is dying. Look at the train. Hello, Photic is going to get peeked out. But Photic burst down, and 369 was unable to tag onto him. Meanwhile, Rookie's doing his own thing, dude. JDG is stretched thin.
I mean, you're able to play out through 3 lanes with this composition. Sitting the TF down, you always have the destiny to be able to meet up with your other members. But JDG at least having a good amount of wave clear with the Xayah and the Victors, buying a bit of time.
TP flank. Okay, here we go. That's going to be a sign running into the mix once again. 369 has found his target. Photic is by himself. He's dead. JDG, it's the second time around. They've found the 80 carry. Rookie with a nice dodge, but the kickback from Caster to bring it back into fruition. V5 still want to end it without the AD. Yagao dropping down, but JDG now have Caster added into the mix. I mean, V5, Lyric, they can't end once again. Flushing away, Stolen Flare for the disengage. PP God helping out. Rich is the damage source here, but he can't get in range. PP God slows him. At least they get Caster. At least they get Kanavi. Both junglers may be dead, but Lyric, what the hell is happening at 31 minutes into this game?
JDG feeling like, hey, we've killed 2. We need to take advantage of this moment because we know how far behind we are. But just getting kited out by the Jace and the Twisted Fate. Ultimately, as JDG, you bought more time. Like, overall, I still feel like that was kind of beneficial for you rather than V5. But state of the game hasn't changed. V5 being punished by flank wards, though, I feel like was kind of the critical moment of that play. Just nice vision coming out from 369 to spot this one out. Because if you can get on the backside, if you can take down the Aphelios, again, the DPS is gone. And when JDG have so much frontline, it just is very hard to take these extended skirmishes up against JDG. Karsa with a really nice kick, but the Chaos Storm still able to do its job and get off a majority of that damage. And no one from V5 able to get onto the Xayah at this point in time.
I mean, Rich is lucky he didn't die there as well, like, he is with the Chaos Storm, so... I don't know, Lyric. A crazy way, I'd say, to end this game, but as you just mentioned, JDG have condition of scaling here in this game. Now, Baron is being done in live. Worth mentioning that JDG is still so forced out of their own jungle, but V5 still have to put the nail in the coffin of this game. Like, that still has to happen here, despite having a 12k gold lead.
Well, I think there's some good things for V5 at this point in time, right? Because now that 2 inhibitors are broken down, you don't really need to play out through multiple lanes and give that obvious setup to the side of JDG. V5 need to sweep through this top side jungle and make sure more of those plays can't come out. I think luckily 369 doesn't have TP, but still, flank's really going to be the only thing V5 is vulnerable through. Play as a 5-man core, don't let those engages come through, and then just keep sieging, keep putting out the poke with Rich.
But they're finally together. Rich has been hit by a depth charge. Kanavi's into the back line, but they forgot about Photic. Now that he's got the focus this time around, this man is safe and sound. Carter here with a kick against the wall. His least in unstoppable, and it doesn't matter if he dies this time around because JDG have finally been found. It's V5 who are putting the nail finally into the coffin in this game number 2. We were scared this could be a run over, but in game 2, V5 have revived, and on to the Nexus. They'll find themselves one apiece here in our elimination bracket, and JDG sent packing here as V5 have finally woken up in the series.
Yeah, great to see from Victory 5. It did get a bit messy towards the end, but still, barring some mistakes, very dominant victory, especially in that mid game. That is where JDG were able to come through as, I
have found, you know, Mr. Shin has an awesome camera. Now, the camera might have just decided to go to bed. So we get to look at Teddy in the meantime.
We do get to look at Teddy.
It has been a while. It's been a little bit of a while. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw to a break and work that one out. But the main thing is we got a series on our hands, one apiece here. And as we return from the break, we'll go to the analyst desk downstairs. So we'll see you very shortly.
Gale Force, but now you got to be even more careful because Flandre has taken a big chunk of health and he hasn't really got any minions to try and get off of when the Shy's on a flank.
Yeah, this is so scary right now. Scout has 15 seconds till he's up, so they're trying to force the fact that now...
Oh, there it is! You couldn't even see him! They didn't even know what was happening. The Shy finds his marks, and that's 2 more kills over the Waybill. They are taking control. Tries to find something here. I don't think RA are going to be able to find anything as there's the subjugate. Leyen has no health bar and he is taken down. There's the hostile takeover. More of a CC than anything else. Free gets exhausted as he goes in with the slicing melt from the Moonlight Vigil over the wall. Is good, but Cube trying to keep himself alive. Oh! Massive move from Strive. He doesn't get the
Doggo!
But Doggo is even bigger. Strive almost had the hero play, but Doggo shall not be denied. Important to note, Scout has double stopwatch. He's got a Zonya's and a stopwatch in hand, so he's going to be able to use both in potentially this fight. Eto of them takes a little bit of a chunk. If the Shy and Angel go forward, they're trying to find Flandre, and they will be able to get him out. There's the Undying Rage coming out as Angel gets knocked up by the Dreadline. They've killed off Angel, as you can see there. Scout's been the focus, but they can't take him out. They will take 2 kills as Viper goes in. Scout trying to make this one work. He goes golden. Remember, he'll have another one to go if he should need it, but he doesn't right now because he's just doing the damage. He's just putting in the hurt, and Scout is keeping EDG in this. Hello, Tuan Fong. I'm JJ, and
I need to see it because the fight's going down. Elder's still standing. Mako's dead. Clit's now dead as well. EDG jungler going golden, and JJ is going to get a world of surprise. He comes out, but Scout with the Emperor's Divide Glide in the back line sends him to Viper. That's express delivery, and Scout flushing away was so clutch. Elder on FPX's side though. Jello who's coming back in. No ulti. Care in front of the Elder. Scout does it. Everybody's dead except for Flandre.
EDG want to try and get some of these low health bars, but they're being corralled, herded away into the danger, into the darkness of Weibo Gaming's jungle. And Weibo, they know they can't let this one go. These two birds, he's trying to get one down, but no, not quite able to find one bomb. The flash is good. Angel is here as he tries to get a flash away. Doesn't land the charm. Scout versus the world of Viper. It's a 1v2 on both sides. Viper gets one. They're doing it! The other, and Scout will stay alive, keeping EDG's lives alive in this series. SOFM, he's got ult again. He's got ult going for him. I don't know if they'll think about it. They won't, and that's another one. Scout is popping off in this fight, and EDG won't go down.
This felt like a draft that they could really work with, and I mean, they did.
Yeah, and I think this Jace is actually going to be something that we're going to see a little bit more of, especially because it doesn't feel like 369 is willing to bring out things like the Tryndamere and that. So it feels like Rich kind of getting a freebie in the lane there, especially when you look at like how JDG tried to orchestrate themselves in this game. But yeah, Gao having pushing mid, they tried to put a ton of pressure down towards that bot side, but Photic and PP God did a really good job of absorbing it, and it meant that Rich was getting a ton of attention top. He became huge, and just look at the damage graph there. It says it all.
Yeah, and I think when you're up against a Twisted Fate and you have a Victor, it's hard, right? If you're trying to make those plays in the side, there's so many picks that we've seen where I feel like it would have been that extra little bit to be able to make it work, right? Photic and PP God obviously did a fantastic job, but it'd be very different if it was something like, you know, the Rise or the Ari that would have had so much more pressure there compared to the Victor. And I feel like this is something we talked about where we're a little bit unsure on Victor's place. I feel like you want more activity in the mid to set up those early junglers. And then, like we saw from V5, Proactive mid, strong early jungle, silent. You can snowball.
I'm sick of Victor. I really just want Victor out of the equation. He just opens up so many picks. Like, even when you see the amount of bans that were going towards the mid lane, and Rookie was still able to put on a really good performance on this Twisted Fate, especially when like JDG kind of felt the onus to like make these plays happen early because they were trying to like combat how strong the mid game was going to be from V5. But it just meant that they ended up overextended, like Yagao getting caught out on bot side by Rookie. Then you end up bringing Kanavi into the equation as well when we look at that play around the 12-13 minute mark, and it just all ends up falling apart. So I really do want to see just like stronger mids, not this like control mage, and something that can kind of like go toe to toe in the early stages with what V5 are bringing.
And I also feel like JDG struggle a bit on red side because they're forced to ban the Zeri, right? And I feel like JDG, from what we've seen from them earlier in playoffs, like that Weibo series, they had the same bans all 5 games. They didn't even change on sides. They clearly didn't want to deal with the Ahri. They didn't want to deal with the Orianna. And to me, when we saw V5 ban Rek'Sai, in my mind, that's like, okay, well, they're going to pick Lee Sin first pick. It's so obvious, and yet JDG didn't respond to it, right? They didn't ban it out because they're like, right, we need to deal with these mid lane picks. And I feel like on red side, there's just too much for them to get rid of. So, I think blue side will give them some advantages, but at the end of the day, if you're being forced on the red side, you can't just crumble like this.
And it does feel like coming into this series right now, it just feels like the team with the more agency, the team that has the more tools available to make those plays, the Lee Sin being a big one, of course, the Twisted Fate as well. It does feel like the Victor and the Sion, they're fine in their own isolated setups, but you're very passive. You're very much sitting back and kind of hoping to get something going for you in the later stages.
Yeah, and I think they got lucky in game 1, which is why they kind of felt confident to bring this out in the Victor for game 2, because it definitely felt like game 1, they're like, oh, well, we're winning skirmishes that we shouldn't have, right? We're just have to play through our strong team fight as a whole team, right? But you can see when it comes into this one now, the skirmishes and the ability to play the map actually made V5 a big threat.
Yeah, and we actually have our MVP from game 2 as Rookie on that Twisted Fate. So having the agency, having the tools available to be able to bring forth and kind of affect the rest of the map.
And this crazy thing, I remember we were going through draft, right? There were 5 mid laners who were banned in total.
Yep.
Rise from blue side and 4 others on that side. And as well, the Victor taken away. And Rookie still ends up with the pick that he's super comfortable on. Has a massive amount of impact. And this was that big facilitating pick. And particularly when you have a Lee Sin in the jungle, having a point and click stun to guarantee the Sonic Wave, it's so easy. And the execution was flawless.
Yeah, and especially having Rich up in that top lane as well, right? Like, we didn't really get to see too much, but in the early stages from Rich, he was just kind of passively farming, got the turret, got some kills, and like, you can see when you got to team fights, even when Botic was kind of taken out of the equation, Rich was still a massive part of it. So it really just felt like the ability for Rookie to have the impact was something that JDG needed to shut down, and they weren't able to do so.
I mean, you look at that gold difference at end, he's down in gold compared to his counterpart, and I think it kind of shows that, I mean, my view, and I feel like the things that have been succeeding for the LPL teams, it doesn't matter if you're down in gold, right? It's like that game 5 where JDG, RNG, Xiaohu sacking waves to help his team out. The important thing is you facilitate your team, you get them ahead, you play for them, and yeah, Rookie's down in gold still had a massive impact.
And this is where it kind of gets a little bit hard for me, like looking towards JDG about how they want to try and interact in the draft. Because you see like Zeri, Ahri, Ori were all the bans on red side here. You really don't want the Ahri going across. I think that's kind of been a staple across playoffs. It's just such a strong pick in the mid lane. You don't want Orianna to go across to Rookie as well. And you don't really want to drop the Zeri ban because you want to be looking at like, hey, look, we want to try and get rid of this Lee Sin, maybe look for a ban. Like trying to mix up your draft coming into this is actually going to be really tough to do.
Yeah, I feel like you go to blue side, right? And that's okay, but I feel like, if you lose a game on blue side, you're in a really deep hole, because I don't really see a workaround for the red side draft. I mean, just the fact, again, I feel like if you telegraph something like a Lee Sin first pick, and they still feel locked as if they can't respond to it, it's difficult. And, I have some thoughts, because I think Zeri, we've seen banned consistently. The only time it's been left open in playoffs was by JDG, and they lost both those games. But I do feel like we've seen compositions that can counter it, right? There was the EDG RNG series where Gala got the Zeri, and the enemy team had 5 champs that countered it. I think you might even have to look at situations like that where you have to leave stuff up, so you pick an entire composition that can deal with what you expect them to pick. But that's a lot to think about going into these games.
And I think that's the big thing, is that oftentimes when you see the Zeri, you don't have an anti-Zeri comp, right? There's no plan to deal with the Zeri, but if you can actually come up with something that can deal with it effectively, you're actually perfectly fine to leave it open. But the fact that we've seen kind of everyone in LPL just go, nah, don't want to deal with it, feels like no one's willing to kind of have that practice or have that draft that's actually able to exploit that.
Yeah, and I think it's just a concern because they've had scrims, we've seen competitive games as well where you make a mistake and Zeri just completely takes over. And even games where they've had the tools, like we've seen the Tristan and Nautilus lanes into it. If you end up messing up, if you end up miscalculating and lose a lane, the game's kind of over. If you go into a team fight and you burn too many tools and then Zeri's able to ramp up, the game's over. I think it's just one of those big risks. And now, if it was game one, I think it's a different conversation. But now we have 1-1 on the scoreline. You don't have that much wiggle room, which is why it feels very, very risky.
Yeah, and I think one of the big problems as well is that when you look at V5, right, literally across the board, they are the team that has the most unique champions played in their jungle, their mid, their AD carry, right? It doesn't feel like you're going to be very easily able to ban them out.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. We're going to send it back over to our casters who are going to be bringing us through picks and bans for Game 3. See you soon. What are
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the casting desk, or the casting table, the casting standing area studio upstairs from the casters.
The
on
casting
AD.
upstairs, the analyst coffee table.
That's
You love
right.
to see it.
It's good, man. And this series, honestly, as good as that, because it's now one apiece. V5 versus JDG, kind of delivering in the individual games. We are getting a lot of kills. We are getting a lot of pace, and things are going pretty heated. We've taken the jackets off, obviously, because there's no way we're keeping them on with how this has been going. Lyric, walk me through. You've had a couple of thoughts in the break about how draft has been progressing here. Now, especially since we see the adaptation with the Lee Sin ban coming across from V5 on the red side this time.
Yeah, we actually come out with the same draft as we had in Game 1. The same bans coming through for the side of Victory 5.
Yep.
And so far, we see a bit of a pivot from V5 in terms of what picks, right? Game 1 was the Israel Volibear. This time going towards the Leona and Viego for themselves. Kanavi's most played champion. I think it is a nice takeaway for the side of V5 when we saw the amount of early pressure come out from V5 that led to their victory. I don't know if JDG are going to hate this. The fact that you come out with a stronger early skirmishing jungler that can set up for some of these ganks. For JDG, though, I think you go towards support here. They just lock in the Nautilus. And again, set yourself up for what could be maybe a more proactive, top side of the map this time around.
Okay, we'll see, because at the very least, seeing the Nautilus again, complimented it in game number 2 here for missing. They return and rinse and repeat for game number 3. We're looking at a bottom lane here for V5, and remember that V5 are the team that have had larger champion pools here. Even Photic and PP God, you can say the same deal. With the Misfortune getting locked in, it's been a very Photic style, right? Look towards the bottom side, the unexpected 2v2. This will be his third game of the Misfortune coming through as well.
And this is something that V5 have loved to pull out up against the Jinx. You have the range of the early skirmishing power. Your ultimate, the bullet time so good against the Jinx, kind of zoning her out of team fights. V5 taking away the Twisted Fate so far. Wouldn't be surprised to see them take away something like the Rise as well. The thing I'm curious about for the side of JDG is in terms of if they want to look for, I'd say, maybe more like flank-oriented or side lane-oriented champions to come out and shut this Misfortune down with flanks in team fights. Because the champion, sure, she has a strut, she has some movement speed, but no dashes, no mobility. If you can get either some kind of assassins or things like the Kennen, which 369 have loved, can make it quite hard for V5 to play around.
Even if we get something like the Jace, right, we're going to Malphite ban here from JDG, while double mid lane ban targeted from V5. Aurelia on top of that too. And to me, Lyric, you always tell me, you're like, those are champions that a lot of people who want to play Jace would ban.
Exactly. So V5 do it. JDG, I wonder if you just go towards the Scion once again. And mid is what I'm most curious to see, because the Rise actually not being banned away this time. Again, it's something that Rookie doesn't really play all too much himself. Only 2 games to split the Victor off the board, the Ahri off the board, the Orianna off the board. A lot of champions that typically do look to answer out that champion. The only thing for Rookie that would jump to mind would be something like the Syndra, especially with how early game focused their composition is.
True.
If JDG don't want to opt towards the Rise, I'm kind of curious to see what Yagao would want to bring out here. Ooh.
Yagao, not a player you'd think a lot of the time would pick up LeBlanc, right? He's not someone who screams at you like Rookie does.
But 2020 was still, right? That was his year. The big LeBlanc pick
True.
in 2020, able to come out forward. And Rookie proving us
Wow.
wrong. Again, it was a champion we've always known he's been able to play. But he's only played it 2 games this split, and against top esports in their last series, it felt like the fatal flaw was V5 weren't willing to pick it up, and didn't really have any answers for it outside of the Victor.
I mean, even in the series, right, we've seen Rise constantly banned by V5, this time making it all the way through to the end. To prove us wrong, as you just said, is an important part. Now, considering that V5, again, kind of rinse and repeating what we saw in game number 2 to an extent. I'll ask you more about that, because we saw the Twisted Fate, we saw it try and impact the side lanes. V5 got off the ground running with Rookie in a more supportive position.
Yeah, but so for V5, right, they have the Rise to play towards sides. They have either side lane is really strong to set up for, and then in 5v5s you have the long range damage able to come out. The thing that's more interesting to me is that JDG, I think, stuck with champions that more counter what V5 went for, rather than what you'd expect, again, like the Rise. Because right before that, we were hitting on champions that can come off on flanks, champions that can come off on side lanes, and really put some pain onto this Misfortune pick. Exactly what LeBlanc can do. Find your way in, burst her out. The Kennen as well, getting in there, making it hard for a champion who, again, wants to stand there, channel the bullet time. You pop the Slicing Maelstrom, you could just take her out. So JDG, I like some of the picks they come out with. In V5, we get to see a bit of a new look with the Rise coming forward.
And a step back to JDG quickly. Also, you mentioned Yagao, 2020, 2021 even. His LeBlanc as well has been quite exceptional in the past. This split, haven't thought of him as much of a LeBlanc player, but still comfort there, while topside as well. 369's Kennen, his most played by far. No one else was playing Kennen.
15 games.
And let's add another one on top right. 369 is someone who made it popular, at least wanted everyone else to see that he loved it. So we get a lot of comfort from JDG, nevertheless, as we return to Summoner's Rift. Now, Game 2, if you missed out on, V5 slapped them with their wallets many times over. We saw V5 refurbished, recharged, re-energized, and as we welcome you to Game number 3 with a topside invade, we're hoping we get the best out of both these teams again in our third game of this BO5. Lyric, welcome in. A couple of electrocutes on the board as well while we see the topside invade. It doesn't really go anywhere.
No, and kind of thinking about what we want to see from these teams in the early game, I expect JDG to want to play heavily around their top side with the amount of skirmishing and burst power they have, especially with the Volibear LeBlanc, right? Again, just going back to the stock and standard mid-jungle 2v2 that has tons of burst, has the lockdown available. The one thing scary for their top side 2v2 or 3v3, a bunch of magic damage early on, right? True. Double AP soul laners. I mean, the E coming out from Volibear, tons more magic damage as well, but still it is where you are strong early. 4v5, with the fact that you probably want to dodge out on that, playing towards your Misfortune, we've seen them pick this up time and time again, and it has early bursts. It has the ability to chunk things out early with the Make It Rain, level 6 to bullet times there. So wouldn't be surprised if E5, especially at the level 6 mark, put a lot of emphasis down for Photic and PP God with the amount of lockdown they have.
And again, in game number 2, Rookie on the Twisted Fate. A lot of the time didn't even Destiny that much, but just walked to some of these side lanes and added the pressure on. But JDG had to pay that respect, so I like the similarities here. And I like as well that at the start of the day we're concerned because we knew that V5, compositionally, we talked a lot about them pigeonholing about what they've done with some of these picks, like the Rise not looked at in the top esports series. It was a big flaw. I like that V5 have adapted here as we see a nice little trade-off in the bottom side for missing. But further to the point, adaptation needed, especially when this is do or die, this is elimination series.
Yeah, I mean, both teams now 1-1, so a bit of a different look than both their last series, right?
Yep.
Either team going 2-0 up in their respective series this time around. Going to be a lot more hotly contested. And, I mean, we've already hit on early game look for JDG. For Karsa, I expect a lot more slower of a first few levels. Maybe you can try and set up a gank on 369 if 369 isn't able to get a bit of vision down for himself. Kanavi, though, is up there right now, is path up towards the top side and has tempo on that play. Shouldn't be able to find Rich and look at V5's river vision and top side. It actually is really good to spot out any potential plays that can come out from Kanavi.
Surprising amount of early wards, so good point up there as well. A Scuttle a couple of seconds from spawning out at 315. Just note that both junglers on the same side of the map as mentioned there before as well. And in our early games, we have seen Karsa be active in 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 games, right? There was... well, we haven't had 3 Lyric, but you know what I'm trying to say. Both games, it's early first blood from Karsa. It's Karsa setting himself up.
Yeah, and I like that JDG's going for this. Go for the invader on mid where Yagao's pressuring and make sure Karsa can't go up to the top where 369 Wave is going into Rich. Take away some of these camps and don't allow Karsa to have those same opportunities. So a lot of things done here by JDG. Taking away camps, allowing Rookie to not move, and making it so Karsa can't go abuse 369's Kennen pushing into that top side.
You know what I love, though? That Karsa somehow still got the chicken. I think Kanavi spotted a little bit too early, so still up ahead, but getting in his face. The dive happens. That's it is. Flash Sky Splitter. Rich with the flash hammer down. What? How did he survive? Well, Yagao makes short work of it. Getting first blood, but it's a trade. And it goes over to this Viego from Karsa's bottom side. Let the blood rain. Again, PP God absorbing the damage. Hope running out of mana, but he needs a bit more range. PP God's out in the nick of time, though, as we're making it rain against Missing and Hope. No mana available, really, for either side. A close call, stretch line under the turret. Center plate doesn't connect. PP God could have locked him down, but nevertheless, it looks like our teams are more hungry than ever.
Yeah, trading on all sides of the map so far. JDG do find that dive on top side. Do want to play around their win condition of the strong, again, 2v2s, 3v3s that they do have in this matchup. They have a massive wave. They look for the dive. Sadly, not able to connect with the fact that Rich did have that flash away. Still, Yagao is able to make it here. Now Kanavi in a bit of no man's land does go down, but still, you denied the wave. Completely going over to Rich. Did have the TP, so didn't miss out on all of it, but at least did deny him a little bit as the Jace pick, who typically does want to find yourself, you know, with a bit of a lead.
Yep, kill going over as well, over to Yagao worth mentioning, as well as the caster pickup in response. So on core members, we see that kill and that blood spread around. I want to point out that To the Skies with mid-animation and flash, that was one of the jankiest things I've seen in a long time. So you learn something new every day. I think Rich's damage is still registered as well for all those League fanatics. So as we go past the top side, Lyric, the summoner's burnt, right? We've got Rich now with none. Kanavi burning his own too. I think an important point, considering that summoners have been pretty key to a lot of our early skirmishes, considering that both teams fight all the damn time.
Yeah, and you can even see right now, I think V5 were wanting to angle up towards the top side. You saw Rookie kind of hovering towards the river. You see where Karsa is right now. They might still find it, but Yagao, a nice trade onto Rookie.
Look in the top side. Meanwhile, there's a control ward down. 369 doesn't know that Karsa's here. However, there's pings going down from the blue side. I see a caution ping. Maybe thinking, he can't really be there. 369 checks, finds him out, and Karsa now going to have to back away. He spent a lot of time up here, but he already has a CS lead. He's got first blood, or a kill, I should say. So it won't matter too much that he's set up a little tent.
I believe he did pick up some of the CS top as well before the TP was able to come through. And now V5 just making sure they're covering in around the mid lane, knowing that Yagao is going to have the pressure in this matchup with LeBlanc. So I think both teams...
Ult comes through. Rich ran into this. Hammer backwards. The minions helping out. A Pot doing the same thing, but for 369, he has him under his thumb. The Shock Blast as well. And the range about to come through. Shuriken doesn't connect, but he flashes on top. Rich trying to turn it, but it's 369 with a solo kill on the top side, while Relwarp in the bottom lane under the Dragon. Dragon's also taken by Photic, who picks up Karsa. I mean, this game is bloody bonkers, and I'm here for it.
And that is one of the ways that Realm Warp kind of lets you cheat the game. Right there on Dragon first, you think they can't come with numbers advantage. Rookie says, screw mid-wave, I don't care, gonna look for the play, gonna look for the kills. They're able to find it, and equalizing what had just happened on the top side of the map. V5 keeping it competitive.
That's one word for it. Keeping it fun as well. A 2 for 2 on the scoreboard. Photic picking up that kill, guys, and the first Dragon over to V5. I think also, importantly enough, Photic has a serrated Dirk here, and Hope and Missing paying the respect in the lane. But we'll talk more about the 2v2 later, because we go to the solo kill on the top side, which actually lasted quite a while.
Now we see Rich kind of aggressing forward, looking for these heavy trades, but 369 gonna hit 6 at the perfect time. Like I said, Rich, hammer forming in, and this is one of the times when the matchup starts to sway a little bit, right? Because Jace hitting level 6, not really having an ultimate of yourself, 369 having that advantage in terms of the damage, now left in a place where he can't escape. 369 just wanted to guarantee the kill right now. Flashes in, and for the second play, I mean, we already saw PP God was hovering around mid lane.
We're getting another play here, 2v2 on the mid side, but Karsa behind Kanavi. Look at Yao, has to flash away. He's not included. Sky Splitter as well, and a bit of spreading of whatever that magic is. Rookie has made short work of his counterpart, and V5 didn't even make it a fair 2v2.
No, PP God coming in right now as well. They shouldn't be able to find anything. Yagao, of course, on LeBlanc should have some mobilities. W should, be back up by this point. And V5 going to be able to take a plate and just walk away scot-free. Not sure how Yagao got chunked out so much, coming out from the replay that we were in. Doesn't feel like it should happen, but nice by V5 to capitalize, and Karsa still wanting to punish.
Yeah, he is. Kanavi almost caught out as well. Note that Karsa has the Heartbreaker now too, so that extra piece of confidence with the Sheen on top has come from the early kill, Lyric. That trade side has just enabled Karsa ever so slightly.
Yeah, but I think now we got to turn our attentions down to bot right, because PP God leaving opens up a window for JDG's bot side to punish. Kind of sucks here against Misfortune, who could keep throwing out to make it rain. You have the bullet time as well. If Wave did get into turn, you felt like you were under threat of a dive. So not able to find anything off the window that PP God just got for free.
Well, Missing might disagree for the time being, but it depends on how Kanavi gets in. Remember, the Photic with his ulti available choppers through, but PP God's already flashed away. JDG's jungler getting deep, but there's no camps here to take into the response, and Herald's already been started, but 369 spots him out and deters it for now.
Yeah, I think PP God must have expected for JDG to be on the opposite side of the map, looking towards his Herald, with Kanavi not being around bot side.
Here we go again. Make it rain, being pulled through, missing the full duration. He flashes away. Nice coordination here from PP God and Photic. Ignite not available, otherwise that was a sure thing.
Of course, and now V5 going to be able to force in this way. Bot, Hope can have to play a little bit respectfully, as back to the top side, neither team able to force for that Herald. 369 does have push, and 369 does have the Slicing Maelstrom, so I think V5 would have to be really cautious if they wanted to look for that one themselves. JDG, of course, having, again, just more AoE damage, more superior fighting tools at this point in time. They need to play more off of like the wave pushes from Rich, see if maybe Rookie can find a Realm Warp, find a pick, and then turn that into the objective for you to contest.
I mean, Rich needs a bit of attention nevertheless, right? Because look at the CS differential. Rich down, 369 in a great position with the Hextech Alternator. Kanavi even starting up the Herald, and we did talk a lot about V5 picking their options, right? They can go to either of the side lanes here. Well, JDG have definitely gone to their side lane up in the top side and paid a lot of attention there. As Herald starts here, Lyric, I'm curious because Rich in a very bad position. He stretch lined in, Stormbringer over the wall. Kanavi's committing. That man is king of the jungle for one big reason, as Rich is just getting bullied this game.
And we were just hitting on how V5 wanted to be the one to look for the pick inside to transition that to the Herald.
Yep.
Rich opening himself up to an opportunity, and now JDG still trying to truck forward. Baby Gao can pop his head in with the W, maybe look for a bit of a chain, see if they can find a pick, but V5 aren't backing off.
No, they're not. Herald's going to be starting up even under Vision. They don't really care. 369 has an ulti available as well. Even without the flash, that's scary. PP God runs forward, Lyric. I'm wondering if V5 still want to fight with a numbers disadvantage.
Photic looks like he's about to have his bullet time back up. Okay. That would be a game changer.
And Rich has made his way back in as well. PP Gold runs on in. Soulflare comes in late, but he sacrificed himself. There's the bullet time! And Missing has been rained upon. Somehow Trader stretch line stolen here. Castle with a Heartbreaker on 369. Junglers are a different breed, man. And Casa is showing up without a doubt. On to Kanavi, the other K here, about to get a face full of it as the damage from Casa needs to be respected. Victory 5 well and truly alive.
They might have lost the Herald, but they are going to be able to get some gold on this top side with plates. Photic pushing in the mid lane. Dragon coming up soon as well. V5 having the map to themselves. And just nice response coming out of them, buying enough time for that bullet time to come through. And JDG with no answers.
I just don't understand how V5, turn these plays. Rich having to run away, Missing out of range of a dredge line. But I mean, we come down to it where V5 have marginal windows.
Wait. Rookie's being a little bit cheeky.
Maybe it's going to be right. Marginal windows definitely the call here as Rookie is not spotted out. Look at where Carter is as well. Hope and Missing getting adapted on and sent back to the jungler. Hope now without anyone by his side. Carter with his third kill, and Missing is now in the river without a prayer too. Kanavi backs off from that one, and Lyric, our first seed, is pulling rabbits out of the hat one after the other.
And those are the kind of plays that I think made V5 such a scary team off split, is that they're willing to look for these surprise plays.
Yep.
Send no one to answer bot wave. Hey, 369's still not there. Maybe we lose something. We have TP on the rise just in case. Look for the play itself, find the kills, catch the enemy off guard. And V5 building themselves up, once again, a really nice early gold lead.
Yeah, again, with the man at the center who's making it all happen. Casa 100% kill participation right now as well. V5's jungler off to an early start with a kill on the top side has made magic happen. Lyric, replay's all yours.
And for here, I'm surprised JDG didn't look for the play earlier, because by this time, the bullet time's already back up. That's all V5 we're looking for. Buy time for the bullet time, because then we know we can take these fights. And then Karsa getting the ultimate, getting to possess the Nautilus, sets up for the follow-up engage. And I mean, now V5 at full control again. I feel like the replay's cool, but JDG had to find the play before we got to the point where this started.
That's a good point, right? For JDG, this game is starting to run out of control. So as we look here again, the sneaky little play, V5 get credibility for that. But coming back to your point, JDG in this game is kind of like the last game, Lyric, where I guess mistakes coming through. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think mistakes definitely coming through for JDG. I think they were a little bit hesitant. I think Missing missed the initial cue we saw before the replay came in and wasn't able to find the all-in to set up. And we saw 369 getting zoned off from the flank that he was looking for.
Rookie's walked in front of some pretty deadly space. He's going to go golden in the nick of time, but Herald still plays down. Look at topside's bullet time. He's hitting all of Hope. He cleanses to survive, but PP God's there. Even on a route, Photic has a bit of bullets to rain down as Rookie's dealing with Kanavi. How is he still alive? Yagao doesn't have the damage, and here's Caster again. The man with 100% kill participation trying to help out, but 369 is doing his work as Rich makes it even messier. I love the LPL when it gives you blunder after blunder, fun after fun, blood after blood, 369 after Rich. He survives. Missing almost goes to his death as well. 13 kills, Lyric, and we just don't stop.
And look at V5's bot lane. They were pushing it topside the whole time. So V5 losing out in mid, getting something in top. Like you're saying, it's all over the place. JDG committing so much, but they were able to get some kills for it. So overall, I'm not sure. V5 kind of over-aggressing for those picks. I think they're feeling really good because one thing we hit on about JDG was how heavily indexed into magic damage they are. And V5 having... Ooh, right?
He was close. He was so close. Rich still jumping on, but the shock blast not connecting means 369 walks away, this time with his life.
I mean, we already have the Hex Drinker coming out from Rich. We have Merc Treads coming out across the board, which is doing so much up against JDG's composition. We're going to see how it starts here. Herald play coming out, and Rookie feeling good, putting consistent damage off. He knows his jungler's coming through, and they feel really good about the 2v2, right? Again, having the resistance there. Karsa is massive at this point in time, already being on, I think, a Mythic and another half of an item. But the fact that 369 gets here first feels like the key thing for the side of JDG, and they're hoping to turn it around, hoping to get Karsa reset, but overall, there's just over-aggression.
Hey, we're fighting again. What a big surprise. Rookie joined in with Realm Warp, and Karsa gets another reset, and it's on top of this Nautilus once again. The scariest part is Karsa having another hook, and we come back. Lyric, I'm looking on the scoreboard. It was Missing who just died there, but it feels like replays in this game are never going to be right.
You know, thinking about it, Greg, because I think Rookie's having a pretty solid game on this Rise so far.
I agree.
But you know why maybe he's drifted away from it? Do you remember the game where, I think it was last year, he Realm Warped his team into certain death?
Oh, yeah.
That happened on IG. That happened.
Dude. I mean, maybe he's
been scarred ever since.
I'll be honest, you know, the Shy picked Rapid Fire Cannon on a cannon and then never pulled it out again. So moments like that stick with you. And I don't know if it's the team telling you something or the player learning from their own mistake. Speaking of which, it's a 1v1 on the bottom side. Slicing Maelstrom already used. A miss from 369. McNavi about to uneven the odds. Rich under turret. It gets turned off. He's slapped down, and it's all about 369. We talked about this, man. The anchor for JDG is coming up clutch in this game.
And he's the one, again, willing to look for the aggressive plays. It feels like that is why he's so pivotal to this roster because, I mean, you need somewhere pulling pressure, putting pressure, an area to play around on the map. And he really has been consistently the go-to for the side of JD Gaming. Rich was able to survive for a long time because of the Hex Drinker and the fact that, you know, having some sustain now picking up the Eclipse. But the fact that Kanavi was able to get there first, not able to turn it into anything. Now for the side of V5, you have numbers towards his top side. You'd expect them to get some vision into enemy jungle, pick up this Rift Herald, and then Rookie can very easily pivot towards this mid lane to look to make a play with your bottom lane.
Soul play comes down in the mid lane though, just while we're looking over PP God and Photic. They're trying to push down that tier 1 and bridge open the map, but Karsa's still doing the Herald. They back up, unable to take it down. But as we take a bit of a chill pill for the time being, as we calm down, as we look at the mythics across the board, let's come back to what we talked about a little bit, because for V5, they've definitely started the game the way you wanted to see, right? You know, Rookie being able to move to sides. They've chosen the bottom side. Rich has been left on a bit of an island here. And I want you to walk me through a bit more of the mid game, considering that Gold's actually not that too far apart for JDG, which I think is admirable.
No, I mean, JDG been able to, you know, keep with it again, especially the plays coming off of 369 and Yagao, and it feels like they're going to have to be the big ones to step up. Having Yagao kind of play out through sides, look for cheeky places where the enemy doesn't have pockets of vision, distort over the wall, try and see if you can find a pick, especially onto Boating, because right now, feels like Rich or Karsa would be too hard to pick off. We know Rookie naturally going to be, you know, getting more tanky on this Rise and harder to pick off as well, so really, Photic is going to have to be the one you take down.
Well, Karsa is trying to get that core member from JDG. Now, Photic, I like that mention as well. We've got his items on the screen. 2-item misfortune here with tier 1 boots, and Photic very strong at the moment. I want to see how much that bullet time can do as Missy goes in for the engage. Karsa ulties out of there. Now on a bit of a cooldown, no resets available, and V5 have been mustered off of the Dragon for now.
They are going to drop Rift Herald though, so from JDG, if you don't answer this, you are just going to give up turrets. Probably would even get a second charge, but JDG hard committing to Dragon.
So now that they're back at 3k, I mean, Kanavi's in the pit. It's Redline once again, but look at the angle here. Trying to go on the backside. Kanavi's hit. He's getting hit hard as well. The Dragon Smite won't help him. It's given over, and a reset too. It's Rumble time as well, as 369 turns it around. No! Lyric! Rookie almost did it again, but it's brought back as Hope trying to deal with him. But for now, JDG are routed, and V5 win it anyway.
Yeah, V5 completely taking over. Honestly, Asterix, I'm a bit of a moron saying JDG looking to answer that Herald limit. They can't. They're trapped down towards the bottom side of the map. V5 using that one beautifully to force them on that Dragon. Now going to be able to answer and bot as well. Just getting so much off that play.
Dude, we haven't casted for 3 weeks, and coming back to this, trying to track this series, It's like going to, I'm going to make an American reference, go to Walmart and without asking or looking at the aisles at all, trying to find a very unique packet of chips from Australia. Lyric, replay time, walk me through it.
Again, so what we're going to see here, Herald already down. You force them to start this Dragon right away. You have the Leona to take damage, but I think the key thing is just the amount of damage coming out from Rich on the back end of the fight. Kanavi overcommitted as his team has to back off after a nice accelerated shock blast, and then the Realm Warp Q be able to follow through. 369 takes quite a bit of members down, but Karsa, the Hex Drinker, and Murktred's too tanky to be brought down. Rich not caught in it, and Rookie as well able to get out. Feels like the key thing.
I was getting flashbacks. Remember how you just talked about Rookie last time he played Rise, the reason maybe he hasn't played it. Rookie realm warping his team into certain death. And we saw there, that was a Slicing Maelstrom disaster waiting to happen. Props to 369 once again, having a really good game here on JDG.
You know, I just wish I could remember what team was against, because remember we got a mic check of it, and Rookie just like, realm warps in and goes, oh. That was it. That was the mic check. As him and his teammates go to certain death. We see here, Maz now finished for Jason Viego. So again, indexing more into the fact that they know they don't have to worry about the Jinx. Hope not big at all yet. 0-2 so far, down about 30 CS. Photic definitely being a much bigger threat. And the fact that it's mid-game, the Misfortune going to be doing so much more. Rich coming online with the lethality as well. And Karsa just... I just don't know if they have the damage to deal with the members of E5. We saw 369 find as good of a slicing Maelstrom as you could ever find, and it just wasn't enough.
Well, you're going to have to hope here because for JDG, they've got limited windows now, Lyric, as well. A 4,000 gold down, victory 5 are making short work. Our first seed is doing something here in game number 3. It feels like this series is turned around as Dredgeline comes through in jungle. PP God cares not. He's over a trap, but the Solar Flare turn around even with Kanavi there. Realm Warp into the backline. He gets PP God out. Rookie, a bit of a brother as he flashes after an Everfrost. Look at where 369 is, though. He's going to spot Rich. A 1v1 in the enemy jungle. Rich gets a bit of return damage, but JDG on the chase, and now it's about the turnaround from V5.
And Rich can keep putting out damage from far right if the members of JG can't close the distance.
And missing now with the Dredgeline back on in. I'm not sure that's the play. Centerplate gives him space, but 369 hitting while the bullet time soaks up all the aggro. JDG getting low as Rookie's running in as well. A Dredgeline again. JDG getting resets. Hope getting speed. Slicing Maelstrom coming in clutch. You walked into their jungle on their turf, and JDG are not surprised.
And I just really didn't like the way V5 played that one after they initially kited out from the play. You can keep them at arm's length. You can throw out things like the Accelerated Shock Blast, chunk them down more, but you ran straight into them, give 369 the opportunity to find the play. And now for JDG, you get to turn towards mid, you get to answer waves in top, and you get the breathing room that before V5 were choking you out from having.
I just don't understand what's going on, Lyric, but I'm all about it. 26 kills, 22 minutes. A lot of questions for Victory 5. As the game is close to even again.
I mean, they're on soul points still, so I mean, it's still in their favor, but you're right, it's feeling a bit dicier.
It should feel a lot more done right with the plays we've seen recently with how big Karsa is in this game. There's always a conversation at 369. And now as well, to be fair, Hope did quite a lot, Lyric. You're going to have to break this down for me again because I'm finding it hard to keep up.
Yeah, we see JDG finding PP got isolated because the other members of E5, of course, pushing in lane. And I think the best part here, the fact that 369 able to get in first with the TP, Gal finding the chain forces them back. But at this point, this is where V5 should be feeling a bit of safety, right? Yeah. Because you have your Jace on this side of the fight. He's going to be able to kite out from the cannon. Again, back off, wait for some of these cooldowns to come back up, put out your make it range, put out your Accelerated Shock Blast, maybe try and pick off a member slowly, but V5 fully commit into the members of JDG, gives them the opportunity to turn this one around. And again, I want you to keep your eyes on the bullet time. It hits almost no one. It forces them out, but 369 here going to find a really nice opening once Missing finds the hook.
I'm waiting for it. Even though in the bottom left, we got a bit of action. It's so hard.
We don't even get to see it.
We return. JDG in the river. Now the Soul Flare's come on down. That's a reset. Wait. Resets aren't good. Flash away from Karsa. Everybody run. The Shock Blast has set up V5 once again. Rookie is a fridge once more at 369. Takes down PP God, but the fight ain't over. V5 running front to back, and it's reset after reset after reset. Realm Warp with a heartbreaker, and just as JDG move back into the game, move back into the series, Casa returns to being an absolute god tier jungler.
And now it's going to turn into Infernal Soul for the side of V5 unless Yagao can make a miracle happen. I'd like seeing damage numbers, but I'd much rather see if Karsa has his smite available.
I agree. Yagao in the back of the pit. A bit of health going to be taken with the friendly Woolworth lettuce. Now, Karsa no ulti, no flash, no smite. Yagao denying. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He'll go down, Lyric, but I tell you what, that is so worth.
Yeah, that is so tragic. I mean, V5, I don't know why you're trying to bring Rookie around on the flank anyway. You know he's going to jump in to look for the steal. I think you can play it a bit more slow, try and bait it out, keep Rookie in the pit. But no, opens up, no smite, he's able to find it.
20th replay, here we go.
Yep, let's go once again to see how this all starts off. Yagao, really nice pick again, playing with the fact that he can scale over terrain, jump over with that distortion and pick off Botic. That was the target we were hitting on that he needs to find all along. But for V5, I feel like the big thing is Karsa needs to be a little bit unafraid to take damage with how big he is, especially with how much that the AP sources can't do. So he goes in first to start it off. V5 feeling good to follow it up. And at this point, I feel like it's just waiting on Karsa to find that time to jump in once again. Sure, 369, you just committed to Slicing Maelstrom just for a Leona. Really feels like not the play, my dude. And then once more resets come out, Karsa just able to take over. Nice for Hope to answer back on the Jace, but still,
Oh, we're back again. Yeah, Heartbreaker used, Slicing Maelstrom, Karsa's response. But again, Lyric, you talked about the Maw. That has paid dividends in this game. 14-1-4. It's Karsa versus 369. And when 369 dies, Karsa owns the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if an engage can come out from JDG. Missing, playing aggressively forward.
Dredge line into the wall. Missing, trying to get onto his target. Now, his target right now might be PP God as another dredge line follows through with the solar flare and response. Teleport being committed by JDG. We're fighting once again. Stormbringer into that line. Bullet time though. That is value. I've just gone to Tesco again. JDG running for the hills here as V5 have found another gorgeous fight in Lyric. Every single time. It's just skill check after skill check.
I mean, as Misfortune, that's your perfect situation. Missing CC already down, no cannon. Kanavi already utilizing the ultimate. Who's going to lock you down and stop the bullet time? No one can. They're able to get another turret off of that one. And for JDG, when they numbers advantage start off, because Rich didn't have TP and to run across the play, I think V5 are so happy about that, making their way up to a 5K gold lead. 37 kills. 26 minutes.
And 14 of them are on Karsa. 14-1-5 is a solo queue level of score.
That stance built now still has the stopwatch that's not been broken.
That's right. I mean, Karsa having a game of it. And to be fair, I think Karsa's been pretty big in this series overall, right? When we've come in talking about V5 versus JDG, we mentioned that it's all about Rookie. And Rookie has had a really solid performance, but Karsa is, like a backup support staff. He's always someone who is worth mentioning on the roster when Karsa's performance versus top esports was what felt like it helped find the wins and also helped lose.
I mean, even in game one, right, I feel like it was a big thing of like, hey, you guys have the aggressive 2v2 setup, Karsa. Like, why are you guys not looking more aggressively to punish this Victor? When it feels like things aren't together for Karsa, that things aren't really together for the rest of the roster either. But again, having a much better game 2 and game 3 so far. Now V5, I mean, you have numerous chances to secure this soul where, you know, JDG still long ways away. You're getting to a point now, again, mentioning the death stance, where you're just making it harder and harder to be bursted out as someone like Karsa on the Viego. You get more time for reset. Sure, though, 369, pretty big. Finally has a death cap as well as the Void Staff, so you are at least cutting through a lot of that magic resist and doing a ton of damage to the other members of V5. But Force of Nature, also built for Rookie, feels pretty huge. JDG going to be able to force out and play on this top side with Baron, but still, a minute 19 until Dragon. I feel like we're really looking at someone like Yagao to do what he did before, when he was able to find the distortion over the wall, get the chain onto Botic. But with Botic showing in lane, not really too many opportunities available.
I mean, again, if Botic goes down, if those we saw up in the top side jungle before, bullet time not having as much effect, JDG ability to re-engage, JDG have windows. And this game has all been about windows, to be fair. It feels like we're in a glass house right now, floor-to-ceiling windows. There is no door. Everything around us is melting outside. Yeah. I don't know how we got in the house.
I was going to say.
I don't know who built it.
I mean, I guess windows can open, right?
That is true. It's like a lighthouse, right? Everything outside, though, is dark, unfortunately. Inside is the light. Do you understand where I'm going?
No, I don't.
Okay. I was going to make dark reference about blood, but obviously we got to keep it somewhat PG here. Lyric, Baron, warding, get me out of this mess. Sometimes my analogies go right downhill, and I'm not sure how. We've got a topside turret.
But look at Rookie on the opposite side. Rookie's pushing the invade.
Red line flash away. That's a flash away from Rich that goes down this late in game. Important to note, Rookie still has the wave to push in. He's collapsing as well. Hope is by himself in the mid lane.
So what they're trying to do right now, JDG trying to force them to not do Dragon, to pull them up to Baron. For V5, why don't you just call their bluff? Yeah,
okay.
have Rookie go down and help the Jace with it. You have Realm Warp. You can make it back to try and stop them for the Baron.
And I mean, Yagal's on the wing, so it's about if he can steal it, but Dragon's already going to be going down. Infernal Soul, the fight starts with the bullet time. It's doing enough for 5 people. Rookie's Realm Warp them in as Lyric finds a nice spot, and Caster wants a bit more. Rookie jumping forward, the slicing Maelstrom though. Their tools are down. He tried. 369 tried, and now it's the Caster show. Kanavi has no hope as the better jungler always wins.
And now for V5, it's such an easy turn to be able to... Actually, they can't look for this Baron with Yagao here. I'm kind of scared for them. I thought it would be an easy turn, but Yagao's still full HP.
He's
taking
scary.
no damage in that fight.
I mean, Caster's going to run away, so hang on. Lyric, does that mean it ain't over?
No, I mean, I still think V5 should be able to take him down if he jumps in right again. Look at Karsa. Karsa is huge. This LeBlanc can do nothing against this Viego. But you can at least be enough of an annoyance if they did go into the Baron to try and like poke them out, whittle them down, stop them from doing it. But they do back off. They do play more respectfully. You don't need to look for it. You already have the soul. You're already massive in terms of the items that you do have. So they do just back off, and we'll go straight into the replay. Because, again, I really like what V5 do here with the Rise. JDG need to capitalize on the fact that they have numbers advantage in this small area. But with the bullet time zoning them off, they aren't able to find any kills. It gives time for the Realm Warp to come through. And now, I mean, right, V5 are just straight up stronger in these skirmishes. 369 tries to do his best with the Slicing Maelstrom, but it doesn't matter. With Infernal Soul now taken down, with the item advantages they already had, he gets bursted out. And then I like that Karsa going forward aggressively with the flashes, with the ultimate, knowing how much of a lead he has.
God, in Game 3 of the series, Game 3 of the Elimination Series, 44 kills at 31 minutes is what the international fans who don't always tune into the LPL imagine our region to always be like. Our bloodiest teams in V5 and JDG are living up to their names. In our top 4 here, one of them is going home. The loser of this series goes no further. The winner into the top 3 and into the lower bracket finals here. RNG and Top Esports watching as well, thinking that this is one of the teams that they'll have to first as Realm Warp comes through, and V5 with a lead here in this game and a blind Baron.
Yeah, I don't know if JDG can do anything about this, right? No vision available. They can't just run in. V5 too big at this point, so just going to push in their waves. Looks like maybe trying to answer with mid-turret, but V5, I feel like they're just so far ahead with the fact that they have that Infernal Soul.
Yeah.
It feels... So even if you find your way onto the back line, it's 369. Like, I mean, even Photic has them all at this point in time. Like, everyone building that magic resist. So we talked about at a draft that could be scary for their composition. Hope is finally at 3 items. We don't really have the tankiest front line to be able to absorb the damage coming from Victory 5.
Again, you know, those conversations we had. JDG, they don't have much available in terms of this game going on, right? We want to see it go on much further. And at this point now with the engage, V5 won't go any further with them as we see 369 in the bottom side of our map pushing a turret, but it's Baron in hand, recalls. Inhibitor close to going down, V5 still keeping members around top.
This was the best that JDG could hope for, was avoiding the fights altogether and finding an inhibitor of your own to hope to force them to answer, to have pressure somewhere on the map, and he is TP.
Well, Rookie is sitting in the front for now. The teleport being burned, and you can see it's 369 who wants to rampage in. No flash available. V5 are already far enough away. JDG managed to defend their base, but an inhibitor still dropped. One on the other side. It is a trade, but...
I think it's so heartbreaking there for JDG that they couldn't find an engage.
That's right.
Because Rich, no TP, could have just been a straight-up 4v5. Maybe V5 can still take it again with the fact that they have Soul. I feel like that is just so massive, but still, that was your best window. Gold, not massive at this point in time, right? I mean, we're getting so late into the game, it really is just coming down to the item differences across the board. But as we scan through, just to keep pointing out the MR, Force of Nature, now on the Viego as well. They're just making it harder and harder. Still, though, I mean, it's putting a lot of value to Hope when there isn't a lot of like armor stacking on the opposite side. you are nullifying the Kennen and the LeBlanc quite a bit. The only hard thing for Hope, again, as we said, like the front to back can be quite rough when you don't really have like the tankiest frontliner or the biggest members as compared to V5, where I mean, Viego's so tanky at this point, Rookie tanky as well, and PP God seen on quite a few items, especially with that locket.
I mean, yeah, the locket doing work. I also want to point out that I keep calling it Edge of Ixtal, but it is a Vigil Wardstone, so now at level 13 as well, remember the upgrades that come through, the 12% in all stats for PP God plus a place to put his control wards. Very rarely that we see it, but again, the game's gone on long enough. We're at 34 minutes in. We have an Infernal Soul for V5.
Crazy that 34 minutes is like insanely long
It
game
is.
time. But V5 going to use it to try and choke them out. Again, this is where V5 are so comfortable.
Yeah.
Looking to just find these picks in the enemy jungle. For JDG, I feel like you're at a point where you kind of have to try and avoid them, push out side lanes like we just saw you guys doing. But with Elder Drake coming up in a minute, that's not really going to be possible much longer.
They're going to walk into their territory, and again, with the chase, how fun is it going to be for them with the misfortune as well from Photic?
One accelerated shot blast on the 369.
It hurts, right?
1/3 of his HP.
And even look at the damage from the E from Photic, missing off with the engaged depth charge into the back line. They want Photic, they want the 80 carry, but Konami trying to get to him using everything to get there. Photic still stands as Yagao jumps in. Finally, they find him. But PP God is finishing the job while the rest of V5 are getting scrappy. Hope with the resets, though. The 80 carry from JDG doesn't matter, no. Because Casa, once again, is on a mission.
And now for V5, they can just push forward. Doesn't matter if most of your team has died. You have the wave. You have the death timers. JDG are going to be a match point.
I mean, this is V5's game. This is V5's story. In no other split have they been in the top 4 of playoffs. In no other split has V5 been our best LPL team. We were worried against Top Esports, but here in the JDG series, as they move forward, as unfortunately it looks like here they won't be able to end the game. They are one step away from once again returning to the top of our list. Now, Missing's going to try here. Cast is sticking around. Award, whereabouts is it? Okay, a little bit further back, but Rich is not away or available
See,
yet.
that was a moment where heroes could have been made. A moment where you're a 17-kill Viego with 1 Leona. You 2v5 the enemy squad, you win the game.
I was going to say, well, might not be over because Cast has got the boys with him now. Rookie and Rich. A bit of R&R for him to heal up because Elder's up available as well.
Yeah, for them. I mean, now trying to set up the pick, trying to bait them in. We find the engage.
And we've got Konami running away for V5. Feels like a foregone conclusion, but teleport's coming through. Realm Warp on the side as well. It's Rookie here with Everfrost as well. Lyric, I'm getting Mandarin in my ears, and you know what that means? It means we're going to a Game 4 where V5 have cleaned everything up. And as I go to mute him here, Lyric, 369, getting the slicing mouse from in the backside, trying his heart out, but it ain't enough. 17, 1, and 12, and Victory 5's road to the top 3 getting closer.
And it was just a matter of time before they were forced out of their base. V5 find the setup, and like you said, match point.
Match point for the first seed of the LPL, returning to best team status. It sure feels like it here in the series. JDG giving them a bit of a run, but you have to admit, Victory 5 again have woken up.
I just love that we got to see like the 2 carries of the teams, the Viego and the Kennen on opposite sides again, going back to 369 and Carso, the 2 members who were on the old Top Esports roster, played together for quite a while. And I mean, they were the pillars of their teams that had to step up. 369 found some good ultimates, found some good opportunities. We saw they were just so easy to itemize against for the side of E5. It really stood out to me in the play we saw just like a few minutes ago in bot lane when Rookie's diving the enemy turret, you know, using Everfrost, rooting enemies, taking turret damage, taking damage from everyone, and he's not going down at all. It's like, my God, it was just so easy for them to be able to itemize. Really great Realm Warps to come out from Rookie when, again, just speculation. I don't know if he was scared to pick the Rise or they just find other valuable picks. He's only played it twice this split. Hasn't been banned against them. They just haven't liked to gravitate towards it. He made it work, and it was great to see from V5.
Again, it's been 2 really good games here from V5 with Rookie on support staff duty. Twisted Fate, Rise. 2 games here where it hasn't been about Rookie, it's been about the rest of the map. And while Rich also absorbed pressure, Photic and PP God thrived this game.
Yeah.
And it's weird to say that Casa was the carry, but Casa was by far the carry of this game and a very big member as soon as he got those resets going.
Yeah, and it was nice to see because it did feel like some fights in the mid game, maybe he did play a bit too like trigger shy.
Yeah.
When he was the big member, he was again like so tanky, so unkillable, had the damage as well. But when we started to see him find that confidence, go in, reset after reset after reset, not able to take him down, and it was great. I do feel like JDG did kind of drop the ball a few times. We were talking about some of the earlier skirmishes where, I remember we got one replay that just showed the fight, but even the setup where JDG could have looked for the fight maybe more aggressively and won out, they weren't able to. And I mean, just the map tools, the Realm Warp, able to play around, kind of roam around with the Viego, just did so much for the side of V5. You have 3 aggressive champions, Misfortune, Rise, and the Jace. It just made it so easy to just keep pushing into enemy jungle and making it hard for JD Gaming.
And look, coming back to the core point when you're talking about Rookie and his champion pool and not the lack of, but what we talked about with V5 versus top esports in this series, in this game rather, you know, V5 once again shown they're versatile, that the champion pool extends as far as the ocean. The Misfortune pick going up against Jinx at the bottom side, like, Hope didn't really get to play that game despite him being able to scale up. That wasn't a game for Hope. That was all about Photic and how many bullet types he could get across, because Photic did a hell of a lot of work in the first 25 minutes of the game at least.
I mean, especially with the fact that V5 found the early lead, right?
Yep.
Because then we got to a point where V5 were playing skirmishes out in a pretty cool way where, again, Ken and LeBlanc, you know these champions need to come into you, setting up kind of baiting with PP God like we saw around the Baron when V5 were taking Dragon. You bait them in with a member like PP God, suddenly bullet time onto 3, 4, 5 members, able to do so much. I feel like we saw that countless times and was able to set up for the damage from the other members to be able to follow through.
I mean, again, like, PP God and Photic have been one of the best duos for a reason where they're synergizing so well together. I think as a 2v2, even beyond that with the rest of V5, they're reliable. And PP God and Photic once again step up to the plate. Victory 5 on match point here in the lower bracket. JDG a step away from elimination. And now in Game 4, we have to see if the trend runs true for both these teams. If we do go to another Game 5, only time will tell.
You gotta be even more careful because Flandre has taken a big chunk of health and he hasn't really got any minions to try and get off of, and the Shy's on a flank.
Yeah, this is so scary right now. Scout has 15 seconds till he's up, so they're trying to force the fact that now.
Oh, there it is! You couldn't even see him! They didn't even know what was happening.
Gang kinda full of hoodies out, circle full of actors. Y'all should put a movie out. Night Rider, King Kong, shoulders, I'm a monster.
Going down here, the Game still has the flash, still has the ult. Target from the wild goes with himself. Jankos looking for it. Jankos gets it!
Jankos will always find a way, and he steals the Baron.
Here. They do not know that Selfmade's there. Control ward now going down as the Dragon is started up. They're going to start it on it. Jankos looking for the steal. No! F***ing way! Does Cap steal that from over the wall? He gets the Hextech Soul for G2.
First it's Jankos, and then it's the mid lane man, Caps.
To the top of that mountain, I was everything that they wanted. Been loyal, a rider, Viking, a fighter, but I've been further with my own.
These two birds, he's trying to get one scout, but no, not quite able to find one bomb. The flash is good. Angel is here as he tried to get a flash away. Doesn't land the charm. Scout versus the world is Viper. It's a 1v2 on both sides. Viper gets one. They're doing it! The other, and Scout will stay alive. Keeping EDG's lives alive in this series. He's got ult going for him. I don't know if they'll think about it. They won't, and that's another one. Scout is popping off, and then fight, and EDG won't go down.
Os reinos chegando, não veio com ninguém, ficou pra trás agora o Jojo, a pela lateral, o Gui vai saindo também, o Barão foi abandonado por enquanto. Matos gastou, que belo ultimate! Do combo! E a matilha foi a caça!
And Blabber just gets cold from the Freljord, and he's still frozen solid. We're going to find a bit more now as Fudge walks away. Just barely staying alive and in the Winsome. It's going to be closer. Diving in for more. Kill number 2. Kill number 3. 100 Thieves is walking over Cloud9.
Chovy takes 2 of them out. There's a 3v2 fight on the top side that T1 are getting close on, but it's not quite enough. Gumayusi, though, he's looking to angle over. He might be able to get some damage in. Ruler is in a bit of trouble, has to flash away. The zap gets him on the backside. Gumayusi gets excited, and he's going to be the one that carries the fight in the end. That should be enough for T1, that they will clean up the fight just like that.
better stop playing with me, yeah. You better stop playing with me, yeah. You better stop playing with me.
We're back! Coming back here from the coffee analyst desk as we got ourselves very warm in this house right now. This is a very sleepy couch. Ox actually randomly fell asleep for like 5 seconds.
Put him on blast.
Yeah, I have to. You're putting me on blast. I gotta
Bro, this
do it.
sofa, I'm just leaning back. I'm like,
It is a fantastic sofa. But before we come into anything else, we got to highlight our player of the game. It wasn't going to be anyone but Karsa, but not only was it an incredible performance in the game, he gets the highest single amount of kills in an LPL game, playoffs or regular season, ever.
That is absolutely insane. 17 kills. The man was on a mission and it looked absolutely incredible, right? And I think a large portion of this game obviously was dictated by Karsa. We saw Kanavi trying to go for this early aggression up on top side, trying to look for these early skirmishes in a dragon, but every time Karsa there to match alongside Rookie, and it just put JDG in their place.
Yeah, I think having the Rise, being able to facilitate your jungler, being able to play for him, especially something like the Viego, which can snowball so heavily. It got to the point in teamfights where, you know, it's not only the fact that he's able to get resets and find momentum there, he can just basically duel anyone on the enemy team, and once he started finding momentum in fights, it was just no chance. And despite the best efforts from the side of JDG with that Kennen,
I mean, 369 was a 9 all the way through. Like, he tried so damn hard, and he was gifted a couple of opportunities, but at the end of it all, there was so much magic resistance.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously with the LeBlanc as well, they just itemized heavily into it. There were 4 pairs of Merc Treads, right? 3 Moors of Mortius, 2 Force of Natures, and a Locket of the Iron Solari between the team. Just too much ammo, and all these items are great at just mitigating the burst from the cannon. Yep. So, especially when we had some clutch exhausts coming in, it just wasn't working.
And that's the thing, even when you've got like the opportunity for Rookie to swap into that exhaust thanks to the Unsealed Spellbook, like, it just meant you had absolutely nothing there for 369. But nice shout out to Rich for helping to keep this game interesting, because if he hadn't fed 2 kills over in the early stages, this felt like it was just going to be V5 taking over. But I do have to say, when we got to the mid game, I mean, very slow from V5 to close this game out. And that's been one of the things that I've actually looked at as like a big strength for them, has been like how well, sorry, I take that back. One of the things where I'm like, oh, they can actually, like, when they have these leads and they've got like the position to set up on the map, they can close them out. And usually it's because of like over chasing and these kind of things that leads to the long average game time. But it just felt like they really didn't know how to close this game out.
Yeah, I think as well, there was definitely a lot of respect for the cannon, and there was the potential options of a TP flank were always sort of on their mind. But just going back to the Rich Jace, I found it so weird in draft because JDG banned Malphite and Aurelia, which are both good matchups in the Jace. And then they let Rich pick the Jace, knowing that 2 of those matchups are gone. He's into the Kennen, which is a fine matchup for Jace. And then, I was thinking maybe there's some strategy here. The strategy was just, I guess, let him have Jace because he just floundered a bit.
He paid back the favor. He was like, all right, you gave me Jace. I'll give you a couple of kills to keep it fun.
And,
but
it still ended up picking up. And I do feel like the problem was, right, the itemization choices made things difficult. There was definitely an angle where if the Kennen and LeBlanc got creative, they could combat what V5 had. But I think V5's comp was just so much easier to play.
Yeah. And that's the big one. Even when you look at like the early game as well, we talked about at the start of the day whether we're going to see Rookie play this Rise. He brings it out, and it does have some really good moments where he's able to interact in the early stages, like shut down some of the plays that JDG are trying to make. We saw some messy ultimates, but mostly I will say positive from him. Even being able to throw himself in at the deep end in that last fight in the bottom side of jungle where he gets that big Everfrost off that kind of sets up the game-winning play. So I think now again we're seeing Rookie just add more ammo to what has been an absolutely insane champion pool that he has.
Yeah, and I think this is, again, it's big for V5. They're 2-1 up in the series. They are now at match point. It's going to be on JDG, who are on blue side, by the way, to figure out how to make this one work for themselves. We talked a little bit in the break about what red side and blue side gives you in terms of differences. What do you want to see, Ox? How do you kind of like bring this one? Because I think the Kennen was great. I just think you need to maybe, give it a bit more, not the Jace.
Well, I think the rough thing is that like if they could continue on blue side, have 3 matches on blue side, I feel like that would have given them like the edge, right? The fact that they lost this game on blue side, even if they win this next one, it's then going to be V5's choice. And we saw how much the draft shifted when they were on red side. They just didn't have enough bans. We saw Casa get the Lee Sin, right? They weren't able to deny 80 carry picks away from Photic as well. And credit to Photic, MF is something we haven't seen every 80 carry pick up. It is something he's picked up, and it's a good matchup with Desire. It can bully out a range of options. It's good in team fights, and I feel like it gives that extra depth to the pool. So, I think blue side still gives them strength, but
I also think one of the really interesting things for this series has been kind of how Volibear has performed, right? We kind of talked about how Volley, one of the big picks that we were keeping our eyes on coming into this, but I really don't feel like the Volibear has been the big impact play, right? Like we saw it in game number 1 where Kanavi's trying to make plays up into the top side, it's successfully warded out, and it feels like both sides here, whenever we see the Volibear, are just like ready to get their wards down, ready to get vision down and make sure that they're not falling prey to these level 3, level 4 ganks, and suddenly the Volibear isn't able to have that impact. So when you look towards things like the Lee Sin, who can be a bit more creative, or you look at the VA goes out to take over in team fights, you end up having these like scaling champions, or at least champions that can do a little bit more in the mid game that are taking over.
We'll have to wait and see, and we're going to send it to our casters for the picks and bans. It could be the final one of the day. We'll see what JDG can do or V5 can clear up. Up to you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. My name is Eric. I'm joined by Lyric, and we have been on a bit of a bender here in this series, I'll say. It's been a long one. It's been a bloody one, but it's been a good one, and it's a pleasure to have you along for the journey. We're already in ban pick once again. We saw Casa, by the way, break the record for all-time jungle kills in the LPL. Bo held it before at 16. 17, 1, and 12 he was. So congratulations to Casa. A bit of a world breaker, especially since the man has already been a world beater at MSI.
Great to see him have, good performance again. A player who I'd say very divisive, heavily praised by some, heavily criticized by others. But coming to draft, we see completely different takes, despite the fact that sides have stayed the same. The Hecarim taken away this time around. First pick coming out for the Xayah. JDG so far, seems for a lot of range to play with. Again, kind of kite back, poke out, but V5 wanting to answer that with the Jarvan to be able to close the distance. Let's see, give them a bit of an early game jungler to set up and find the tempo to start taking over the map, which has been their bread and butter.
It really has. Again, Casa's a great game, doing that in the last game as well, and really just enveloping the rest of it too. Now, Lyric, JDG did this last time, and I was going to ask you a little bit more about this. We've already got the Jace this time, though, but we're getting the Aurelia ban. Remember, last time was the Malphite ban there too. We saw a very interesting JDG trying to set up 369, but I feel like it backfired.
At least this time around, though. I mean, it makes a lot more sense of you taking this and then banning out the counter. So they want to ban out the Malphite once again. Again, a champion that just does so well against mobile carries. But for JDG, I feel like they're very incentivized to go towards mobility this time around with Jarvan on the opposite side. So I feel like something like the LeBlanc pick actually does go up in value quite a bit for both sides as V5 a takeaway and sets up for the strong mid-jungle 2v2s. For JDG's a champion that just can't really be locked down by things like the Cataclysm. But JDG not caring about the Malphite saying no, We care more about the fact of you being able to roam around the map, but they go back towards the Rise.
Yeah, isn't this a change again? Like, V5 have just kind of accepted a rookie returning to the Rise that we talked about him not really edging towards at the start of the series. Feels like that draft adaptation, feels like the series adaptation that V5 have made coming into today versus JDG, and we have to see what Yagao pulls up against, because Yagao has been pretty stable, I'd say, in this series, pulling out things like the Victor quite often.
Yeah, so right now, hovering the Corki, I actually think this makes sense. Because we were just talking about something with mobility, but they also are hoping to outrange the Aphelios, right? So maybe something like LeBlanc can be awkward jumping into champions like Aphelios, like Rise. But this, you play from a distance, you still have the Valkyrie to be able to get out of the Cataclysm. So JDG, tons of scaling set up so far, wanting to play at arm's length, playing over, you know, posturing and testing over mid-wave, making your way into River and forcing them out, and we get a Rek'Sai coming in.
I guess something else early to inhabit the map, right? I'll ask you a little bit about that in a second, because that's a left field turn, right? When we have so much poke, when we don't really have a front line now for JDG, Lyric, as well. For V5, they've only got top side left here. They've got a counter pick, but it could be something safe instead for Rich.
I mean, when you think about things that go into Jace, right? If it's not something like the Aurelia, which has it all in potential, typically it is. Scions, the Gragas's, the Malphites, things that can do well early. We've even seen solo kills coming out in this matchup. I believe it was one of the Weibo series, the Shy. Might have actually even been against JDG, the Shy solo killing 369. But yeah, going to go towards this for V5. I think decently low damage composition. I think you're going to have to make a lot happen early because you do have a ton of mobility coming out with your mid-jungle. And for JDG, I think they are heavily indexed into scaling with the Corki. Xayah, definitely more of a mid-game pick with, you know, the lethality build that has come out. But yeah, I'm just curious to see what this Rek'Sai does, because not really fitting, I think, thematically with the rest of the composition.
True.
But also, I mean, you have Tremor Sense even later on. You can try and find early ways to work around with your top lane matchup and try and win out in some of these 2v2s and setup. Okay, well, at least, you know, the setup here from Kanavi in the early game is going to be crucial, because pulling out a Rek'Sai in Game 4, when this is elimination, when JDG, if they lose this game, they're out, they're done. They don't get a chance of getting another title here in the LPL, of getting to the top 3. It is kind of a big swing here, especially when V5 feel like in the past 2 games they've really taken control, they've taken the reins. Yeah, it's really weird when you think about it, right? You're on elimination as JDG, and you're putting your eggs in the Rek'Sai and Corki basket when your backs are against the wall.
Which is a comfort for Kanavi, for sure. But again, you brought up thematically with the composition, it doesn't all really line up. So
yeah.
Really curious again, Lyric.
Even thinking about things like the rest of your champions want to go back.
True.
I mean, once Rek'Sai can really only go forward, and once you're in as Rek'Sai, you're just in. There is no getting out.
And no one's coming to help you, right? Unless it's missing, and he's probably sad that he went in as well. So I'm curious here, because you mentioned for V5, them getting around the map early, which is what they've been doing well in the past couple of games, which is what V5, throughout the regular season, we talked about them being adaptable and being a team that can really blow apart the early game. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, and welcome to Match Point here for Victory 5. The first seed of the LPL, who were tested in the upper bracket by Top Esports, got reverse swept. Now here in a dangerous position, but at least they've got a couple of games to play with. And Lyric, where do you want to start in this one? Because, again, the Rek'Sai was a big talking point for JDG, but for V5, again, we've got to guess a different direction.
The Rek'Sai you should do well, at least in the Jarvan matchup specifically early on, and be able to, you know, take those trades, take those duels. Interestingly, talking about the Jarvan, Karsa not going with the first strike, which we've been seeing, you know, really come out in spades. I was talking about this with Ox the other day, and that, like, there's no really obvious keystone in my mind that fits Jarvan, especially now thinking things like Gore Drinker, Sterex not really being the go-to flavor of the month, getting that more damage, getting that, you know, heal, max stack survivability. So typically that has been the go-to, get a bit more gold, get a bit more kind of burst damage in there, kind of taking the place of Electrocute, even just the inspiration tree overall being valuable. But Karsa gonna keep it simple, go back to the old ways. And for JDG, I'm just very curious. I'm very curious to see what this Rek'Sai does. I've already hit on I expect it to play out a lot around that top side with the Gragas. I think 6 can be quite rough if you look to try to look for dives, but very early on, you should be able to come out ahead, set up for some of those ganks, and maybe get 3, 6, 9 going. Because Yagao and Hope, you know they're just going to be chilling, especially the Corki. We don't expect much.
We always know how JDG want to play their game, right? 369 was talked about at the start of the day as a big focal point for JDG, and you know, 369 has been a really big member in this series alone. The Cannon game last game was a huge turning point. Rookie Realm warped them in towards him as, let's pause for a second, bottom lane is some very serious trading, more so than we see normally in the 2v2. Votic's trying to push for level 2 as well, and JDG paying respect. And I can come back to that, Lyric, because I just think last game was hilarious, where 369 was the only member it felt like it came down to for JDG to try and win out the game.
And there's like 20 MR items on the opposite team where you don't even get to play, you don't even get to do damage. So a bit unfortunate for him where it felt like he really did have a good game. This time around has the potential to be different again.
True.
This game goes a distance. JDG having the tools to keep them at arm's length.
They hit level 2. Good Zenith's played. Ignite down as well. Hope has to flash away. Missing now caught out in the lane as well. He doesn't burn any summoners, but he backs away. Hope Lyric, he's level 1. He's got no flash. He's got no cleanse.
Oh my god, and Karsa is here as well.
He's just gone. Over a ward, he won't be spotted out.
They don't know. So Karsa, if JDG overstay, they will be punished. So at the very least, being kind of zoned off the wave. Luckily for Hope, it's a cannon wave, so nothing really going down. Gives Kanavi time to come in shadow, allow him to pick up the wave. You don't lose out on any gold or any experience.
But at the very least, close to a turret plate here for V5. So while the trade is not going to be as much as it could have been Lyric, the turret plate is going to be a lot of gold here once it's taken through. Kanavi with the Tremor Sense as well, just in case Cast is coming through. Counts back once, but turret plating still goes over, and it's a really grand start for the V5 bottom lane that were praised in last game, and again, have been praised in the series too.
I mean, V5's bot lane just overall being stellar, and they were a bot lane that I think did improve as the split went on. I think early on, I just thought of them as more of like a team fight, clean-up bottom lane. Like, PP God looking to roam more like back in his 2020 summer V5 days when he was working with Weiwei and Mole. But as the split's gone on, I feel like they've actually found a lot of strong 2v2s. We've seen 2v2 kills come out from them very frequently, and, you know, them looking for more aggression. Photic even stepping up and, like, carrying team fights like we saw in the top esports series, not playing that cleanup role, the aggressive Gale forces. So, nice to see the spot lane work so well together when this is Photic's redemption arc. Like, really V5 is where he's coming back after heavy criticism on that top esports team.
And isn't it sad because it feels like that's the same story with Hope. We were talking about it before, you know, being replaced with people like Viper in the past as well. Even iBoy, he was sitting behind and never really got a chance to step up. So Hope kind of in a similar boat, and that's why these Eddie carries are so fun to talk about. Again, Hope in the last game was getting there with the Jinx, but was just a non-factor when Photic was massive on the Misfortune. Now, we're going to bring you closer into this game because it is still interesting to see where it goes, considering we have a Rek'Sai on the Rift, and Karsa has just been so proactive in these lanes. Through mid, trying to spot out Kanavi. He's now backed off, but Kanavi is trying to be proactive himself up in this top side.
Yeah, he's looking for it, but Rich been channeling his recall. Should be good to get back home.
Yep.
Does have the TP to be able to come in. Would be a bit risky, but looks like 369 is going to keep going with his back. Not much of a wave now anyway after the turret hitting it for quite a bit. And you can see now where teams are looking, right? Karsa hovering so heavily around mid lane. Rookie at a point now where he's going to be able to pretty consistently keep this push in.
True.
And then probably try to make your way up towards the top side and punish 369 once again.
I mean, again, getting up towards that top side will be an interesting watch because remember that reason we haven't seen Corky Lyric, it's been a while. 10 minutes here on the package, not syncing up as much, not syncing up with Dragons either. Rookie will have that Realm Warp. That'll be coming up very shortly. He's close to getting level 6, and you did talk about how V5 want to influence this early map, what they want to do, which is the stock and standard. Get things rolling alongside this Jarvan.
And we already see Karsa going for some counter jungling with the fact that he's push in mid. Rookie now having Realm Warp available, both hovering down towards the spot side. And Kanavi's going to be spotted out, so maybe look for the aggressive play if you can find something onto Kanavi. He backs off, worst case, you just make your way back up towards that top side of the Rift.
I mean, it's nice roaming, though, whether it happens to turn into a play or not, because just look at the pressure that Bot's under. Hope is 20 CS down for the time being. There's a massive wave in front of the turret, so he should be catching most of it, but still, Photic and PP God in a great position here. 49 to 34 CS, so a 15 CS lead. And now that Photic's back off as well, with the turret plating he was able to pick up, he's got a Noon Quiver, he's got a Dagger, he's got quite a lot. That's Realm Warp to the top side. Hang on a minute, I thought V5 was focusing on the bot side, but now it's about top as Rich wants to make it a dive. The body slam, the flush in! Clean stuff as Victory 5 secure first blood in Game 4.
Even the setup, just seeing like how V5 use their tempo, right? Hover around mid, push in mid, start roaming towards spot. It now pulls you out towards spot, allows Rookie to walk back mid first. You once again have push, and you know Kanavi's bot side, so you can go for that Realm Warp play top. So I think Rookie and V5 kind of managing that play really well in terms of just juggling their pressure between both sides of the map.
Yeah.
Rich having the wave already set up to be able to go for this play, goes in here, damage comes out. Rookie being the one to tank it up is able to proc, actually didn't even proc Phase Rush. I don't know if he maybe swapped to Ghost or some other spell, but still having the Ignite available, was just able to get away.
Yeah, it was clean, right? But the main thing is, top side gets a kill. V5's top lane gets a kill. Bottom side is in a lead as well, Lyric here. And Rookie's first ulti does so much. Dragon is well taken. This early game looking quite smooth sailing so far for V5.
I mean, V5, the past 2 games, right, have been the one to find early advantages and consistently transition those through the mid game. Surprisingly, we haven't really seen a lot come out from Kanavi when he has picked this Rek'Sai right now, sitting on triple longsword. But Karsa just pivoting back and forth between mid, bot, top, constantly looking for these plays. Has a bit of the wave set up with it pushing in. Kanavi, level 6, has a Tremor Sense available as well.
Yeah, he can follow through with this. The ulti available. PP God not going to be the one knocked up. It's voting in the backside. PP God running away. Solar Flare locks down Kanavi. Can't ult. Lyric, the queen, can't escape her castle. And V5 deny this Rek'Sai pick.
And this is what we were hitting on with Rek'Sai, right? Once you're in, you are just in. The fact that Karsa hitting level 6 so clutch, able to find that kill, and now Photic having the Calibrum can look for a bit more aggression to poke out missing.
So confident. I mean, he's so confident amongst 2 people, even under the turret. PP God's backed away, but he doesn't care with his ulti available. So V5, a 1k gold lead. It's sad to see because Kanavi, you could see, was doing so much damage.
And we're going to see here how it starts off, missing 1 to go and hits level 6 first. You have ulti advantages on their side. Everything, though, focused on to the Leona. Opens up for Karsa to come in, who hits level 6 off the minion wave going down. And Kanavi getting punished for the Leona. Again, everything just being focused on the PP God.
Yep. PP God is one who doesn't care about taking up damage, though, does he? He's been the greatest Leona I've seen in quite a while in this series. The last couple of games as well. Now we're on to Herald. I'm going to stop blabbering, Lyric, because JDG want to start a fight. Maybe I start blabbering, because on to Kanavi again. The ulti, the explosive cast Rich. That was gorgeous. PP God again taking the damage, but this time he dies down. Yagal's joined on in as he comes over the wall. Still wants to poke him out, but he doesn't have much mana. As 369 joins the fray. V5 actually back away for now, and JDG have done their damage with the poke that they needed to do.
Yeah, with Rookie, being so low and having to blow his flash, feels like for V5 you can't overcommit to the play. So JDG utilizing their long-range tools quite well to be able to secure themselves this objective. No ultimate up on Karsa either feels pretty big, right? That's a huge playmaking tool that would have been able to influence the fight, especially when we're talking about range advantage for JDG. Karsa and PP God are going to be the pivotal members to make sure they close that distance, kind of get that close range melee fight club tussle that they want, and be able to come out ahead. Which, interestingly enough, Karsa also just going to go towards the Gore Drinker. We've been seeing a lot of Chemtank Jarvan coming out recently, but Karsa still just wanting to go for the Bruiser build, opt into a little bit more damage, a little bit more sustain. But for V5, I kind of would have loved to see what we saw last game just with armor. Just heavily indexed into armor because you have mostly AD on the opposite side. And a ton of lethality as well.
One, but look in the top side, we're getting a bit of a play in front of us. There's a flag and drag. Cataclysm down as well. Rich has a barrel that's about to come out. The Comet seals the deal. 2-0-1 on this Gragas. Lyric, game 4 is looking a bit unsteady for JDG.
Yeah, JDG giving a lot of windows. And I mean, Jarvan just the perfect champion at punishing these opportunities. And Karsa's been extremely patient in setting up and waiting for these to be able to come through, giving up instances to farm and look for them to where, again, Kanavi on the opposite side, we talked about, really hasn't. So now we're going to be looking at JDG, where they want to opt to use this Rift Herald. Opening up a side for Jace, like, always a good play. That'd be completely fine. If you want to look mid, the fact that V5 don't have a ton of wave clear, I think is always the go-to. And I feel like it's the logic most LPL teams follow. You'll typically just see, like, jungle, hover towards side, get prio, group up towards mid, drop Herald, and then look to start influencing the map that way. So, Kanavi, now with the Prowler's Claws, our eyes are on you, my dude.
Yeah, that's right. Needs to make something happen here. Again, you did talk about how this game can evolve, but with V5, with the early lead we see, with the map that they have under their wing with Rookies ult up and available, I'm starting to get scared, especially with the minute coming towards Dragon. They've already got the first one here, and Vision is getting a bit deeper, trying to track Kanavi further, and no lane is in a really great position, Lyric. Even this top side, I mean, Rich has 2 kills. He's even with CS. Mid's even, bot's in a lead. Every lane is fine right now.
Oh, that was actually pretty clean.
That was slick. Yeah. Right into the barrel. Wait, Rich flashing forward. Oh my god. That was a smooth play from a fat man.
It was like so slow as well. Throw the barrel out. Like 369 like, what's going on? Throws out the explosive caskets, popped into it. Not expecting Rich, I guess, to have the follow-up damage to be able to take it down. Remember though, Rich is going towards AP, right? Making his way towards that Everfrost. He was able to do it. 369. He just didn't expect the damage to come through because he still had his flash. He could have made it out of there.
0-3 and 0 versus a 3-0-1 Gragas. Lyric, as I was saying, no lane's going well. especially that top side. Rich is doing so damn well. Again, 369, even the isolated 1v1s. Up for V5, stuff going well. Dragon's going to be started here, though, by JDG.
I mean, you know, I wouldn't like to look at this. We see Yagao does have the package available, so just back off. You've already got your play on the top side of the map. You're already kind of accelerating in terms of the gold trade. They're going to get an early Dragon, but you already had the first one, so ultimately I think V5 make the right call. And we're going to see this again, because again, this was so visually pleasing to watch.
True.
We've seen earlier trade coming out for him, and then here's maybe where 369 just not expecting damage to follow through. Cass comes out, he runs forward, set up perfectly by Rich to be able to get the damage, and 369 still just not expecting the all-in. E-Flash comes through, another barrel down, and more fights!
And more fights in the bottom side. First one to go down is Votic. It's V5 blinking on the health bar status as Yagao has jumped in. A good shield on Daybreak, but Rookie's on the backside. Now the damage begins as Golden is peeping God, but still dies down. JDG hoping this is their fight, but Missing's getting chunked here by a Jarvan with a hell of a lot of damage himself. Rookie running away, already picking up a double kill. The feathers don't fly. Hope runs back, and V5 still manage to shed 3 members worth of blood.
We didn't exactly see how that one started, but I love that once we came out of the replay, V5 committing onto Yagao.
Are we doing it again? Are we doing it again? Flash body slam, you're not getting away. Rich solo kill after solo kill, making short work of 369.
Man, it's so depressing. 369 had such a phenomenal last game. This time, Rich is having his way with him.
Okay, we're going to Void Seeker. The Queen unburrows and rushes for his death, but it's still a trade.
I think the mental damage you have now done to 369 outweighs any kill you get back as Kanavi, right? 0-4-0 on the Jace. I mean, you're just put so far behind. Rich going to continuously have kill pressure, as we've now seen. With the item advantages, he started to stack up Everfrost, already Kindle Gem in pocket. And, I mean, 4v5, with the fact that you still have this Jarvan, you still do have the setup. You can even just leave Rich on his island. Like, sure, the kill setup is there if you ever want to bring Karsa top, but with how self-sufficient he is on the Gragas, you can just play more to enabling your bot side.
I mean, Hot's Faker hits different, dude. Rich back-to-back solo kills. And that top side was slick. I mean, every single time we're just in awe.
And let's remember, despite the fact that V5 lost to Top Esports, 4 games, Rich was making Wayward's life hell.
True.
It was only in that final game where Wayward came back on the Malphite against Kennen and started finding his own solo kills and really coming back. But 4 games in a row, Rich was dismantling Wayward. And now once again in this game with 369.
4-1-1. It's a game for V5. Holistically, V5 are 2,000 gold up. They've got a Dragon apiece that JDG is sharing, but it looks really rough at this point. Look at this lyric, Rookie in a side lane. And right now, JDG not really finding a response, and Karsa's decided it's time for him to go deeper.
Yep, using the Hex Gates to go in, look to steal away the blue. We look at the map, 369 actually is in the area. He needs to be careful as a Rookie, just going to be able to guarantee this top lane turret himself. Like the lane allocation to putting someone top who can get this. Rich able to just clear minions in mid quite easily. And V5 once again just kind of extended this lead.
Prowler's Claw on top of this one. He's taken a turret shot. Rich is defending 1v2 and he's got a flash available, so I would probably back away.
I mean, Rich is doing so much damage right in the face of 3 members. That's why, in my mind, Gragas' identity has always been a bit of a neutralizer because, I mean, you have disengage tools with your ult. You have the belly bop to either be able to get away or stop an engage from coming in. You have your Q, which is range. You can farm, you know, out of harm's way. You just do so much to dissuade is having a bit of ring around the rosy.
Yeah.
Hope and Missing are on their way.
And there's a teleport and there's a flag and Dragon at the ready. Missing is by himself, though. As he goes golden to buy time, maybe it's okay here for JDG. They've got the numbers advantage, and Karsa's down. But so is Kanavi here. The Realm Warp being used. They're in, they're out. Immediately out. It's a 1-for-1 trade. V5 are bringing back up, but both junglers to the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, JDG committed more resources towards this side of the map first. We saw Karsa wanting to hover around with Rookie. You're kind of, again, allowing him to push out side waves, fishing for picks as someone walks forward. Now, JDG still wanting to contest with the fact that they have 4 members, but no jungler on either side.
Control Ward spots out Rich here, and he's just playing zone control. JDG now moving to this choke instead as Everfrost. Again, more zoning, PB God doing the same, but Herald's going to go on down. It's V5 to secure. Rich survives here, even with the poke, and that's got to be something of a win here, despite the trade back and forth.
Yeah, and I mean, gold's still been about the same for the past 5 or so minutes of the game,
That's
right?
true.
V5 just over a 2K gold lead now. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. Rookie does have teleport to be able to get down to the side of the map if they want to look for a contest. They have the Rift Herald if they want to look to pull focus. But with Rich still coming out of base, JDG will be the team with control.
Well, we're going to go to a replay before we see the next fight, though. Let's look again because V5 are opting into the play.
Yeah, we see them coming in again. They just have more members on the side of the map first. So you see Karsa wanting to commit onto Hope. Kind of just runs it, does give his life over. The other members of V5 are making their way over.
Wait.
But nice by them to make it into the realm warping it away.
Look at the bottom left. I mean, Hot's Faker again, dude. Third time. This time he had a bit of help from Karsa coming down for the end of it. But this Gragas is playing like a Jace himself.
Yeah, Rich knowing his limits on the champion to be able to punish 369. 369's flash sadly wasn't up. Looks like just about to be up to be able to escape some of these dangerous plays. But up against the Gragas, up against a Jarvan, feels quite hard to be able to get away. And now for Victory 5, going to be a very easy pivot into a Dragon. JDG, you would expect to just opt away from this. I mean, look where Yagao is on the minimap. Just make a play towards top. Crash that wave into the turret, deny some minions, get some more damage down, and look to fight another day.
And just look to get to the point of the game where you become more relevant, right, Lyric? We had a bit of a chat about what these comps angle to do, the poke, the range, even the scaling that comes through, right? Worth mentioning here that JDG haven't had the most optional environment. Almost, what's the other word for optional? The best environment.
I was going to say,
something like that.
I don't think you were looking for a synonym for optional in that sentence.
They haven't had many options, I should say. Now, this is happening again. Wait, that's another body slam. Rich is taking no damage. 369 jumps back in. Here's Karsa, baby. Cataclysm down. He's burning, and Karsa knew would finish him off. This is not the game to be a 369 fan. He is getting his pants dropped, Lyric. It's schoolyard bullying.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not even getting a chance to play the game. And with every kill, right, V5 cementing their lead further, cementing the fact that they're taking more side lane turrets. They're able to get deeper vision in the enemy jungle and keep looking for these picks, because at the end of the day, that's what V5's composition is, right? You have a tempo mid laner that has a semi-global to be able to move. You have the Jarvan. You're looking to isolate members, lock them down, and start moving into team fights as, you know, a 4 or 5 man unit with numbers advantage. And V5 have been executing perfectly.
Again, this has been V5's story since game number 2. Elimination match and JDG are crumbling. V5 are on the door of getting into top 3, our number 1 seeded team. In the lower bracket here, it's gotten a little bit tough, but JDG definitely haven't had much to say after game number 1. As Carson spotted out here, but not much JDG can do to catch him out. And Lyric, at this point, look at what's going on the top side. 369 going to get TP'd on by Rich. He's here to play once again. Another Everfrost user as Rookie is not taking damage either. The whole of JDG's army are trying, but Kanavi going down. V5 have congregated in this area, and now it's missing. 369, everything going wrong for our 2020 Spring Kings.
Yeah, I feel like the pace of the game is just going too quickly for JDG's composition. The Corki, the Xayah needing a bit more time, especially the Corki Yagao, kind of waiting behind the fight, just has to get out. And now V5 turning this into a Baron.
And now V5 making us think this is where the road ends for JDG, and this is where maybe V5's story continues. JDG have a package on Yagao. He's going to burn it on PP God, on Rookie. But this man can't do too much, and look at Rich, dude. What a Chad. 7-1-4. I'm ready to talk more about Rich.
Look, if I'm anyone on JDG, if Rich is on your screen, if he is in your field division, you get the hell out of there. This man, solo killing left and right. He is huge at this point. And now with the Baron, I mean, you just have so many options, right, for V5. You've already taken down all tier 1 turrets. You can start very easily making your way, having Rookie push out a side. Doesn't have Realm Warp, but will have TP up. Having the other 4 kind of play as this aggressive unit, juggling between mid and a side lane, already having bot lane pushed out, and breaking down some of these turrets.
Lyric, it's sad that we probably not going to a game 3 here. Game 5, I
Look,
should say.
the other guys got game 5s.
We
don't get game 5s.
Yeah, but you know, we're cursed. Because every single match of our top 4 so far has gone to a game 5. Even JDG in the previous round did the same. Now, we're going to talk about this replay because Rookie survived for so long against an army.
He did. You even look at the minimap. A lot of members of JDG making their way here first. But right there goes Golden at a critical time to let Rich come in. Hits a cast kind of separating the members of JDG. And I mean, just Kanavi not having the damage, missing, being forced away, and no other damage to being brought in. But
I think the series is ending. I think the series is ending. Double knock up here. Victory 5, sick of us talking about JDG. Another kill, another kill, another kill, another kill, another kill! Blood rains from the sky when you're Victory 5. The first seeded team heard you talking smack that they weren't making it into the top 3, and now here we go.
And this was the game. This was the elimination game. JDG lean on Corki. They lean on the Rek'Sai champions that really aren't meta champions we don't really see played. And they're getting absolutely smacked.
Destroyed, beaten, bullied. The game might not be over now. The series might not end right here. But even the disrespect back shows you how done it is. JDG on death's door. Bob Dylan called. They want their song back.
4v5. Gonna get the resets off. Gonna start heading towards the Dragon. I mean, this game, you know, we've had some like huge gold leads, right? I think we had 12K at one point in one of them. But this 11K gold lead at 23 minutes feels like the most done we've had out of any game in this series. I mean, Randuin's now built on Rich. I mean, GA might be down, but Karsa having an extra stopwatch available. Frozen Heart on Rookie. I mean, it just feels like they have so many defensive tools that once again, JDG are in the same position as last game. That there's just really no one who's able to deal any damage to maybe anyone other than Photic.
That's right. And I mean, Kanavi decided to pick him for the Rek'Sai for this final game as well. Hasn't done too much in the early game, Lyric. And now it's getting to the point where it can't get through a single member. V5 with the dive, a triple cataclysm. Everything going right. Caster absorbing. Rich jumping in. Hot's Faker may die, but the rest of V5 survive. Still Caster goes forward. The better jungler in this series. The better team. Now in the base, they've broken my voice a day before RNG Top Esports, but it matters not. V5 deserve the praise here. The #1 seeded team, Lyric. It's Nexus time.
Yeah, V5 gonna push through for the end. Yagawa missing.
All right, one next start dropping down. Yagao trying to keep it all alive, but JDG, it's their turn to get eliminated. They tried to return to 2020 spring form, but V5 wouldn't let them. The #1 seeded team was down, but not out. They'll move to the lower bracket finals and wait for RNG Top Esports to try and return or start their journey to the grand finals.
And I bet anyone who didn't believe in V5 feeling like clowns right now.
True.
I can confirm.
You.
feeling like a clown right now is V5. I mean, they showed more than what we've seen. Again, they haven't been showing the rise. They're able to bring it out. It looks so good. Having champions that mid and junglers that are able to go and influence the map, just getting the enemy jungle, influence sides. Rich with this crazy Game 4 performance where, again, I feel so bad for 369 after the previous game where he was the only member really finding opportunities, and this time he didn't even get to play the game because Rich smacked him.
He got destroyed, and Kanavi on the Rek'Sai didn't get to do much either, right? You know, this game was very quiet from JDG.
We questioned what it would do. Like, hey, what does this Rek'Sai do with all these poke champions? And the answer was nothing.
And Rich on the Gragas, man. Like, easy MVP this game. A tank Gragas that still played like a carry. That destroyed 369 in his own right with the attention he got. And even as we look at V5, you said it in that game, the pace elevated to the point where we couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, I should say JDG couldn't do anything. V5 just kept going and going and going. And JDG just couldn't stop the flow.
No, I mean, we even got to the point, right, seeing at the end, just Rookie being able to run Yagao down the whole lane. It's like, what could Yagao do? You really can't do anything. You have to accept with how far ahead they are. And again, I feel like another game where it's very easy to itemize. Like, sure, Corki's going to be going into AP with, like, the Loons and this kind of build, but you have 3 other members who are going lethality. Like you stack some armor, and you're only dealing with 1 member. And guess what? You have a Jarvan. So you can always guarantee you get onto 1 member. Like, sure, he'll have the Valkyrie like we talked about. Maybe his flash in some situations, but you should always be able to get on the only threat that they will have. And, I mean, he didn't even get there. We didn't even get to a point where the Corki was relevant.
That's right. I mean, Corki did not much. Package usage as well, not there. A lot to look at for JDG, because I think for JDG, they were a team that we expected to come into the series with, you know, I guess, like-mindedness of what we learned from the RNG series. But after game number 2, V5 were just on their roll.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see this adaptation, because there were a lot of concerns with draft, but I think there has also been a lot answered today.
Oh, 100%. I really feel like coming in, showing that they don't just have to worry about this rise. It's not something they either have to ban, or they always have to pick like Victor or rely on the Orianna, because guess what? Rookie, he's not getting Orianna in playoffs. It's been banned every game against him. He's not going to get to play his best champion by far. So that they needed to be able to show that they're confident on playing it. Whether it's him or whether it was team, looks like they don't need to play the Xayah, as they're still not showing it, but the fact that they're able to have these different looks with things like the Misfortune, which they've been the most comfortable team to pull out, is still a pretty good sign for V5.
I mean, the Draft Ocean from V5 is a real good explanation of how good this team is. Rookie's pick ban has been like 14, 15 champions long. We saw the rise in both Game 3 and Game 4, and it did so much work, but man, I feel sorry for 369. I feel real sorry for 369 in that game, and that Rich destroyed him. If anyone knows why Rich should not be claimed as the best top laner in the league, please speak now, because a lot of criticism towards this guy coming through after his time in Nongshim, after his time in the LCK.
I mean, even after like that one Game 5 in their last series, you know, I think sometimes maybe us overall too quick to judge. One bad game, one bad series, one bad split, anything can happen. Comes in with a team that, again, clearly gels much better, works much better than, I'd say, a team any of these guys were on last split, and it looks really good. We're going to get to see now, again, how they fare, either once again up against Top Esports or against RNG, because those are the two teams that, honestly, I think have the two other best mid laners in the league. We look at Rookie, we look at Knight, we look at Xiaohu.
Yeah, I mean, the mid laners are cracked, right? And I was going to say, it'd be really interesting if it's Top Esports, right? A rematch, a grudge match where Top Esports reverse swept. RNG reverse swept JDG, and now with only 3 teams left in LPL playoffs, after you've all waited so long due to the delays, now we're just at a point where we've got 3 series left to go. We've got upper bracket, we've got lower bracket, and then we have the grand final. At this point, it's hard to kind of pick what's going to happen, because RNG, Top Esports, and V5 all look good within their respective games.
I mean, when you have both first of those top 4 series going to 5 games, I think it's so hard to predict. Like, I think it's easy for your mind to lean towards V5 because of their first place finish in regular season. But I mean, then again, we wouldn't have expected Top Esports to come back and reverse sweep them. So, yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as you. No idea who's going to win. I think there's no obvious like S-tier team right now. Every team's very close. That's how it is.
Well, either way, a 4-game series. We're sorry it's not 5, but we know that you enjoyed the banger it was. We're going to throw down to the AD from Lyric and myself. It has been a pleasure, and we'll see you tomorrow. But over to the analyst desk to break down that series.
Thank you so much, Asterix and Lyric. We are coming to you from just a very happy desk of just, finally seeing V5 coming in and actually showing us the regular season V5.
Yeah, and imagine like having predicted V5 and how good that would feel.
Imagine thinking twice in a row a JDG. You looking for something on? Is there something on the roof?
He's looking for his dignity. As we come in, I gotta say, look, it was good to see from V5, right?
Yes.
We got Rookie bringing out the Rise once more, going with this tank build, and was super impactful in the early game, but like being able to take over across the board. And this was the first time in this series that we didn't get that 100% win rate Jace. Like, actually, Jace looking pretty battered and bruised.
I'm not gonna lie. As much as it did win in that game 3, I don't think like it should have won, because in 2 games in a row it got
I feel like 369 just saw the performance that Rich had on Jason. I can do
That's
one
how
better.
we win.
I mean, I gotta say though, redemption for Rich, right after that game 3, his Gragas was phenomenal. Finding solo kills multiple times on a 369, delivering the team fights, setting up his teammates. Rookie comes top, we'll get a kill. Rookie comes bot, we'll get a kill. Like, everywhere Rich was, it was free pickings.
But that's the thing, I don't know where these Gragases have randomly come from. Like, you look at playoffs and suddenly we've got like Gragas all over the place. We have it from like Bin, from Wayward, now we have it coming into this series as well on both sides. It looks great. Like, these Gragas performances have just been absolutely insane. Like, it's so cool to see that like we have these top laners that traditionally you think of as big carry players still bringing out things like the Gragas and having these pop-up performances.
I'll tell you what,
like
that was a carry Gragas performance.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it was just so, like, just the first top lane solo kill where he gets the barrel over there, blindly throws in the explosive cast, flash belly bops in. It just blew my mind.
To specify the first
Gragas solo because I had to make sure we knew which one. We do have our MVP. I believe it was Karsa who got the MVP into that game. Honestly, apart from Rich doing exceptional in the top side, Karsa was everywhere, and if top lane was doing fine, mid and bot needed him.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we saw throughout playoffs, right, we've seen junglers targeted in terms of the ban phase. A lot were banned out here, and I was sort of thinking, what are they going to bring out, right? We had Jarvan into Rek'Sai. The Rek'Sai, I wasn't really sold on, but Jarvan, I think I've seen play from it in other regions, and I think honestly the pick has a lot of effectiveness, good early ganking, has that team fighting power, and Karsa just piloted it so well.
Yeah, it really felt more like it was the Rek'Sai, or sorry, the Kanavi that was hindered by the Rek'Sai pick through the draft phase, right? Like leaving the Rek'Sai to your 5th pick, they didn't really feel like they had an answer to the Jarvan once it got locked in on 3rd rotation, and from that point forward, Karsa was just able to take over in the early stage of the game. Even when you see like plays that were being set up on the bottom side of the map by Kanavi, where they think they're going to be able to go aggressive, Karsa comes in and turns it around. Karsa did a really good job of just tracking Kanavi, keeping him in check in the early stages, and then being able to pop off. And I really don't see it where, like, I don't know what happened in game 1 that we didn't get to see this V5, because again, it felt like this was something where we'd have this strong mid jungle to be able to roam around the map together and link up like they had in this game 5, but it felt like it took so long for us to see that version of V5.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think the rise of Rookie did a lot to sort of bridge the gap, and he was so good at piloting that. And I mean, going back to the Kanavi point with the Rek'Sai, I feel like the draft kind of set up, you needed a jungler who could contest early, but you're not going to have support for your mid lane, and that's really the difference, right? And the problem is you have lethality champions top and bot, Rek'Sai's lethality champion too, the amount of armor stacked on the enemy team, and then obviously Corki's something that takes a while to come online, and still does a little bit of AD damage with the mana immune. It just felt like the damage wasn't there when they fell behind. And I think it's kind of, what we've seen, this mid jungle is vitally important, and I feel like towards the end of the tournament, we've had fantastic mids, fantastic jungles, and Karsa plus Rookie is a really good duo.
Yeah, and especially as we start to look forward into the rest of the tournament now, right? Like, you're starting to look to go, okay, maybe we have the revenge story, right, if top esports are able to take down RNG. But again, you can see that, well, the Rise pick for Knight did a really good job of shutting down that mid lane. Then you look across and you see, hey, look, Xiaohu has had these massive performances as well, and for RNG, definitely trying to combat them through a strong mid jungle definitely seems to be the way that they falter.
Yeah, well, we can have a look at the bracket right now, because we are down from 4 to 3 of our teams coming out now. As you can see now, moving forward is V5. They are in the lower bracket final. Tomorrow we've got Top Esports versus RNG. We can kind of move ourselves now a little bit more towards the future. This one is going to be incredibly, honestly, it's similar to what Lyric said on the cast. I don't know where to call this. Both these teams have strengths and weaknesses, and it's going to be exceptionally difficult to try and just actually flip a coin.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a bit sad that we won't get 2020 Take 2 in 2022 with JDG being gone, but it still feels like we're kind of seeing the remnants of spring 2021, right? Where we had to, RNG were the winners. They came through the lower bracket, had to beat back FPX, which could be the V5 story in this, right? History could have the potential of repeating itself, but if Top Esports are able to take that win against RNG tomorrow, like, that would be incredible, just not only for the redemption of an organization that had done so well in the last 2 years, but also when you just look at the streak they've had through playoffs. Like, they came in round 2.
Yeah, almost a gauntlet run.
And bear in mind, you think about this series, there's definitely fight from JDG, but it was very V5 favored, right? 3-1 scoreline when we've seen those full 5-game series before. And this is the V5 that lost to Top Esports, right? So it does make me a bit worried for RNG, and obviously expectations. RNG are the former MSI champions, right, from last year. They've had really strong performances, 2nd seed coming in. I still expect it to be a complete fight, but Top Esports definitely looking formidable.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, and I just think of it now, we have our kind of perceived top 3 mid laners as well. We've got Rookie, Xiaohu, and we've got Knight. We got 3 guys who have been like at the top. Pretty solid mid laners. And honestly, you go through most of the list, you're kind of saying, okay, Tick, that's a pretty good player. And it is just getting so much harder. I do believe that, whoever gets into the winners final is going to be honestly feeling so relieved, because they get a bit of extra time. They get a couple of extra days. I know we've had in 2021, both in spring and summer, there was the losers final that ended up winning the grand. But I feel like with these teams, you got to take your advantages when you can.
Yeah, and I think there's always something to say as well about, like, having a team like Top Esports who kind of runs the gauntlet, right? Because you do get a ton more time to practice in the patch. You kind of get used to certain styles and figuring out how you want to play it. Even just like seeing what works in scrims versus what doesn't work in scrims, right? So that's where I'm really curious to see, like, if Top Esports are going to be able to keep that standard going forward, or if we're going to get some sort of weird answer from RNG.
I think the main thing is that we've had such battles throughout, is that every team has been tested. There's not a single team who's gone through playoffs unscathed, and as a result, sometimes you have teams who sweep and then a strategy's worked out to combat them, and it happens too late in the game to adapt and to overcome. But Top Esports went down in the series, they had to overcome their issues, they had to work things out, and it's happened to every single team. And it feels like one of the best things I've seen from this split has been the adaptation over the course of the series, how draft has adjusted, how playstyle has adjusted, focuses have shifted completely. We've seen priorities dip and go up throughout playoffs. It feels like every team knows there isn't that much between them, right? And if you have a good draft, if you have a good game, that can just be the difference.
Absolutely. Now, we've only got a little bit of time left, but I'm going to quickly put you on the spots. Who's in the grand final?
Grand final.
Grand
Jesus.
final. Top 2.
RNG V5.
RNG V5.
Top Esports V5.
Top Esports V5.
Yes, I'm right.
I want to see that reflected in your predictions.
It's going to be Wayward in the finals, right? Spamming emotes like an absolute alpha. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Well, we'll see if it does. We are going to have another broadcast tomorrow, but until then, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sticking with us in our slightly scuffed analyst. I like the analyst desk. I actually love the vibe. It's, you know, as I said, it's kind of couch-like, and then Ox quickly said,
it's just a
couch.
What do you mean couch-like?
It's not couch-like. It's just a couch. It's just a vibe. But of course, thank you to everyone who's been joining us. Thank you, of course, to our fantastic back-end staff for helping us and facilitating us and making this possible. And of course, thank you to everyone else involved. We would not have been able to do this without them. And of course, see you guys at the same time, at the same channel tomorrow.